What a difference a day makes. We are back. Cheltenham Festival here on Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton. Whoo, day 3. Here we go. St Patrick's Day. Happy St Patrick's Day, one and all. It's fair to say we're giving the Irish the first race. We'll be getting onto that very shortly indeed. 1:30 we kick off. We're going all the way up to the plate for 10 for you. What thrills and spills we've had. Honestly, we've been thrilled so far with all the feedback we've had. The numbers are off the charts. The viewership is absolutely great. If you don't know how to get involved and let us have a shout out, go onto our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. If you're new to it with our sponsors, Betfair along the way. Nearly said Spencer's Botfair. Sponsors Betfair. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. They usually clip up this bit as well. We are going to learn everything. We're going to get it out there. We're going to give you all the tips. All right, that's that done. You know Dave Orton is back with you. If we don't come on at 1:05 or something like that, all the YouTube comments, where are they? Put 50p in the meter and all that sort of stuff. So don't worry. We are back. You've had a little glimpse of the panel as well. I said that we're giving them the first race. We're also giving you Keith Melrose. Welcome along.
Well, I cannot compete with Galopin Deschamps and Bob Ollinger. I'm afraid the viewers are going to be underwhelmed with my presence, relatively speaking.
I mean, let's talk about the week so far, Keith. Tuesday, beautiful sunshine. Absolutely everything went right.
How could it be the same race course on Wednesday?
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were a lot of bad vibes, weren't there? A lot of, I can imagine down there, we beamed into the track a little bit as well because Cook called us up. It was like, the water. A lot's been said and done. We will talk about that in between the races today. But did you make a few quid?
Yeah, well, obviously, if anybody watched the preview show we did, Nap of the Week was Corach Rambler. So that's been a nice result for me.
First trumpet blown.
Well, it's good. If it's been printed in the Racing Post or put in a video, it's not after time, and I've decided. So there we go.
Well, it's great to have you because you're with us tomorrow as well, aren't you?
Yeah, Gold Cup Day tomorrow. Best race there is.
Absolutely. The betting editor is here. Any questions for Keith? Let's find out what he wants to get into very shortly indeed. You've been seeing her all week and then some. The RP Queen, Natalie Green, everyone's favourite, is back, and you're with us till Saturday.
I am.
You get the gold card.
I do. It's nice to be back here. But I had a good week as well, and yeah, you've got to blow your own trumpet when you.
You've been down there, haven't you?
I've been down there. I've been in the squelch yesterday. It was unbelievable. I didn't have waterproof. My socks are still wet. My feet were freezing cold, and it was weird because like the first day, obviously that 68,000 people, it was rammed. It was absolutely going off. And then yesterday, I was walked through the Guinness Village a few times, and there was some really like hardened race goers doing the Irish jig. Absolutely.
Did you jig?
Well, I had a little skippity skip as I was going through, but it was very, very wet day yesterday.
Right. Nat is with us. Okay, we're doing the Midlands National on Saturday, as I keep telling you on it. Some after Lord's Mayor show for some, but don't worry, the show keeps going. And we'll be giving you the winners all the way. And the Commander is back. We call you always editor. You're now known as the Commander forever. I mean, let's face it, you were the Commander for quite a while when you were editor. But after yesterday, you're now the Commander of the fleet.
Thank you. I think that's just about suitable. Yeah,
can we top it?
No, of course not.
I bet we can.
That happens very rarely.
4 out of 5 you tipped, as you were telling me as you walked in.
100 to 1 shot. I mean, if you thought Keith was blowing trumpents, you got nothing.
You got a round in as well at the pub, which is all
20 minutes. So,
but you're fancying a few today. It's hard not to, isn't it?
Do you know what? I'm really boring today. It's like if this is countdown, I'm having 4 from the front row and only 1 big one. I've got one that I fancy at a massive price.
Same here, actually.
But before that, boringly dull, I'm afraid.
Well, it might be that way of looking at it, but we've got 4 runners in the first, but a match. All right. Well, now, where are we going? Barry Orr joins us back on the show. I'm thrilled to say the big hitter's back, and he's got a juicy lay for us today. We won't give it away at the top, Barry.
No, good afternoon, gentlemen. Congratulations to Bruce. Yesterday, I saw him fall off his chair with disbelief and landing a 50 to 1 poke. What a result that was. Unfortunately, I was on the runner-up there, Bruce. I would have liked to see you sit tightly on your chair and let me do the celebrating, but great shout.
I would like to say I feel terrible for you, Barry, but I just don't.
Have you ever seen anyone fall off the chair in this studio before, Barry? It's only Cheltenham week, right?
I think I saw Matty Batchelor fall into the branding at the back one day.
Someone broke the branding once, didn't they?
Do you remember once that fell on my head?
On your head.
Barry thought that was the best thing he'd ever seen in his life.
Matty just goes into the abyss, like the chair always lowers. You just see Matt getting more and more excited and just goes.
You'd be thrilled to hear back.
Unseated on one of these seats, Matty Batchelor.
That's a brilliant line. Barry, we're showcasing the functionality of the exchange. I got that bit right at least. And we're playing for charity all the way. Brendan Duke has been on the show. Wonderful first 2 days. He nominated the IJF. Finally, we got a charity. And Alan Conway, who was deputising for you the 2 days, he built us some absolute pot up, man.
Yeah, he's brilliant, Alan is. And thanks to him for filling in for the first couple of days. And like you said, we're just showcasing the functionality of the exchange and showing people how the sportsbook works. Some of the extra places, additional places, and a lot of the feature handicaps across the 4 days on the Betfair Sportsbook. And yeah, there's a lot to look forward to today. I'm going to take a certain horse on later on, but kicking off with a little Trixie if we want to put that on first, and then we're going to Bob Ollinger in the opener. But I believe, Bruce, you're going to do the magic fingers today.
Anthea Redfern today, your glamorous putter honor. So let's go. What have we got?
Yeah, we're going to go a little each way Trixie. We're going to take Winter Fog as our first leg into Pertemps.
Okay, hang on. Winter Fog, yeah. Got him 5-1.
Yeah, we're going to enhance terms there. 7 places on the Betfair Sportsbook.
Nice.
We're going to take Janet Dill in the RYANAIR.
Janadil, wow. Okay, hang on. Janadil, 11
we're
to
Chinwag. That leg, a 410 Chinwag. You'll have to scroll down to find that one.
You
Okay,
will.
mate. Wow, we're going for a big one. Chinwag.
No more.
33 to 1 chance. Again, enhanced place terms there on the Betfair Sportsbook. We're going to do it for
Sure, this is running. Where is it? Oh, yeah, Chinwag.
It's the 5,000 to 1 shot off the back of the
It's nearly
screen.
as far down as the Commander yesterday.
Keep scrolling.
Right, so we're having what we're having.
Bruce, below the fold. We're going to do it for a tenner. We're going to do an each way tenner Trixie.
Okay, £10 each way Trixie, 80 quid stake, 32 grand we win. Blimey, that'll build. We're doing injured jockeys fun, aren't we? That'll
Yeah, we are.
Build a whole new complex for them. if
Quite
that
right.
happens.
So look, the dream is alive, isn't it? For so many people out there, this is an interactive show. That is your Trixie. Loads of people like to follow Barry. They'll be following Alan successfully as well. Following Bruce, unbelievable. He's buying the drinks all week, I think, isn't he? After that, but we do start off at 1:30. So we're T-minus 15 minutes away from the Turners. That's what it's called this year. If you need any reminding, a couple of people on this panel like, what's it called this year? Still. It's the Turners. It is St Patrick's Day, and we're giving it to them, aren't we? It's fair to say. No, should we just get this out of the way? No British horse. Come on, let's come to you. I haven't spoken to you about this yet.
Yeah, well,
Are you just like whatever?
we bet the farm on the Brown Advisory, didn't we? A little bit. We put all the best British horses in that, and Long Press is brilliant, and Brave Man's Game didn't run because of the ground. So, yeah, I mean, we're getting to see now, aren't we? There just aren't enough novice chasers to sustain all these races, particularly, especially when, the Mullins and Elliott ones that maybe aren't seen as quite good enough are getting saved for Aintree punches down Fairy House.
So we shall celebrate having the 2 best novices.
Well, I was going to say also, yeah, you're looking at the most incredible novice chasers of my lifetime, because I'm very young, obviously. I was only born in 1986. So just put it out there, 1986, because so many people ask my age. I know. God, getting old. Why would you take them on? And Keith made a brilliant point there. Yeah, look at the Brown Advisory. I
can't believe it, but you're an 86 baby as well, aren't you? You're 85.
Are we the same? No, you're...
Yeah, no, I'm 86.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
That's all right.
So I
know what that means.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
what sense, Dave?
Yeah, well, quite,
Where
absolutely.
are you going there?
One the older statesman. But there are 2 tribes here, aren't they? Barry, let's throw it open to you then. I don't know, it's a big surprise, isn't it? Throughout the winter, you wouldn't have thought that this bloke would now be favourite for the Turners.
Yeah, he's 1.96. He was just even money just a couple of minutes ago. He's a horse, obviously the two of them, it looks a match, although there has been some money for El Barra. That was 38 just a couple of hours ago. He's in 10 points, 10 ticks into 28 now. I'm a big Bob Ollinger fan. I think this horse is the real deal. That's not to say that Galopin Des Champs isn't, but I think Galopin Des Champs might have just had to step up to the 3 miles. I think the 2.5 miles here, right up Bob Ollinger's alley. And, he's undefeated since he was beaten by Fernley Hollow in a maiden hurdle back in 2020. He's jumped adequately on his first start over fences, really improved on that, I feel, in his second start. He really attacked his last 2 fences when he won last day. And he's beat Capadana, who ran well, upheld the form somewhat behind Lampresa yesterday. So we're going to kick off with a real simple back bet at 2.26. He was 2.18. I backed him myself at 2.18. He's 2.26 now. So he's a little over 5 to 4. We're going to have 50 quid win on Bob Ollinger to beat Galopin Des Champs.
And it is quite
That's
literally
on.
a match, isn't it?
Yeah, that's on.
What is it, Bar? What is it? I mean, how's El Barra only 28? So I don't really get that. People actually think El Barra's going to win this?
Well, what's the chances of the 2 main ones falling, not getting rounds, hitting the grounds, blah, blah. Roll all those in, and you've probably got about a 20s chance.
20
Well, we
to
all saw
1.
the champion chase yesterday, I guess, didn't we? The biggest anticlimax of the decade, everyone. You know what I mean? It was on the floor.
Yeah,
weren't we?
I said...
Unless, of course, you
I
backed
loved it.
Energy Moon.
Yeah.
Race of the week, right. I suppose there are people out there saying that. Good old
I
Tony Blue.
I backed Politolog 4 places before the race, and so
It was great to see Politolog get some prize money in his final start, wasn't it? And a bit of good news for Nichols anyway yesterday, that's for
I
sure.
backed Funabul Sivola. Got a terrible name.
Still
for me to
can't
say.
understand who
Never
that
gonna be
was.
able to say. Great tenacity. Doesn't give up that horse. It's quite pleased with
Yeah,
that.
they can't do
Horse
anything
as
wrong, can they?
No.
All right, let's go down the line then. We know that Barry is all the way Bob, and there are 2 tribes. I'm sensing that you might be a bobber.
Yeah, I've gone for Bob. Just it's slightly sentimental because I just latched onto him last year, and I just want to sort of keep on the right side of him until he proves that he's not worth following. There is a slight concern that the other one might be a slightly better jumper. I mean, if you look at all that form with Galopin and Maynil between the two of them, I think just about that says Bob's probably just about got the edge. And I think the trip suits him.
You see,
I know.
Bruce's guess.
Absolutely. Disrespect. He's unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh, you got 4 out of 5 guesses right yesterday.
Yeah,
God,
exactly.
love.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, they've all just scarpered from the studio
There's
out
me
there.
making a really, sensible case. I've been studying it, learning it, all trying to
Oh,
sound plausible,
dear.
and I get that.
Mate, I
Bruce's
bet we don't
guess.
see Barry's guess, I can tell you
Well,
that much. I hope we don't see
absolutely not.
Dave's guess either. Dave's guess is Galopin.
Anyway, to finish up, if there is a jumping edge between them, who's to say that Bob Ollinger hasn't tightened up his jumping now and won't be the equal of him? So I just think there's a bit of star quality about Bob Ollinger, and if you look at the prices, I don't quite see why he's so much bigger. So
Pick
I'm
up
gonna
on
go
something
with
that you
Bob.
said. You were with him last year. A huge thing, isn't it, that I think you get on these superstars, like some people would have backed Sir Gerhard in the bumper, so they've been with him all year. Have you backed, I mean, he's obviously been
It's
very
not a
short when
sensible
he's-
thing to do. You should be clinical about these things and approach every race with a fresh sheet of paper and no sentiment and all that. But, one of the things I love about horse racing is following good horses and staying on the right side of them, and that's how I feel about Bob.
It would be interesting to hear, because a lot of people with Galopin de Champs, of course, and when he went to Punchestown and confirmed himself that proper Grade 1 horse that had one in the handicap last year, there are people that are going to have to jump off one. Is this so? Do you think there will be a lot of people out there? This is the only chance they've had to back him so far. This season's been, really short, isn't it?
Look, I mean, the one thing I would say about this race, Dave, is that I think it's very hard to have a strong opinion, and I think it's very hard to have a big bet.
It's
I mean,
exciting, isn't it?
You're going to sit there and watch a great race, and it doesn't matter that there's only 4 runners, because if there were another 4, another 6 runners, we'd still be billing this as a match bet, wouldn't we? Because that's what we do in the meeting.
And there'd still be 10, 11 and
It doesn't
6.
matter.
Well, that's it.
I'm
That's-
fine with it.
That's the other thing. We've been obsessed, haven't we, with social runners for so long. Don't get in the way of that good horse. Don't get in. Well, now we're begging for them back, aren't we?
Oh, we love it.
Doesn't matter, does it? I mean, we've only had 4 runners when Shishkin and Energum met at Ascot.
But you did say, again, go back to the National Hunt Chase earlier in the week. You said it was one of the weirdest races you've
Oh, I
ever seen.
didn't like that
That's
race.
what I mean.
just thought it was a rubbish spectacle, boring. It was, all right, it wasn't in much doubt. I just didn't enjoy that. I thought it was a poor race. I think this will be totally different because, these two are potentially the real deal. This could be first and second fab for next year's Gold Cup. Could be first and second home in next year's Gold Cup. You never know.
Novice chases have been quality this season. Nat, which side of the fence are you on?
Yeah, this is a race to watch and enjoy, isn't it? It's very special. For me, purely on looking at a thoroughbred, Dave, as a horse, Galopin de Champs for me is just unreal. Stamina, jumps, high cruising speed. I know Bob Ollinger has all those qualities as well. One thing about Bob Ollinger, I'm sure it's Bob Ollinger.
Yeah, I'm mixed between.
We've done
Do you
this,
say
haven't we?
Gigginstown or Jigginstown?
Gigginstown.
And who's favourite for the Albert Bartlett? Ginto or Ginto?
Ginto.
It's difficult enough to
It is difficult.
I see where you're going with that. That was very quick.
My brain
have
was
to get-
going, what's Bruce Millington going to ask me? Oh my God, I was like,
He senses the fear.
I'll
the
make you a gin
commander.
and tonic.
I started
afterwards.
going. I started
it.
going like this.
Great stuff.
No, but he's just got absolutely everything. And the one thing about Bob, like, even looking in pictures, like in a sun-drenched Cheltenham, it looks awesome. Is what a unit that horse is. He's a proper unit. He's massive.
Yeah, because you two haven't done a show together yet. It's just
No,
your
we
first
haven't.
show. You're going to have to get to some horsey stuff.
I
And
know.
you're going to have to get used to some curveballs.
I love
Some
it.
proper curveballs
No,
coming in, all right?
I'm glad you can tell, can't you, how good they are, these horses. Like, you can say that's a lightly framed one or sparely made. And
Yeah, I quite.
I just see a horse, 4 legs, a mane.
I think Galopin de Champs more like the supermodel, taller, bit lighter, but the way he jumps for me, and I agree, I think Bob has polished his jumping up. I do, I absolutely do. But Galopin de Champs for me is. I talk a lot, Bruce. The only time I shut up was when I was watching him the last day and literally had my mouth open, just going, oh my God. So I'm
right.
not switching camps.
So we have heard there's 2 for Bob so far, 1 for Galopan. We'll see if me and Keith even that score up. But Mr. Smith's World socially opens a show on the Wednesday of the Cheltenham Festival. Welcome along. Need Bob Ollinger for the big ACCA. Pray for me. We will be doing that, and absolutely, we'll be watching the racing. You get to see our reactions, as you saw yesterday, in no uncertain terms. Raucous reaction and best real-time analysis in the game. Tribe, which one are you?
You know what I'm like. I'm not wanting to get into these things, but I've gone with Galopan because of the way things are going. It's when the ground's a little bit more testing. We're going to see what the ground's like. You know, It might be a little bit holding now. Might be even getting. There might be the dreaded T word coming out. I think if it gets a bit drier later on.
Tacky.
Yeah, exactly. The one got it.
All dead.
Horrible
got it in
words
one.
for jockeys
Dead.
to come up
They
with.
don't,
No one
honestly.
wants to be panting on that sort of ground, do they?
Well, the jockeys just, it's a catch-all excuse for anything that the horse runs badly. But I mean, on softer ground, horses that get ridden like Galopan Deschamps are an advantage.
Has
Yes,
there been
French
an
form
updated
ground.
going? You'll know this.
Good to soft all over. I know, soft all over.
Soft all over, because it does dry very quickly there.
Yeah,
Well, it
but
used to-
13 millimetres of rain's a lot.
Yeah, but
It's
it
a
does
lot.
dry quickly. I guarantee it's nearly good if the
it
sun,
used to-
it's sunshine in Prestbury Park now, isn't it?
It can't go heavy to good. It can't.
No, I'm saying on Friday. I bet you it's riding near good. I've seen that.
It might be riding nearly good for the Gold Cup.
That's what I mean.
I
have seen it before.
I cannot see it.
In the other way, I've seen it go, good for a Triumph and then heavy for a Fox Hunter. I've seen it happen. We've all seen
we
it
did see
happen.
that. Was it Ted Veal's year?
Oh, yeah, maybe. It's just, did you
rained
see
all day that
Patrick
day.
Mullins, the picture of him standing being interviewed in the weighing room yesterday? You literally couldn't tell it was him.
Yeah,
Couldn't
it
tell
was
what colours.
absolutely
He was
caked.
Utterly caked. How good was Fassar Vega, by the way? Look.
Although
real play
Willie
for your
loves it.
racker.
Willie thinks it's just proper jumping ground.
Oh, yeah, that's just
Willie
standard
loves
for
it.
him, isn't it? Yeah.
He's like, yes, Irish ground.
It was quite refreshing to hear that, wasn't it? Okay, so 2 for Bob, 2 for Galopan, and maybe this is the way the market has gone, and this is why. I think that Galopan Deschamps will probably come out on top. I see the engine with Bob, and I think he's probably got definitely the quickest chassis in the race. But and I know that we're now on the new course. Can we have the first mention of that?
And also, Nat's talked about Bob Olliger's sort of strength. You know, he's more muscular, and that makes a lot of sense because what I see with Bob Olliger's ability to quicken, which is what he's definitely got. You know, he did it a little bit in Ballymore last year when he won that race. He quickened better than Brainman's Game in particular and Gard de Menil. But, you know, with Galopan, yes, he's got a lot of form in big fields, so he's not just jump out, bolt one paced, but he has the way he gets ridden. Townend can't just piddle about in the front and then quicken 3 out because he'll get beat. So he needs to be a little bit more aggressive.
Well, tactics, I'm going to go to Barry within a sec. Can you just hold up the front page? Is that possible, Nat? Let's have a look.
Shall I get paid more for
What
this?
is the front page, potentially? What is it? Will there be another
Wait.
green wash? Yes, OK, we're expecting it to be a proper St Patrick's Day out there. All right, that is the front page with great front pages from Nick Barnes, Dave Crample.
Very
this
talented.
week. Let's get a members offer up for you. You can see it there, $9.99 for your first month. We've been plugging this for a little while now here. I'm sure it'll come up on the screen in a minute.
It's there, it's on there already, Dave.
The VT, is it there? I'm hearing in my... All right, OK. All right, so I'm not sure. what
Have
it
you
says
mentioned
to
it?
me.
That's going to cover entry for you, which is...
Is it?
No, of course it would. First month.
Of course, Aintree is. Oh, sorry. Yeah, is it? Oh, what if you join now 1 month? Yeah, I didn't see about that. Not like a calendar.
Well,
month.
I've assumed that's what it is, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. So
So
you get Grand National as well.
you get Cheltenham and entry in on that month. That's a great deal.
Aintree was getting a good mention yesterday, wasn't it, from Paul Nichols?
I'm sure it was.
Barry, let's bring you. Yeah, exactly. Barry, let's bring you in. Tactics. Surely Galopan's just going to try and gallop him into the ground, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Willie Mullins could control this from the front with Alvaro as well. He can go forward by times or race prominently. So I think they're going to try to put Bob Bollinger's jumping under pressure. I don't think that's going to find a horse out at all. I think he'll jump perfectly adequate. But from a tactical point of view, yeah, Willie's going to try to control it up front. I'd be surprised. Bustleton, they're just going to try to hunt him around. They'd be happy to take 4th place prize money. If they got 3rd place, it's a bonus. So tactically, yeah, I think that's why Alvaro's been left in.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I mean, we'll review the week a little bit, won't we, in between races? Because it's fun to do it and people love to hear it. And now the dust is settling a bit.
Well, I've been talking about Cheltenham for 4 months. I'm not going to stop just because they ran the damn race.
I saw someone tweet this morning, it's only 48 hours until we're talking about next year's festival again and all that sort of stuff. It's literally when it starts, isn't it?
Well, watch out on Monday's paper. We always do that thing where we put in bets for 2023 festival.
Yes.
We had
That's quite fun, doing
it usually throws up some winners. You get
put
some good value.
Have you ever got one right in that?
Never got one right. I've had a few goes.
Yes, I think
always
I've got one
spectacularly
right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard not to to think of the obvious sometimes, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, even horses that are relatively obvious, you can get a bit of a price. Long Press is still
Yeah.
tens for next year's Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Barry, Constitution Hill, that was the biggie, wasn't it? I'm going to come to Keith about. I mean, it's the first plus 170 I think I've ever seen in a Supreme. You priced up the Punchestown potential rivalry. Whether Fendo buys into that, I'm not sure. 8-13 Honeysuckle, and what was it? 9-4 Constitution Hill. But what about next year?
Yeah, no, Honeysuckle's now 4-6 in that race, and it's 7-4 Constitution Hill. And to be perfectly honest with you, Nicky Henderson mightn't have a choice in it because Mr. Buckley seems very keen to go to Punchestown. He actually loves Punchestown. He goes every year, and it's a big thing for him on his social calendar. So he might just make that call himself in terms of where that horse goes next. It'd be great to see him rock up Punchestown. Obviously, short price, he was cut into, I think he's a 3-1 chance for the Champion Hurdle next year. Last time I looked. Can't see them up there yet, those markets, just at the moment. But, here we go. Yeah, Champion Hurdle 2023. Yeah, he's 3-1 joint favourite with Honeysuckle.
That was breathtaking, Barry, as well, wasn't it? Again, we haven't really thought, that was something very special. We all thought it would happen, didn't we? But it was...
Whew, we have thought it would happen.
Yeah, and he's beat the right horses, hasn't he?
What are you talking about? I mean, you had a go at me yesterday, didn't you? Before you came in, I said, did you back Constitution Hill? You went, what do you mean did I back Constitution Hill? Everyone.
You just said everyone, we all back Constitution Hill,
I
didn't
got a
we?
bit caught up by the shows. You all tipped him on the Good Morning Show, didn't you? All of you.
No.
And we all tipped him in here. So it was like 8 out of 8, if you like. All the tips
We got the
went
charity
to
bet on
Constitution
him.
If you were
Hill.
expecting what that
Did you
horse
back
did-
Dysart like Bruce then?
No, I backed John Bon.
Now, this is what I was going to come to you with. We talk about team tactics. El Barra in here, the second Mullins horse. What's he going to do? John Bon was definitely sacrificed a little bit, wasn't he?
Can they hold him? He's a bit. Could you try and hold that horse up? He's a bit nuts, isn't
We
he?
were
Yeah.
all hoping that we'd see. If you were on John Bon, you're thinking, right, when he gets a pace, he's gonna do something. I don't know, something special off that. I was surprised to see him.
But what the point
It
I'm making
definitely
about
helped Constitution Hill, didn't it?
the point I'm making about Constitution Hill is, if you expected what we actually saw on Tuesday, not just him winning, you should have had the house. I mean, not a thing to say, but you should have had everything you had.
We didn't expect a 172 RPR, but we'll get to that because they're down at the start. And your contemporary, Mr. Rodway, said Keith Melrose will poo-poo that.
No, because the time was amazing. The time was absolutely superb.
Course record and then some, wasn't it?
If Honeysuckle runs against Constitution Hill will carry her.
What's the
Absolutely every single time.
what's the true
Honeysuckle
odds?
will never beat Constitution
That's a
Hill.
Rodway
over
type
hurdles.
line, that is.
I'm telling you.
What's the right
I
odds?
love
She's
Honeysuckle,
on.
but she's never going to beat. She's beaten up.
You're not having that.
You should be twos on.
Constitution should
If
be
they,
twos
if,
on.
they, if they race against each other, he should be twos on.
Oh,
We're
all
almost
right,
off
listen,
anyway.
the
We're
debate
almost
is
off at big
raging,
match.
but we must go for the Turners. As Barry said, we're almost on. Barry, what price are you going to go off, do you think?
194, so just a shade of odds on.
And into the front he goes. Off we go then for the first of a couple of races of absolute sheer pleasure we're giving here on RP Live. It's day 3 at Cheltenham Festival. And into the front. Whoa, he's massive over that, wasn't he?
Skewed a
Galloping
bit.
Deschamps. El Barra, not so great out the back. Bob settled beautifully just in second. And Bustleton being bustled along to try and pick up some prize money. He's in third as well.
It does have the look of these two.
Jump those first two. Massive.
That's like Puissant stuff. We say
It is
Puissant, don't we?
Puissance, you got it right.
Puissant,
Bob
absolutely.
Beeman.
Yeah, so he's what, 6 lengths ahead. Bruce, let's come to you.
Okay. What do you want me to say?
Well, it's usually you that does the commentary.
That's usually me that goes, what do you want me to say?
Right,
Skeeter, they go.
Okay, they're coming into the home straight for the first time, and Galopin Deschamps has galloped into a 5-length lead over Bob Ollinger. They are 8 lengths clear of the others, who are keeping a respectful distance and probably have the eyes on third prize. So they come into the straight. On this course, it's a longer straight than you normally get on the first couple of days. Galopin Deschamps approaching the third. See how he jumps here. Again, massive. Is he losing energy there with those big leaps?
Great question.
It is exuberant, and it's not ideally what you want to see. But look, it's the first 3 fences. He's absolutely winging them. I don't know. I just think his stamina and his high cruising speed, it won't affect him too
Let's
much.
balance it. Bob's been good, right?
He has been
Bob's
really
been
good.
good.
Efficient, you'd say. I mean, Galopin does tend to
really
get
clever.
quite high. I think the jumps are a little bit lobby here, a bit like a flop shot. The jumps he's putting in here, whereas normally he does he gets a lot of height, but he attacks them.
You won't want to be doing that 2 out, Bruce, if they're upsized, would you?
No, not really. I don't suppose he'll have the energy to jump that big. But again, he's cleared that massively. Bob, yeah, the word you used, Keith, is right, efficient. And I think Bob's just come in a little bit in the market, Barry, hasn't he, after the opening skirmishes?
Yeah, it's evens. It's nearly evens your pick. It's evens Galloping and 2.12 now. Bob Ollinger, the Rags 28 and 150 Bustleton. But yeah, I think Bob's getting a lovely lead off him, has to be said. and he's been jumping really adequately. And the one in front, a little bit exuberant at times. But yeah, I'm happy enough with my Bob Ollinger bet, and he's got odds on now.
And they're running past the stands, absolutely packed again, and thankfully drenched in sunshine rather than rain. And guys, I'm also pleased to see a little bit of cloud because the low sun sceptre does hang over today. Anyway, Galopin Des Champs has kicked on a little bit there as they go for the first one down the back. And he's 4 lengths clear now. El Barra has closed up a little bit on Bob. But Galopin Des Champs is basically, Paul Townend said, right, away you go. We'll see if we can stretch Bob's stamina, put his jumping under pressure and see what happens. And he's jumped these two perfectly, hasn't he, Nat?
Galopin is in a much better rhythm now. He's just calming down a little bit. Look, this is a big stage for them. The atmosphere, he was exuberant. He's just getting into it a bit better. He's dived at that. But Bob Ollinger dived at that as well. So both of them at the moment.
Follow the leader again.
He was following
the knee actions are completely different, aren't they?
Completely different strides.
We've got a pounder in Galopin, and he's daisy cutter, as we used to call it, isn't he, Bob?
Bob, 1.69.
That's why he quickens.
For the stalker.
The daisy cutter action is really good for quickening up because it means it can turn it over faster.
Well, they're going to have to stretch him, Bruce.
And he's stretched on again. He's still stretched on again. Nice big jumps by both of them. They're both fine, aren't they? I mean, as we've said, a little bit exuberant Galopin.
It was trying to find a talking point when they criticised Bob Ollinger's jumping. It was perfectly fine.
It's good so far. Coming to the next one. This is an open ditch. Galopin's over nicely. Bob, a little bit slow into that, actually. I wonder if that's reflected in the market because there's 5 lengths between them now. But Bob is still just about fake.
I just don't think Evens your pick, says Barry. It's going to stop. I don't. I just think he's going to keep on galloping.
Well, that's what I'm expecting.
I'm not losing the faith.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no! Bob Ollinger, terrible jump there.
What was that, 4 out?
That's advantage Galopin there. Really, really juddering fall there. So they start to go downhill. Bob's closed up again now. He's 2-3 lengths behind. This is going to be crucial. This is 3 out, isn't
Big
it?
fences.
This is an important...
He's back on the bridle.
Big fence.
Bob's cruising along now. It's evens each of two. This is the contest we wanted to see. Both absolutely flick over there, no problems. But he's still going nicely in front. And Rachel now has started to waggle her arms. For the first time, pressure is applied. And it's by Rachel Blackmore on Bob Ollinger.
We know he loves his hill, though.
Paul Townend has not moved on Galopin.
Look at this.
And Galopin now, as they turn in,
He
looks like he might have put this to bed. There's 3 lengths to go. Who wins this, guys?
It's got to be Galopin, isn't it, Bruce?
Go on, lad.
Don't like that head carriage on Bob at all.
No, he's...
Go on.
Over he goes, 2 out. Come on in, Galopin, up you go.
No bother.
Happy days.
Galopin, they shot by 6 lengths. I
amazing.
think Rachel basically knows that this race has been put to bed by Galopin.
Up
They
to the
shot.
last.
He's just going to pop the last.
No.
Galopin Des Champs is unseated. And Bob Ollinger, being maximally pressurised up the hill, is going to win. That is unbelievable. We thought that was serene. We thought Galopin Des Champs was just going to jump the last and cruise to victory. But one of those slow motion unseats. Paul Townend goes out the front door and Bob Ollinger wins the race by a long, long way. But the moral winner is Galopin Des Champs. There's no doubt about it. Blimey, this festival just cannot get any more dramatic.
I don't know what to say. You're absolutely right. We weren't sure what we were coming into. Barry, let's go to you to make some sense out of it. Oh, my Lord. He was
16 to 1 on jumping the second last. He was 50 to 1 on jumping the last, and he was matched at 100 to 1 on Galopin Des Champs for £39,000, 39,488. At 50 to 1 on 12 grand match, 33 to 1 on 11 grand match. Unbelievable scenes. That's a 101 done and a horrible way to go out. I hope he's got up okay, but you'd have to say the winner was absolutely legless crossing the line.
Someone's
one of those 50
winner.
to 1 chances were in.
Someone's
any sort of distance probably could have got up to do the winner.
250. Bob Ollinger was matched out.
That's a bit mad, isn't it? You still had to jump the last.
What on earth is going on this week? Look, we are 1 race down.
Bob Ollinger.
That is just incredible. The great sight there. Galloping is up, my goodness. Listen, later on you'll get all the quotes from everyone.
This is heartbreaking as any power for me. I feel like I'm going to cry.
Oh, that's awful, isn't it? Because we were watching different stuff there, weren't we?
Oh, I feel like
I'm watching this. Who decides to take off? Is it the horse or the jockey that decides to take off a stride soon?
We're watching the final fence
let's watch the final fence.
I mean, somebody does.
He's in such a lovely rhythm. He's just absolutely cruising, and he gets a good...
It's a knuckle.
No, there's no fault. There's no error. There's no error. It's a Goshen.
Fine.
It's a Goshen. It's a Goshen fall.
It can't be Goshen because that was
heels.
caused by catching the horse.
Yeah,
If
but
you're
as
doing
in-
the
as in
comment
there
in
was
running
no-
for this, guys,
there
you're
was no error at the
saying
last.
you're saying knuckled on landing. That's
Stumbled
what it
on
will
landing,
be.
yeah,
Yeah, knuckled on landing.
Stumbled on landing,
It's
knuckled on
almost
landing.
like after it. It's the stride
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that it's happened, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
landed
yeah.
fine and then he's gone over. It's
Well,
just
look,
extraordinary.
we will hear from Paul Town and we will hear from Willie Mullins, our men on the ground. We'll be getting you them coming. And we will hear what Henry de Bromhead and Rachel have to say, because Bob has won the Turners. People that are under a stone and coming for the second race will just think it's all absolutely as it should be. But it's fair to say, after whacking that fourth last, he was in all sorts of trouble.
He was, and he's won the race, but I'm afraid he's lost his reputation, hasn't
Yeah,
he? Because he would have
100%.
got beaten 15, 20 lengths. I mean,
And
even
some.
after his
And
jump,
some.
last he's had to be really rousted up the hill. I
Tell
know
you
the
what-
other two were miles back, but
Well,
I mean,
they'd almost given up if you're watching. look.
I did not like the head carriage on Bob Ollinger one bit after he came under pressure. I was not a fan.
He was saying, I'm not.
No, he was saying,
wanting- he was
I'm
backing.
beat you. I'm gonna what?
Yeah,
What do
yeah,
you
yeah.
want from me? I'm beat.
Yeah, I'm done.
Despite that, Barry, we're going to see anti-post quotes coming, and you're the man to keep us abreast of this. I'm assuming Gallopin will now be near favourite, despite that fall for the Gold Cup next year.
Yeah, just let me check here. I'm just trying to get out that in running news at the moment. Anti-post quotes we have so far.
I'm heartbroken. I am.
Gallopin des Champs, 3 from 6 for the Gold Cup.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you. So there you go. That's got to be
That's
anti-post
12.
favourite, isn't it?
But that's obviously I don't like quoting that because we don't know whether the horse is up okay or any.
Sure. Well, thankfully he
Yeah.
was up fine, and
Yeah.
he looked like he was
Oh,
a bit
that's great.
punch drunk, didn't he? But he got up, Barry.
I think the rain maybe just got over his leg. That's why, because when he got up, he tripped again.
Yeah.
But I think he's fine. He
Yeah,
looked
because
all
I
right.
could
in
hear you were a
pictures.
bit worried about that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious me! After yesterday, and I mean, what? This is just the greatest show on earth, but also the freakiest show on earth.
Yeah.
What were we looking? What figure were we looking at? Okay, what sort of thing?
I don't know. I would have hated to handicap that race. In fact, I still
Well,
would.
there's a first you'll ever hear.
Yeah, because I don't think you're looking at much of a performance from Bob Ollinger.
Big Jock knew. Can't predict a faller, but it was clear which the better horse was.
Yeah, that's fair.
Big Jock is not.
Yeah, so listen, Big Jock did not know. So look, we're watching him, and he is punch drunk, isn't he? And I mean, I just don't know. I feel so.
It was just
bad
one of those
for the
things,
horse.
like,
they
he's-
got it all right, didn't they?
Yeah.
He did everything in that race, didn't he?
Yeah.
He jumped over 3 fences rather than 1 over the first 2, and then he got better as the race went on. He
Well,
was
look,
clever at
At
times.
the last, Townend sort of said, look, I've seen a stride here, I'm going to ask him up. And I was ready to say, well, why do that? But actually, the jump's perfectly fine. The jump is perfectly
And
fine.
if you watch
he
back
wasn't
our clip,
legless.
where it goes, here it comes to the last, and you sort of hear
He
Barry
was
just a little bit ahead of us, and he roared, and my goodness gracious me. Unbelievable scenes here then. The very first race, 4 runners, but not a bit of it. The drama is out there. What did the ground look like to our eyes? Very tiring.
Yeah, I mean, it looks very tiring because the only horse we've seen run up the running didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, really.
could the ground be a little bit loose on top and potentially have contributed to the fact that the horse just didn't, regain
You're saying
his
what's
stride
going through
after
everyone's
that?
mind at the moment, aren't
it's
you?
not-
You must
it's
be.
true.
Potentially
I think,
right, isn't it? Yeah.
particularly with the style of the horse galloping, I think because he's got that massive stride, that quite high knee action, he is exuberant, but he didn't do a lot wrong. But he's a big, rangy horse, and you've got to think about they've got to get a bit more together. It's a lot of horse to get together.
Yeah.
And
You've
just
got to get
got-
over him, haven't you? That's the thing. I
Well,
know,
he did.
I don't want to say jumping's the name of the game, but that coin a phrase will be used everywhere at the moment, and he's jumped them and he's come out on top. And
I wonder what de Bromhead thinks here, because obviously he was the king of Cheltenham last year. Hadn't had a winner yet this year. He's got off the mark here, but
no,
this is his
apart from
pride
the-
and joy.
But he had honeysuckle.
Oh, yeah, that honeysuckle. Yeah, I did see that.
You know that one.
But the point, here's his big hope for next year. And now, you wouldn't say his reputation's in tatters, but who on earth would want to back Bob Ollinger for next year's Gold Cup?
That's the first
Not
time I've seen him
me.
finish second.
I'd
By
say
the way,
that
Busselton
horse-
was second. That was the first I've seen of that.
yeah.
He won the battle for what we thought was third, but actually turned out to be
Second
second.
place, Keith.
But yeah, no, I think you're right, Bruce. Bob Ollinger, his reputation.
Busselton was second.
Let's be what's the word? Sensationalist about it and say his reputation is in tatters.
Well,
He never showed me the idea that he didn't want to race before, but he showed it today.
Let's hear from you out there then. Who's on the floor? Who had the double with ALLAHO? Bob, you're now on with ALLAHO, aren't you? Whatever
Who
it
had
is
that
today.
massive acca?
Oh yeah, well it was Mr. Smith knew.
Did he
or
have the
whatever his
piano
name was.
wire out with the last?
Well, I don't know. I can't remember. Was it Galloping? It was Bob, wasn't it?
He was waiting
the
for Bob
ACCA?
on the ACCA,
Let's
yeah.
hear from you again. Let's hear from you out there. Keep it coming in today. You make the show, you know you do. We need to hear from you today. And the drama, my lord, all the ACCAs and Anyway, absolute madness. The first race is down. There is your somewhat surprising Betfair SB then. And we move on. And of all the quotes this week that you're racing to hear, you want to see what Willie's going to be saying. Let's just talk a minute about the fact that Galopin came to this race. Some people were surprised that he wasn't going 3 mile. Some people were just like took the fact he was having a go at Bob. There was a nice narrative in the second half of the season leading into Cheltenham, wasn't it, where the confidence started oozing. People like Ruby Walsh were coming out and saying, we could go and we'll win any race you want at the Cheltenham Festival. And then Henry de Bromhead came out and said, if they want to come and have a go at Bob, let them do it. You got the feeling the one guy who goes into this week with his nap, you just always expect Mullins' nap to win, whatever it is. That would have been his nap, I think, this week. It was just, they were so confident.
Yeah, and the way he'd been jumping was true. I mean, how much has he enhanced his reputation in that race particularly? Because yes, he was battering Bob.
Yeah,
that's because Bob was out off colour.
Who would you rather back for the Gold Cup next year, L'Homme Presse or Galopin de Champs?
L'Homme Presse.
Me too.
10-1 versus 3.
So what price?
Absolutely zero question.
10
and 3.
He was 10s apparently. He's 10s L'Homme Presse. That to me, give me him all day now. Now that we know Bob Ollinger's not going to win it.
Yeah, he's not winning a Gold Cup, is he?
Well, just what do we do with Bob? That's the question, isn't it?
I wouldn't judge Bob just on that one run.
I would.
He looks to me like a horse there. He might have burst or he's in trouble with his wind, but that's probably he was going to be beaten at distance by the Galopin des Champs if he had a sped up. So I wouldn't be just judging him on that one run.
Barry, right, but you'd rather hope it was his win than if he did bleed. Because if he did bleed, I don't believe him back in bleed.
You couldn't have him again. Yeah, I know. I understand that, but I wouldn't just judge his whole.
There's a couple of things that we said during the race.
That one run.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's going to be an excuse for him there. I know he's won the race, fortunately, but there's definitely an excuse for him there. That's not his true running.
The knee action of Galopin is a proper mud-loving action.
Yeah, there's a lot of knee in that, yeah.
And
definitely.
we know it's testing old ground out there. Whereas Bob Ollinger, maybe Galopin is one of these Galopin actions that makes everyone look a bit like a daisy cutter. But maybe Bob not enjoying the ground there?
It might be that's the best case scenario, to be quite honest with you.
Because the T word was used, tacky. Could they come out and say, no, I mean, look, Shishkin's won on heavy, but what did Hendo say yesterday? He hated the ground. Whatever we think is right, that was the excuse that was used.
I think Shishkin was in a really bad mood yesterday. Like in the parade ring, I don't think he wanted to be there. Yeah, I think he was
really?
miserable. Yeah, just a bit
My
miserable.
point being, if you're analysing this race and you're trying to pick it out, could Galopin de Champs just be that good that he's going to make everything look subpar?
I wouldn't underestimate L'Homme Presse though.
That wasn't real Bob Ollinger.
You don't think so?
He's won, but it wasn't the real Bob Ollinger.
Okay, let's go back to when Mr. Rodway lit up social when we did our RP Live Extra by saying, Brave Man's Game, 10 out of times will jump Bob Ollinger off the park because Bob Ollinger had just made his debut over fences and he was scratchy, there's no doubt in that. A bunch of stand he was a lot better, but he wasn't great there, was he?
No,
that's not a great chaser.
He was fine until he belted 4 out and 3 out.
Yeah. So I don't know, do we go back to the fact he's just not going to be like Brave Man's Game, like Sprinter Sacra? Some horses don't make the same transition from hurdles. Could we see him going back?
Possibly, yeah. You could do.
A lot of people
Someone
were saying,
said he looks like a hurdler who's having to jump fences.
if it wasn't for Honeysuckle, would he be running in the champion hurdle?
Well, that's what I said as well. I've said it before. Would he have won the champion hurdle on Tuesday? And, he's never going to run in that race because of who he's trained by.
I'd put it down to the ground a bit, I think, if I was analysing that
I think
race,
Barry's got a
and the
good
fact
point
he's
though.
not
I
an
think we'll
actual
hear
chaser.
quotes of it wasn't the Bob that we know, and there'll be an MOT or they'll be looking into it.
The best case scenario is that he didn't enjoy that ground because the alternative
Exactly, is wind
is
or-
it's attitude.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we're all a bit subdued, aren't we? Because we wanted to. That was Galopin's race, wasn't it? Right. So-
Subdued.
Well, you know what I mean?
Heartbroken.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Heartbroken.
Look at
No,
Rachel
no,
Black.
I backed the
winner.
Rachel Blackburn.
Yeah, you did.
Barry's
Barry backed the winner.
Barry's
Barry's
clinical.
And I've got a feeling that the guesser backed him as well.
I thought it's one of the best tips I've ever come up with.
Yeah,
And they still call him guesses in the gallery.
250 to 1 in running, guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's only
Okay.
because you want him then to go and have a lovely school in time, because it's not nice when they fall at the last, because you've always got to think, I'm sure his confidence is not going to be bloody too knocked, but I mean, it knocks the wind out their sails, doesn't it?
Well, we'll get the quotes as they come in. I'll keep an eye on that, as Barry will keep an eye on anti-post pricing and all that sort of thing for us. We've got a much easier puzzle to solve coming up, of course. As you can see, the next race is now in your horizon. It's just a Pertemps handicap. I mean, on the preview circuit, there's been about 10 good things in this race. One in particular, I don't think you're not even sure Alaphilippe's favourite is.
I bet you're good at this, aren't you?
The Pertemps, no, I hate it.
Oh, right. I'm not.
He's a chase man, not hurdles, but of course you're going to fancy something.
Yeah, I mean, with the ground having been like it was, it looked like everything was coming right for Alaphilippe. So he's put up as a selection in this one because he's got that Haydock form from last February. The Prestige, is it called? It's called the 3-mile soft ground novice hurdle Grade 2 at Haydock. He won that like he could have gone round again. So he obviously handles the slop. It's probably not slop today, but it's going to be testing ground. So he's been plainly let out for the race. Keels was the first onto it, but
he was.
It's plain as your nose, really. This horse has been laid out for the Pertemps final, but so is half the field.
Okay, all right. Well, there is the market up there. Barry Orr, I've seen Kevin Blake napped Winter Fog, didn't he? I thought they might have wished they went in the Coral the way it finished yesterday to put it up to the Commander, the wonderful Commander as will now be known as. But yet the punters believe he's still going to see it out, unlike he did at Leopardstown.
Yeah, him and Philippe are kind of vying for favouritism, 7 and 7.2 respectively. Sorry to Brule, he always runs well in this race. 8.09, 6 Dunboy, Sassy Yet, Classy 16, 15 Ballyandy. He's been a bit of a springer this morning. He was 20, he was into 12 on the sportsbook again, enhanced place terms, 7 places on the Betfair sportsbook here. I like Winter Fog. They got him, off Dan Murphy. Emmett Mullins did. Ran him in the qualifier in Leopardstown. He was only rated 128. He had to run a big race that day to ensure that he got into this race, into the handicap, and he did so. He finished second. Looks like he'll come on significantly for that run. He got an additional £10, 138, put him on a mark that saw him get into this race okay. So Winter Fog, I think there's a lot to like about him. I think there's going to be plenty of improvement from him as well. So what we're going to do, please, Bruce, we're going to have 25 quid win. And we're going to look at the 7th place market on the Betfair Exchange. 7 places. We check his price out there. He's probably short. He's 167 there. No, we'll just go standard place terms. 4 places where he's 6 to 4. We'll have 25 quid on at 6 to 4 in the 4th places. So win and place. Happy to be a price taker here. Winter Fog. Don't see him drifting at all.
How much, sorry, Barry?
See him shorten. 25 in the win and 25 in the place, please.
In the normal place, okay, mate.
Yeah, just the 4 places here.
That's unmatched at the moment. Should we? I'll presume that'll get done, and I'm monitoring that.
It'll get matched. That's quite a liquid market.
Okay, mate. And 25 win. There we go.
He'd have been a brilliantly named runner in the Coral yesterday, hadn't he? Because it was quite literally Winter Fog.
It's awful.
I have to say, I fancied him a long way out for the Coral, having seen him at Leopardstown, and he might look. This is Emmett Byrne. You know what I mean? It's the firm, isn't it?
The firm.
Which we know well. I mean, tell the story of your only ever leg in a horse.
The only horse I've ever owned a bit of runs in these colours, yeah.
Yeah, Paul
Hey
Byrne's
Little Boy.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know Paul Byrne, do they?
Wasn't it? Hey Little Boy.
Was that what it was?
It's a bit.
That's what it was called, yeah.
It was Willie Mullins, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was Willie Mullins. He won his first race at Tremor and got quoted as 66 to 1 for the.
You must have thought you had the lot.
I thought this is easy. This game. I think I'm not sure he ever won a race again after that, but we had a bit of a thrill.
Hey Little Boy, people are out there now in the member section looking for it.
Yeah, be careful.
But he's a proper shrewdie, isn't he?
Be careful googling that.
Paul.
Well, Paul.
And
Not sure to get past the IT desk.
Be careful searching that day.
Here we go. The tone has been lowered on race 2.
Yeah, but I mean, Paul used to work with us, Paul Byrne, very shrewd man, knows the time of day. And I tell you what, I've worked with him for probably 5 or 6 years, and I rang up and said, after all your adventures with the shunter last year, can we have an interview with you? He goes, no thanks. I can't even get colleagues to give me an interview.
I asked you
I
to
should
see
have
if we
asked
could
you
get him,
ahead.
didn't you? And he politely declined,
Yes.
didn't
Well,
he?
my
Yeah.
terrible bet, Noble Yates, I should have asked you because that was obviously sold by Paul Byrne.
The campaign that for the national. That's
I know,
been.
I know, but I thought it would have.
Listen,
gone a
all the
bit-
regular viewers like Dave Orton saw that a mile off. Yeah, go on, Barry.
Just to wrap up on the whole Galloping Deschamps, Willie apparently has said that he could potentially drop back 2 miles. So he's been introduced in the Queen Mom Champion Chase at 12 to 1, and he's 6 to 1 for the Ryanair. So he's been quoted for the
Champion
3
Chase for
championship
Bob
races from 2 miles up to 3 miles.
Galopan.
Oh, Galopan.
Wow.
Stop it.
Gallop him to 2 miles.
Stop it. They all think they can have a
Why?
go.
Just
Well, they
think-
probably think Shishkin's defecting, don't they, to the longer trips now and all that sort of stuff. So.
Well, I mean, that introduces, that starts a 12-month guessing game.
Here we
won't
go
know
again.
who's going to run it until
We'll find out on
March
Monday.
the 11th, 2020.
How willy is that?
Shishkin open trip. I mean, it'll be talked about.
Oh my lord! All right,
In
so
the
we know
camp.
Barry's going for winter fog. We'll keep digressing. We'll keep going back. This is the one and only Cheltenham Festival, the greatest show on earth. That's right. Racing Post Live, myself, Dave Orton, Keith Melrose, Nat Green, Bruce Millington, and Barry Orr. That's an extra name to throw in there.
Mullins won't have a Gold Cup horse next year. Albin Foto will be too old. I mean, Statler. Well, you know, Statler.
Statler. There you go. Of course, you just did your thing, didn't you?
Yeah.
The brain, the Melrose brain kicked in. Yeah, it's Statler, isn't it? There we go. Winterfog for Barry. I'm not sure about him, but actually, I'll get mine out of the way. I couldn't decide between Winterfog, Alaphilippe. There are a couple of others in there. I thought I genuinely couldn't decide. I'm just not sure about Alaphilippe. There's something in my mind that's stopping me going into him. I like Cur Serene here. And Barry, you might tell me there's been a bit of money for this.
What was that?
For Cursorine.
Yeah. This is where he bats me back usually.
Feel free to just say no.
55 on the
Yeah,
exchange.
it was 40s last night.
Currently 55 on the exchange, Dave. What was matched for small money at a high of 100, only for £2, but 65 and 60, there's been 1,700 quid and 2,900 quid done respectively. So yeah, there has been small money for him. He's into 55 now from a high of just around 70.
Okay, so he's been nibbled at. I know he is our fancy to run well as well. So if you can get extra places out there, I wouldn't be, on the exchange and all that sort of stuff. I wouldn't put you off playing around with the places with this. First time blinkers, very experienced horse. I think they think he's left a little bit behind. He's on the right sort of rating I want for this race as well. I've got 3 on the right ratings band. Volcano, the Cobb, who I think ran better than the eyes to see for festival winning trainer and jockey, Keelan Woods, global citizen. And he win a Grand Annual on that ground.
Because he's a very good. Well, they've always said he's a good ground horse, is he?
I bet you Ben would have been appalling yesterday after that one. He is one of the greatest celebrators.
Oh, they had a party the night before.
Appalling.
He's appalling
Yeah.
when he gets in the bar.
Yeah, but he had a party.
would've-
He threw a party the night before, so he would have been feeling pretty.
He's a
and then
character.
he would have gone again.
Yeah,
for
he's a great
sure.
guy, and of course he's building his new base. He's in a transitional period, so it was great to see. And I tell you what, the celebration.
Yeah, it's looking cool, his yard at the moment.
I thought the Cobb could run well, but Cursorine for me, and I know they are expecting him to quietly have a say
I'll
here.
row in behind you there. We had another show last night, and I mentioned Cursoran as my sort of second run in. I thought this horse was going to win a good chase off this sort of mark, but he never quite jumped well enough over fences. So I can't let him go unbacked off the same mark over hurdles, even if it is a Pertemps final.
And that Exeter form is not to be sniffed at. Art of Approval and Impressive Ladies are
No,
two banging
absolutely
form
not.
horses.
I mean,
so-
that was just to get him qualified.
Yeah, okay. Let's get Bruce.
No, let Nat go first because one of us is going to steal each other's thunder here.
Are we?
So, yeah, I'm going to be a gentleman. You can steal mine.
This is when you find out you're both agreeing.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Because when we were all asked to send our tips in, you replied to also I saw your tips.
I don't read anyone else's.
No, she
Go on,
did.
go on, away you go.
Hilarious. I just pressed reply all and then just quickly.
I'll give Nat.
I'm selfish like that, aren't
I'll
I,
give
Dave?
Nat a line
It's all
coming
about
in
me,
here.
Isn't it, Dave?
We were asked, weren't we? Well,
That's what he always says to me.
don't go there. We were asked a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember when people were interacting in with us and they were saying to us, "What's your long range handicap fancy?" Nat's was, never mind Keeley. It was Alaphilippe, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was actually, and then obviously I spent a few days with Keel, so obviously not going to change my mind. But I thought I'd come up with quite a good each way bet here, which people might think I'm a bit mad at the ripe old age, but it was actually Ballyandy. Just from that Chepstow last time has given me enough encouragement, and of course the festival form as well. And I do think the course form is very important. I think the fairy tale is Cider the fairy tale, the stories, the narrative.
Yeah.
But I
One for
don't.
the good guys.
I don't think Cider is the winner. So yes, I like Alaphilippe, which took me about 3 months to be able to pronounce it. But my each way is on Ballyandy. Is that we in agreement?
That's exactly right. That's exactly
Oh, right,
how I felt.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you spend any
That's how I
time
play
with
it.
Paul Keeley, you fancy Alaphilippe through sort
Yeah.
of osmosis, don't
Yeah.
you? It just gets into you, doesn't it?
It does.
So yeah,
Bruce is
thank
well
you.
researched.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, this is more Bruce's copying Paul Keeley. No,
Plagiarism.
It's not because Keels and I both backed Alaphilippe for the Warwick qualifier
Yes.
for this, and he
Oh,
absolutely
it was
cruised
filthy.
into the race. Once the jockey knew he got into the first 6, he
Go on.
He didn't. His forward progress stalled somewhat, let's say, and he comfortably got into the first 6. He ran a really good race in the Albert Bartlett. He's won on very, very testing ground at Haydock. He could be different class, so I really fancy Alaphilippe. But like now, I cannot let Ballyandy go unbacked. He's got all the Cheltenham form you need, and now he's shown he can do 3 miles. Who would have thought? You know,
and revitalised.
All those great runs in the Great Wood and all that kind of thing. So if 7 horses beat Ballyandy, I'm happy to do my money. With 7 places, I'm more than happy to back him each way.
And
So
it's a great story with Finn Lambert riding him. This is his last chance to claim 10. He's a very good young rider in the making. He was on him at Fakenham that day, and they absolutely thrashed. Not a bad, and he obviously went and followed it up. So Ballyandy is back. I agree with that.
He loves the cut and thrust of the big field at Cheltenham. He loves going up and down.
Experience.
I'd be semi-surprised if he won it. I'd love to see it because I think with the Pertemps, it generally goes to progressives. Albeit, Sire de Burlay's not exactly progressive, is he? I mean, and you're right, Nat. What a great story. Winning this 2 years on the trot. Last year, took his chance in the Stays, finished a great second, and now he's back to try and do the hat-trick in this. That would be some feat.
With Rob James, who has been earmarked a long way out for this ride because he's thought to be absolute stealing £7 by Elliott and the mob. So
any claimer Elliott's putting up at this time is obviously going to be...
Like Jordan Gainford, of course.
Exactly, Gainford, exactly.
Who's on Fulcano, I think could run well in blinkers. YHWH. Jam Man wins. Oh, blimey,
Another nice
Jam
story,
Man.
though, isn't it, with a young lad leading him up, and there's a lovely video on Twitter of
Is there?
your man
I've missed it.
trotting him round.
Ronan McNally's
Cheltenham.
horse.
Yeah, the sun, they get the sun out.
He's grand, the son, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You
They
know,
interviewed him on it, didn't they? Yeah,
Tubbs
yeah.
McNally.
gorgeous.
Yeah, go on, Barry. Tell us about that.
Tubbs McNally is the name of the kid. He's Ronan McNally's son. You know, he's synonymous with the horse. He rides him out twice a week. He's a little bit of a media personality. I think he's only 11 or 12. He does pony racing in Ireland, but he's a little character, the kid. Well liked.
Okay, Tubbs then. We'll be shouting him on for Tubbs. The Jam Man. Probably loads of people will be backing this. It'd just go for a day out, won't they? Because it's a great name, isn't it? The Jam Man. What an outrageous gamble he landed in the Troy Town.
Yes.
It was outrageous, wasn't it? Tom Segal put him up, I think. It was into 5-2 in a Troy Town, wasn't it? And he was just like... And he absolutely walked it.
Very
didn't he?
Ronan
We haven't seen him over
McNally.
fences since.
5-2 for a Troy Town.
It's just
Very
it's
Ronan
obscene.
McNally.
It's obscene, man, but he pulled it off. Look, yeah, good luck with you out there. Good luck with you out there. Keep the socials coming in. Some lovely horses in this, aren't they? Third Wind, favourite of mine. Done me loads of favours. Definitely wasn't near his best last time. He would be running the stairs if he was.
He wants the real slop, doesn't he, that horse?
And I just worried about him getting a bit too far back, really. That's the sort of problem. As we saw in the Coral, they tend to be getting dominated by the front.
We've seen a couple of really, really good last to first and last to nearly first, haven't we? Obviously, Keith's Correct Rambler did it.
Enigame.
And then yesterday, who's the Venetia horse that Frero...
Frero Bamboo.
Frero Bamboo.
I mean, that was absolutely tailed early
Yeah.
on and came through and finished third, I
Well,
think.
that race, I thought that run an excellent race to finish there, to be
How's
honest.
Keel's getting on this
So
week?
do I.
Has anyone spoken to him? Apart from that, obviously, that's been seeing him. We heard from him. We had a picture
What,
of him, didn't we?
punting-wise?
I'll get you.
Bad first day.
I think he was all right yesterday.
Nicked
wasn't
my
he?
tip on Ashdale Bob. Definitely nicked my tip.
Yeah.
Definitely, I said it
That
first.
ran off Sledger,
I said
didn't
it
it?
first.
Ran
Yeah,
a
ran well
blinder.
for
He
each
often
way.
does say that. I say, who do you fancy in this? He goes, I'll just text Nat Green, see what she fancies. So, yeah, I can see that.
Quite, absolutely. It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, I think he had an okay. I think he had a good day. No, he did
If
have
you
a
wanna
good day
go skin.
yesterday. He had a big. He did.
He was all right yesterday.
He
It
did.
wasn't spectacular. But with
Okay.
Keels, okay, with Paul Keeley, I've seen it and I've worked with him for, I think the first Cheltenham Festival we worked together would have been 1998. I've seen him after 3 days absolutely on the canvas, completely tailed off, and he just keeps going and somehow keeps swinging punches and
Yeah.
comes out winning somehow. He's just
That's
extraordinary.
it. He was on What Do You Want, wasn't he? Behind Sir Gerhard
Yes,
at
he was,
20 to
yeah.
1
Yeah.
in third. So he was happy-ish.
Another social up there. Okay, Vince Net 1982. Of the oldies, prefer If the Cat Fits. Low mark now and a £7 claim. But back that one over to the betting editor.
Yeah, it's just big field handicap. You always felt like the sort of horse that would suit a big field handicap, and he hasn't, like you'd have thought. He's a funny old horse.
Ben Bromley on Anthony Bromley's son, isn't it?
Oh, is it
Yeah.
Anthony Bromley's
Yeah,
son?
Anthony
Is
Bromley's
it?
son, yeah.
The high flyers, yeah. Again, back class, can absolutely see it. Marker 137. Did 10-year-olds, I'm going to say, do win this race? Let's have a look. down.
Did Buena Vista, was he
Actually, they
10 maybe?
don't.
No, I would, but
One
besides
from the
him-
last 16 have placed. I'm getting up there.
Nap of the day landed. Ben Pauling's got the shades on.
Oh, he's just about to. Oh, I'm not quick enough. I'm just too slow.
There's an argument for saying that Ben should always wear shades, but
Do you think they've warned him beforehand because he dropped an F-bomb? I think didn't he? Was it him or one of the winning
they?
connections gave an absolute
I'll tell you a story about him. My mate's got a horse with him, right, and he's a novice. It's called Unit 64. I might have even told you about this before.
Oh yeah, you have.
And we were at that obscene racing lunch that we go to in December. Do you remember when he was at the bar, wasn't he? We were sinking a few then, weren't we? And anyway, my mate who's with me has seen him. He goes, I'm going to go and have a word with him. He got beaten at Southwell. It was a bit like that. And Ben saw him come. He's huge, my mate. I think he's absolutely massive. Anyway, he's walked over to him, and Ben's gone, oh, hi, how you doing? He's bought him 4, what do you call it when you put...
Jaeger bomb.
Jaeger bombs, thank you.
I can read you, Dave
He bought
Orton.
4 Jaeger... It all went blank for me after that. And we had to do
Tickety-tock, he
Jaeger
still calls
bombs,
it.
and he very cleverly got this guy Jaeger bombed, and he promised him he was going to go on a 4-timer in the summer. He goes, you want summer ground, I'll get you the 4-timer. My mate has not forgotten. But they all backed all of Ben's horses yesterday, and they were all absolutely delighted. He's a great guy to have horses with. Jaeger bombing to
he's
get him
good
off
fun.
the pressure. Why didn't you win at Southwell? And he was
think
like,
that was a
do the
horrible,
Jaeger bombs and we'll be fine.
I think it was a horrible point-to-point accident.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, so anyway, it's not his first Cheltenham Festival winner. Can anyone remember the first?
Was it Willoughby Court or the one before that?
Too easy for you, Quizmaster, wasn't it? Okay, all right, we're circling down to the start then, and it looks like Winter Fog, Sire de Burley, Alaphilippe, 3-way play for favouritism. Barry, who's going to win that battle?
It looks like Winter Fog, 6.6, so into 11 to 2. Alaphilippe, 7.0. 7-8 Sire de Brulé, very strong. Dunboyne strong as well at 9.2, and it's double figures everything else. So it's really Alaphilippe flying the flag for GB, but Winter Fog, Sire de Brulé, and Dunboyne all gathered around the 11 to 2 to 7 to 1 mark.
All right, thank you, Barry. Okay, great stuff. What else are we looking forward to today? Of course, after this, ALLAHO. Of course, where are we sitting? I mean, after the drama of that, of what we've seen with the big expectancies, you know.
I mean, it shows you that you can. Well, you'll probably ride ALLAHO very similarly to how he rode Galopin des Champs, apart from there'll be more horses around him. Harry Skelton not letting him is the danger.
Well, and maybe Brendan Powell on Eldorado Allen as well. And
If ALLAHO wants to, he can. Eldorado wouldn't see him for dust.
it could set up a bit, couldn't it, for Conflated potentially? But
40 minutes to go after this race to talk about the Rhino. What are we doing?
I'm curious because I'm trying to go through.
Yeah, I'll have nothing to say if I say my one line now.
We've done the Pertemps, haven't we? Pretty much.
The alternative is that Dave starts talking to me about 40-1 shots in the Pertemps, and
Is
I'm
there any
rather
chance
talking
we
about the
could
night.
review the bumper at this juncture?
Let's
I would
go
be
for
very
it.
keen to know what everyone thinks about.
We watched it together in the pub, didn't we? And,
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
and coming in, Brendan Duke was very keen on American Mike, wasn't he? And 13 to 8 in running we were hearing and all that sort of stuff, and then it was just whoosh up the hill, wasn't it?
They could both be really good, couldn't they? And the third as well. I mean, I thought it was decent,
What was
didn't you?
third? Remind me what was third?
James's Gate.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's it,
thank you,
yeah.
Barry. The Moranos, yeah.
I thought one of my favourite preview shows was one with Tony Mullins on, and he just says, like, Silvega wins it. That was it. It was like,
He drifted out, didn't he? Because
Wins
Mullins
it.
was
That's
making
it.
noises
That's what you
about
need.
the ground. They were worried
and
about
Dino
it.
Blue today.
Really?
Today.
Ah.
Yeah.
And Dino Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone
Okay.
short,
Then
hasn't it?
is Dan used to
Brandy
winning?
loves that.
Is Dan winning the slop one year at Punchestown? Lucky Vega.
What, Quivega?
Vega, sure, didn't she win the
Go
slop
on,
at
anyway,
Punchestown? Yeah, exactly. So why
It was virtually unraceable one year. Yeah, there was standing water on the course.
It's very unusual that you get, and we said this, didn't we, after the show yesterday? It's very unusual. Every year, that'll be some broodmare. Will it? They don't produce anything. You know,
Exactly, that's right. We were talking about that, weren't we?
Yeah.
We were trying to think of a top-class racehorse that's out of a world-class mare.
yeah, it's very unusual. Even Trev and all that sort of stuff. I don't know.
They tend to be good mares, the ones that
Think of
produce-
the ARC
never-
winners and things
Hard.
like that. It's hard to think of the
Yeah.
ARC now, but they never produce it. I always wonder why they pay so
Urban
much money
Sea.
for these fillies. I never get it.
Maybe Enable will change
Urban
that.
Sea.
Urban Sea is the
You've seen
absolute.
Enable's little new baby.
You're
She's
right, Barry.
she's the gold class. Yeah.
It tends to be Ballydor that get the great mares, etc., don't they, Barry, and all that sort of stuff. And
Well, the best mare ever was,
But from a
Wait
national
for
hunt point
Gallagher.
of view, it's very unusual, you know, for them to throw a good one. Like I remember Opera had won a stack of races, has a race named after the Nace, only ever threw one winner. The likes of Saralina, who was a fantastic race mare,
Great shout.
never threw anything decent. You know, good mares like that. Although there's more mares staying in training now, so obviously you have a better chance of them throwing decent horses as well. And the walk in the park is their go-to sire, isn't he? He seems to be very, very good.
Oh yeah, all the
Like
rage.
us. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
We're gonna wait a bit. Wait for Naples. Just had her first foal. It's really gorgeous. Yeah, but we just could wait. Yeah.
Tell you what's that horse's trip going to be? Kingman out of an able? Mile two?
It's a good point.
Might be running in a Supreme down the line, you never know. If they turn out to be what we think. Anyway, they're going down. Delighted to tell you for the Pertemps. Let's get some more social interaction on the screens. Coming up, Dominic Hewitt. Welcome along, Dominic. Third win is the interesting one at a price. We mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, had they run this race yesterday, I would have been very much in agreement.
Because he wetter
Yes.
the ground, the better for
it
him.
can't be
Good luck.
soft enough.
Is that going to be a problem for Alaphilippe? I heard Fergal O'Brien interviewed, and he said he's had a second in this race before, and he said this would be the best chance I've ever come to a festival with. We've got Imperial Alcazar coming in the plate later as well. He said more rain, the better for him. I always think with horses that want proper soft ground, when it starts drying up like this, it makes me worry. I think I've been burnt so many times on them.
I've spoke to a couple of people in the past, trainers, and they say that drying heavy ground is a unique type of terrain because it's sticky. The horses have to yank their hooves out of it, and it's just so testing. It's much, much worse than really wet, heavy ground.
Yeah, because at least you can go through the slop.
Yeah.
Can't
This
you?
looked like it was going to be the best festival for punters and race goers after day one that you could possibly
Do
imagine.
you remember what you said about 3 weeks ago? And we all laughed because Dave was going, I wonder when the deluge will come for the festival. And we all went, Dave, shut up. And like the first day, it was really glorious. Like, what does Dave know? Look at the sun. The next day, we were like, oh.
It does. I just can't remember the last week we had constant weather. I can't remember it.
Well, you don't do it. It's that time of year, isn't it? You just never know what you're going to get.
You
And what
mentioned
we
it was
do
a
know
bowl.
is that there's not barely going to be a cloud in the sky for the next couple of days.
It's usually
No,
a two-step solution to going out in March is one, take what you assume to be the right clothes. Two, wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Right, this is where I have loads of sympathy with John Pullen, the club.
So do I.
Of course, having his first festival. He got
Yeah.
absolutely dog's abuse last night from all these
I
people.
think we'll talk
who-
about that after
who,
this,
as well
Bruce.
as being punters, apparently are qualified meteorologists, and they've all done a turf
Right.
husbandry course. They all know what they're doing. It's pitiful. You know, just the guy had a horrible choice there. We can talk about it afterwards, but I had a lot of sympathy for him. You know, he rolled the dice, and it
I'd
came
like
off
to
on
think
the
we
wrong
mentioned it on the
I'd
show.
say that's done by committee, Bruce. I wouldn't
would
say
I.
that's just his
No,
call.
absolutely not.
I'd say that the BHA get together and that, and it's kind of like in the interest of safety. They lost the horse in the Supreme.
100%.
The times on day one were all that it was nearly heading towards good to fast ground, and they had to. And I'd say it's not just his call. He just doesn't say, I'm going to water. It's done by committee, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
You're quite right, Renton
Almost
would have been
off,
involved.
guys. Get your bets
Right, can we
on.
revert to type now, please, Scarhill? Scarlet Scarhill, I call him, because when he did his Desi Scarlet impression, he went seriously red. Let's get some, one more. Nicola Cargill, not Scargill, comes on. Cat Tiger, Dave Maxwell, please give a shout out. Barry's favourite jockey is old
Yeah,
Maxie.
I thought you'd try that
After
later.
Dolphin
Maxie.
Square. Oh, that was one of the highlights of the absolute season. Yeah, come on, Maxie. I know that Paul Nichols is still hoping that's where the winners will come from.
Very
Dick Sheets.
close as they go to the off. It's basically joint favourites of three. Alaphilippe, Winterfog and Sire de Burlay on the exchange.
Very
Good
rare,
luck, then.
very rare in a race like this, they can't pick one.
Yeah.
Usually one gets anointed.
Well,
like
these are the
Manus gets his wallet out.
These
or
are the
something.
talking
Yeah.
horses all at the top of the
Sassy yet
market.
classy has come in for a lot of support.
Davy
He's in
Russell.
12.5. Sassy yet classy.
Yeah.
Davy Russell.
Davy
Good.
Russell of presenting Percy fame, and Davy's face when he was coming back in on Tiger yesterday. Would that be, we haven't talked about the booing yet, have we? We'll get to that as well.
We've got
The
lots to
booing at
talk
the
about
track.
today.
My Lord, we've got loads to talk about. Right, we're reverting to type. This is the Pertemps 210. Good luck wherever you're playing. It's the second race here on Thursday. Yes, we're on Thursday, and away we go, Bruce Millington.
Off and running. 3 miles is the trip for the Pertemps Network final. And early on, the colours of Tim Sider and Martin St Quintin, the chairman of Cheltenham, on pylon, set the early pace. I think we've got a JP there in behind. That may well be Dame de Company. And then on the inside, in the yellow colours, we've got Kansas City Chief. Also close up is it's the sort of light green and red of Honest Vic. They're going a steady old gallop, 30 miles an hour according to the speedometer. Tully Begg is in a nice position on the inner with the red cap. Let's see where the market principles are. Alaphilippe is 2/3 of the way back in black and yellow. Sire de Burlay, he's on the inside. He's roughly in the same sort of neck of the woods. And the famous blue colours of Hey Little Boy, carried by Winter Fog on this occasion, are also well back. But it's all very sensible. Any early ripples on the market, Barrington?
Not really. Kansas City Chief is a 30. Alaphilippe 8. 7-6 Sire de Burley. Sassy Yet Classy into 10.5 seems to be travelling well, but no massive in-running news just yet.
Okay, Kansas City Chief with Miss Victoria Malzard claiming 7 in front. The 13-year-old.
One of the stories of the season she's been for me. Every time they rock up at Cheltenham, she's run a beauty.
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah.
The bottom one, the Cobb, it's not quite the bottom one, the penultimate one, the Cobb is close up in 4th.
Good.
He got a big shout from Dave beforehand. Also going well is Volcano.
We lost Sassy Yet Classy.
Sassy Yet Classy gone.
Yeah, we lost at the top of the hill.
Good
Davy
stuff.
Russell down
Born
on the deck.
Patriot and Sassy Yet
Born
Classy
Patriot, one of
brought
the two.
down.
Oh,
It's Aintree.
blimey.
You've got your spotters here today, Bruce.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Picture
God,
broke
sorry.
up. It was hard when the picture
did
broke
break
up.
up. It
Just
did
We've
break
lost
up.
Born Patriot and Sassy Yet Classy. Have you got anything to say, Nat the Queen?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
Far too many runners for me,
Back to you, Bruce.
Observations, anything going well?
Someone dock
Anything
the
catching
wages.
your
I
eye?
saw Dallas depict on where one of them early down the back street, but otherwise it's been a
The
relatively
eye is
uneventful race.
continually drawn. I know it's early, but to Alaphilippe,
I agree.
I'm fascinated
Brilliant
by this.
posse, in a nice rhythm. Alaphilippe's looking like he's going really well.
Sire de
Didn't
Belly
mind saying
switched
something then.
Sire de Belly switched outside. He was right up the inside
Yeah,
down
he's
the back,
going
and
outside, isn't he?
now he's widest of all.
Ballyhandy
Rob
on the
James.
inside. Are you happy with that, Nat?
Yes, very happy, and these still pretty, early stage. They're nicely bunched up, aren't they? There's not a real eye catcher at the moment, to be honest with you, but they're just galloping away. Keith,
Something's gone right up the inside there. There's a difference of opinion here. I can't tell exactly what horse it was. To be
No, nor can I.
No, I was
Is
looking
it-
down thinking it
what-
might be a
is it a
Charles
colour?
Stony
Bernals.
Mountain?
It's a colour change, isn't it?
No, I don't know. They might have.
I think
washed
Stony
the-
Mountain's
I think
right,
they've washed
Bruce.
the colours and it's faded.
Yeah,
I
it
think
might be
Stony
that.
Mountain,
Sort
whoever
of
it is he's
Ursel.
hating life. He's with Dunboyne out the back, and loads of people have been tipping him. Could this be the day for him as well?
Outside to no one on Sire de Berlay. He
Let's
really
call
is
Serene.
widest
He's
of
in
all.
the middle. I'm happy with that.
Yes, he's right on the
Clear
inside.
favourite now, Barry Winterfog.
Volcano's the one that's come in for decent support now. He's into 9 on the exchange. Winterfog mid-division, jumping a bit sticky, but he's into 5.5. Can't say it myself.
Okay. Right then, so they head off. They're well into their final circuit, and it's still Kansas City Chief, the 13-year-old, vying for the lead with Damned a Company. And then on the inside, who's that in the pieces on the inside? That is the Cobb. We've got Pylon prominent. We've got the double green of If the Cap Fits creeping into it. There's pink on the inner. Is that is Serene, who's going quite nicely.
Come on then.
A scrappy jump by Kansas City Chiefs doing
Ballyhandy
the
won
Ballyhandy
that.
He flattened that one,
That
yep.
wasn't a good jump. Alaphilippe is still nicely in the middle of the peloton. Not everyone will get that.
Yeah. There was
I'll
an
explain it
echelons
afterwards.
earlier on, Bruce. I nearly mentioned them.
Kansas City Chief touches down in front. Do you get that?
Oh,
Very
yes.
good.
Very much.
Hey!
Going nicely is Honest Vic. If you've backed that, you will like what you see.
Henry Daly.
Yes, indeed. Giving them, who's that out the back there? Dallas depict on.
Yeah, he's not liking it.
Dunboyne's
Sire
miles
de
out-
Burlay's been
Dunboyne's miles
niggled.
out the
Do
back.
we not like the side de Burlay? Is there any?
I'm not
mix?
fancy.
Look at Alaphilippe's now making his move.
He certainly is.
It'll
Are
look
they
like-
bypassing
Hang on, are we
this yet?
bypassing here yet? We are.
Is this Davy Russell that's down?
Oh, the green skeins, I'm not sure.
Okay,
Not
making
good to
ground
see.
on the outside. What's not to know for Mouse Morris? That one's going
Look
nicely.
at the Jam Man as well, with Mark Walsh getting into it
Third
for our
wind's got
socials.
eye head
You're getting a bit
carries, isn't he?
excited, aren't you?
I'm getting a little bit excited.
Dunboyne's
Courseran's
gone.
in there.
Pylon,
Corsaran and the Cobb.
Pylon, who was the first to show, has come right back into it.
Who's
This is
rising-
Hollybeg.
There's
They're
very
rising
few
canter
can't
if the
win
cap
this.
fits, aren't they?
Winterfog, they're all in
Oh,
there.
yeah, there's
this is
still
going to
loads
be
of
some
runners
race
here.
now, I tell you. Pylon now just about as his nose in front. From Kansas City Chief, and up on the outside in the green is What's Not to Know. Very close up in the blue. Is that the Jam? No, that's
Mill Green as well.
Sire de Burley on the
Fernando.
outside.
Yeah.
Side de Burlay's come there. On the outside, you've got Side de Burley and Alaphilippe. Winterfog has got about 10 to pass,
needs
and
to
there's
get
2
going,
to
doesn't he?
jump.
Yeah,
So
he's
two to
got a
jump
lot
on
to
one.
do.
Good enough.
Here we go then. It's
What's Not to Know
the
is
Mouse
tanking.
Morris.
Come on,
What's
Alaphilippe,
Not
though.
to Know is going beautifully. Alaphilippe now is making his move. But the
very
Honest
confident
Vic is
from
hit.
Townend.
Honest Vic has kicked on.
Here
Honest
comes
Look at
Alaphilippe.
Look
Come
at
on,
Alaphilippe.
Natty, you can
He's
screen this
Honest
one.
Vic has got the Golden Highway down the near side, and he's going great guns.
Come
Honest
on, then.
Vic. He's got Alaphilippe
Come
in
on,
his sights.
Alaphilippe.
Mill
Alaphilippe
Green.
is going to try and come there.
He gets
on
there, I
the
reckon.
outside is Mill
Look
Green.
at Winterfog
Honest
flying now.
Vic.
Come on,
Yeah,
Corsaran.
1-1 Winterfog. 6
now
to 4
going well.
Winterfog.
Third
6
wind
to
is
4 Winterfog is
contending.
Barry.
Mill Green going well for Hendo. It's Mill Green and Honest Vic.
Oh,
as
here
they come
comes-
down
You
to
want
the
to crack
second.
on?
Winterfog.
It's Winterfog.
Winterfog's
Oh,
in
they're all together.
Oh,
This is a beauty. Come on, Alaphilippe. Come on, Natty. And third win, Alaphilippe. Oh, you're going to come up short. Paddy Brennan giving everything. He's going to be on the nudge. And he's going to get it. Oh, no.
Second on the inside is Mill Brewing and then Winter Fog. Blimey, that was exciting.
Talk about putting where your money, where your mouth is. You get it from this panel. My goodness gracious me. We've got this wonderful wide view. Me and Keith were together hiding.
like
We
Shaggy
weren't
and
sure.
Scooby.
Bruce came out the better of a
Like
bobber
Shaggy and
yesterday. Not this time in the Pertemps. Third wind, Hughie Morrison. Tom O'Brien finally gets it right at the Cheltenham Festival. Loads was written about that. He's one of the best jockeys out there, consistency-wise. Him and Philip Hobbs. Barry, my goodness gracious me. More carnage?
FRSP of 33.3, your winner, third wind. The runner-up, Anna Philippe, traded at a low in running of 1.60. So 6-4 on for 59 quid. Also trading short, Winter Fog. How he traded at 2-1 on is beyond me. He never looked like a 2's on chance to me. 836 quid matched on him at that price. He never jumped the hurdle. Winter Fog got a great ride off Paul Townend to sneak into the race. Good old Sarah de Brulé trade at a low of 6.0 in running for 180 quid. But yeah, Tom O'Brien and Hughie Morrison get themselves off the mark.
Thank you, Barry. Talk about changing fortunes up the home straight. There were, Mill Green. Loads of people out there. I'm seeing on the chat, Joey Green on the Mill Green. I know a couple other people that mentioned him to me this morning. He was at one point. They must have thought they had it, mustn't they? On
And
Mill
one of
Green.
our socials
yeah.
was on third wind.
Nico de
Yeah,
Boinville.
we got a social. Well done, the social.
167 Mill
We
Green.
poo-pooed it and said it wasn't soft enough. But if,
We did, didn't we?
if this
And they
thing's
got
winning,
it.
if this thing's winning,
This
it
is
must not
probably
be
where
soft.
they sensed Winter Fog and Emmett. They just thought, oh, here comes another burn.
I
They
thought
must have
he must have gone oddsy. He must have
Yeah.
gone on here.
Absolutely. I've run really well with course.
167.
167, my lord. He
That
wasn't
could have
great
been
the
the Gold
last,
Cup,
was
the
he?
way we're shouting. couldn't
Honest
it?
Vic missed the last.
I was so
What's running on
excited.
from the back of the pack? But what a finish this was.
It's funny, isn't it? Because common knowledge or common wisdom is that you want to be down the near side on the hurdles when it's heavy, but the two down the middle of the course have dominated, haven't they? Coming
That's
uh,
the classy thought she'd run a
it's
cracking race on
usually a
her
proper
own.
Paddy Brennan move that to get the the
Yes,
stands
he
rail. You're
loves
right.
a stand drill, doesn't he?
Mr.
He
Barry
would have been
Garrett used
ending
to do
a
it all the
very
time.
long Cheltenham Festival losing sequence. What was his last winner?
Brennan.
Stewart's Inquiry, lads.
I can't think of
Stewards.
Imperial Commander.
I was about to say, can't think of one since.
Stewards.
Let's
we're
see
hearing
the
from
head on.
Barry.
Here we go. We've got
We're
the head
watching
on here. This will be interesting. Because I'll tell you what, third wind turning in really
was
could
nowhere.
win. I mean, he
Ding
didn't even have his
dong.
second win.
Bing bong.
Nat, how are you feeling?
Ding dong!
Well, obviously a bit like a ding dong, but
I'm doing the Stewards
a bit like a
Inquiry.
doorbell.
Yeah, doorbell light.
Stewards
Nice.
Inquiry.
Never know where you're gonna get with
Stewards
that.
Inquiry.
Stewards Inquiry. Stewards.
Just
At this
freeze
stage,
on to
there's
keep it
nothing
in the
to see,
inquiry.
is there? So freeze on. So this is in doubt then, because at this stage it's Alaphilippe who's coming across the other one, if
Yeah,
anything.
let's
So he must
watch
have come
this
right
now.
across here.
No, oh, yeah.
Let's have a look.
Have they touched
Look
us?
at where
the
Brennan-
question?
No,
he's gonna
no,
keep
No,
it.
they've not touched, have
no
they?
chance. I'd be absolutely staggered. You can back out of Philippe at
After
14. Cannot
after
possibly
people
get
saw the
Philippe
head
back.
on.
Yeah, I think
Kind
your
of
head
going
on has summed it up, Barry. You're quite right. Oh, my Lord, tell us then. Did you get excited during the Pertemps? There were any amount of horses coming in. I mean, we were going down the line. We were all shouting horses out. Poor Bruce is trying to pick them. And
You did really well.
I mean, Pylon was there at one point. We thought he might get it. And, of course, Philip Hobbs, again, is waiting to get back in the winner's circle. Lots has been said about Tom O'Brien. This is a big, finally, the hoodoo. He's got it off.
Is he not had a Cheltenham?
I think this is his first. I think it is.
Bloody hell.
I'm pretty sure this is his first.
wouldn't
So
think
we did a
so.
great piece with him, I think, earlier in the year. Cider Burley was just never quite there, was he? There's been honest Vicky did have been better last.
Are you doing what I'm doing, trying to see if Ballyandy's got like 8th?
Well, Ballyandy, he flattened one on the far side. He's got a
did,
blinder,
yeah.
hasn't he?
did.
That £10 has really helped him up there. Kansas City Chief, great to see
Yeah,
the 13-year-old
yeah.
there. And he won 3 days ago, you know.
Has Cours Saran got you your place money there? Has he finished with
He
5th or
has.
6th?
He has, yeah,
Good old
he
Cours.
has.
That's
Yeah.
a 1, 2, 3 for Britain there, isn't it?
Well, stranger things have
Yeah.
happened, haven't they? So you're absolutely fighting
Oh,
back a
you
little
can
bit.
Ferg
And
on
who'd
him.
have thought it would have happened in this race?
You can imagine
You know,
Fergal O'Brien being like, obviously pleased he's ran a corker, but also...
How are you feeling? Because this was one of the bigger hopes of the week, wasn't it? When you'd come up that short, Bruce.
I had a big win bet on Alaphilippe at 16, so I'm kind of sick, but I had a nice day yesterday, so you can't get greedy in
Do
this
we
game.
think
No, you
Kills is
can't.
getting his breath back?
He'll be on his 3rd Guinness since the race finished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
he's
the
foaming at
sober
the
Kills
mouth.
this
I feel for him, and you know
Yeah.
what with Kills, he studies this like you do as well, Keith. Your pro tipsters and you, Dave, you study this from the late summer onwards, and he's been banging on about Alaphilippe for so long, so that's a real brute for him. That really is a kick in the teeth.
It really is, and I remember on this show putting up third win last time at his favourite Haydock.
Yeah,
And
Rendlesham.
I thought he ran really. I know it was awful ground. Remember
Oh,
Holstone somehow won that, didn't he? One of the train performances of the season, but I didn't think he looked totally in love with the guy. So it's amazing.
He's a horse like that, isn't he?
Huey Morrison coming back into Cheltenham
Yeah.
fashion.
I'll tell you what, guys, I know that everybody sort of knocks the Pertemps, and we don't particularly like the qualifying system and all that, but that was some race.
Brilliant.
Wasn't it? That was a
Brilliant.
race.
Brilliant.
Well, I mean, look at us all. It was like we were screaming for the Gold Cup.
I was
We were all
like,
absolutely
brilliant.
going
Giving
for
he jumped
it.
into Scooby-Doo's arms. Isn't
It was great.
I thought it was
Oh, the pandemonium then here in the seas. Yeah,
Oh,
you can
it
watch
was,
it
yeah.
back. Great to see Tom
Tom
O'Brien
O'Brien,
coming
he's
back in. The
such
third
a
win,
nice
a horse that, you know, has dealt around with stayers, hurdles and things like that, mark at 141. And well done. There was some social love out there for him. Remind us who you were out there. We'll have to go back. But you can see there, ALLAHO has crept onto the screen. It's finally time for the Ryanair muddling division all season. We'll get the panel's thoughts on where we're going, but we may as well get it out the way, Barry. We sort of teased it a little bit earlier on. I spoke to you on Saturday and said, looking forward to the juicy lays. Oh, I saw your email this morning. I shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, I think Allaho's worth taking on here at the price. He's 1.66. So bang on 6-4 on 8-8 conflated. Sean Blue 13.5, Janadale 14, 18 Eldorado, Alan Mallon 18. It's 27 bar. I think the case is, I don't think he's going to get everything his own way up front here. This is a better race than he won last year. Conflated, an Irish Gold Cup winner, dropping back to 2.5 miles. I think it's the right thing to do. He wouldn't have been out of place. He'd been single figures for a Gold Cup. Sean Blue, he has a chance at around the 12-1 mark. Janadale's only got 2 lengths to make up on Allaho on running already this season. And the Betfair Demon Chase winner, Eldorado Allen, has a chance. And Mellon, his stable companion, also has a chance. So 165 at the moment. He's shortening all the time. He was 170 earlier. He's 165 now. We're going to set our own price here, please, Bruce. We're going to look to lay it at around 164. We're looking to take 100 quid at the backer stake at 164 for a liability of 64 quid. Because we're setting our own price here, that'll go over into the blue box for someone to come in and back it with us at 164. So we'll put that up there and see how we go along the way. But I think there's several horses in here have a chance in against the favourite. And don't forget, if you're betting in the place market here, it's still 3 places on the Betfair Exchange, although there's only 7 runners now with the 2 non-runners. You're still betting 3 places on the Betfair Exchange, so always keep that in mind.
Shall I use the keep bet function at this stage, Barry, or do you think we'll get done
That'll
before?
go in play. I'm happy that we get matched beforehand, but we can update it as we go along.
Okay, I'll keep an eye.
Absolutely lovely stuff. Ooh, all you people that thought you were buying money then with Allaho, the big hitter, is taking it on. He's knocking it out the park. He's got the field running for him. It's one of the shortest. Is it the shortest price favourite running this week? Probably is.
No, Honeysuckle had been shorter, wouldn't she?
Honeysuckle drifted out, didn't she?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
this is, yeah.
I think this is right.
What price did that go up?
47 in the
What
morning.
did Honeysuckle go off at?
Gerhard go up.
Oh, Sir Gerhardt, good question. Yeah, well, you should be telling me that, Barry, but that's a good quote. Was he 8 to 11 or something
8
like
to
that?
11.
Yeah, you've got it, Nat.
I know, only because I'm looking. It's not on, and Honeysuckle 8 to 11.
101
9
Gods.
to 11.
Both.
Yeah.
What?
101 Gods.
Don't come to me mid-race, but if you want the results.
Yeah, what have you got to say, Nat? Nothing.
that was
That
good.
was, yeah. I mean,
Let's get the social on the screen. Joe
We're
Green,
on it.
Joey Green joins the show. Fantastic race. Lovely work, gang. I'm glad someone's deciphering it. It's absolute pandemonium scenes this week in here. Joe Green, great to have you watching.
True, it's
You
funny
had
how
yourself
horses
this
can make a
afternoon.
mug of you though, because the only thing I did say mid-race was I thought Third Wind actually ran with it really quite
yeah, high head
didn't
carriage,
he?
yeah,
And I
exactly.
thought, I'm not sure
You
about
didn't
that.
call him a giraffe, did you?
Because then I
Hasn't he always-
thought, like,
he always
Alpha
does that,
Philippe,
doesn't he? He always-
yeah, he always been like that. Then I thought
Turns
Alpha Philippe
out
would have
giraffes
done-
do win races at Cheltenham Festival, don't they?
You talk about my pie on face moment. I think that they should throw a pie in my face at the end of the week because Coach Rambler, I went, can't have it, don't like the way it
Called him a
runs.
giraffe.
Yeah, I called it giraffe.
oh, he's an absolute swine, isn't he?
I know.
He's a
I'm
monster.
happy to have a pie on my face, but I
Can you
also
call a
want
Cheltenham
Derek
Festival winner
Fox
a
to get Ride of the
swine?
Week for that.
Yeah, it was an
I
amazing
want
ride,
Foxy
wasn't
to
it?
get Ride of the Week for that.
It will take a hell of a ride to beat that, won't it, for Ride of the Week?
Keith thinks it was in spite of rather than because of, don't you?
I think
what?
I think both horse and jockey make it difficult for each other in that relationship.
That is unbelievable.
I thought it was pretty I thought he rode it to
Well, if you backed it,
perfect
you don't think that.
execution
If
when
you-
Peter
Well, I did back it.
said.
Did you? Yeah, of course.
So that's interesting, isn't it? Because you backed it, and we often say, don't we? If you back a horse, you see things, don't you? Like I was on that. What do you want as well?
Oh, yeah.
Of Mullins yesterday, yeah, each way because I backed it last time against Ginto.
20-1.
And he just didn't sit out, so I knew he was a good horse. But anyway, so you've watched Corret Rambler through the race, probably. The backers of these horses watch them more than anyone, and you think that it was just a little bit of luck.
Well, the horse doesn't help him, and there's still room to have. In fact, he had £20 in hand, that horse, really, to have won like he did. To have won from where he was, he must have had so much in hand. Did he have? Could he? You had to switch him all the way through as well down the hill.
All the time.
Could
Like that, wasn't
exactly. I mean, you've got enough pace to get to be further forward than that at that point. But there is people will praise it because it's handsome as handsome does, and the horse had £20 in hand. He's a horse I wouldn't want to ride even if I was a jockey.
No.
Even though he's brilliant, so I can't go criticising the ride, but I think
Exactly.
the horse.
What more do you want?
Well, it's.
What do you want?
I think there'll be a better ride than that this week.
Okay. Well, look, let's hope that is absolutely the case. Watching Fergal O'Brien, he must be a little bit pig sick, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You put up a hoist in I mean, at the start of the season, you're one of
August,
your pinned
21st
tweets
of August.
on Twitter is you on this show saying it was Champions Day, wasn't it?
It was, but it was 21st of August. I went to Lucinda and Skew's open day because I was up in Scotland and I really wanted to go and have a look because it's just nice seeing them in the flesh. And honestly, we saw loads of lovely horses parading around in the arena. And when Hoist in York walked in, everyone was chitting and chatting and drinking. And when he came in, everyone just went, "What's that?"
Yeah, beautiful horse.
Because he looked class.
He's nice.
Oh, he's beautiful.
And you must have been happy with that yesterday.
Delighted. Do you know why? Because they've still got a little bit of work to do with his jumping.
Do you think he handled the
Little
track that
bit.
well?
Okay, but quite
Do you
a bit.
think it was that
But he's
bad
got the
yesterday?
raw. He's got the lovely raw.
He's pretty
Of course you
scruffy.
do.
Every time the pace
He'll always be a
lifted,
bit
he belted the
scruffy.
next fence.
Okay.
He kind of
all right.
reminds me of Champ. The
Yeah,
way
but his nails,
the first
though.
time round with Champ, he just
Doesn't knock
Funny you
it.
should say that. I think he might win the Stairs Hurdle next year if they go
Yeah.
down that route.
Who? A hoist in York?
Yeah.
Another one that could go back. I mean, you're not having that. I mean, you are
No.
missing.
I mean,
Hoist in
they're
York.
desperate to have a Gold Cup horse, so they'll run him in the Gold Cup. But I'm not certain that's the right way to go.
I think they can. I think he's still very raw. He's very big. They've got plenty of homework to do, and I think they'll do it.
When a horse keeps horse keeps being wrong the same way, I'm less inclined to think they're going to learn.
Yeah, fair.
All right, okay. We love looking back in between the races. I'm going to give you some quotes from the Turners in a minute. But Seamus Moore says, "Can't see ALLAHO getting beat here. Main danger for me is Janadil." Well, Barry would agree with that.
Just get
in part.
Seamus in the seat here because that's basically my thought on the race.
Is it? Okay, well, let's go down. And Barry, let's come to you. You've seen Seamus has messaged in there. Can't see ALLAHO getting beat. Main danger is Janadil for me. You're obviously hoping that Janadil's more than a main danger for the Trixie.
Yeah, very much so. He only has 2 lengths to find with him when the last time they met, and he's a horse that you'd have to think he's been primed really for a big run here at the festival. ALLAHO's going to take a hell of a lot of beating, but I think it's a better race, and there's other horses in here that are big prices that are kind of going unconsidered, and then tactically how the race is going to play out as well. We know that he's going to be prominent or try to lead ALLAHO, but you have Shamblu, who wouldn't mind being up there as well. You have Mellon, who could potentially take it up as well, will go forward. So he just might get everything his own way this time round.
All right, then. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's go down the panel then. You're with Seamus all the way.
Yeah, basically, Janadil each way is the selection in this race.
But you're not brave enough to... Or are you brave enough to lay ALLAHO?
No, he's probably the best chaser
Because
in
you
training.
were purring about him after last
He's
year.
brilliant. The time last year was incredible.
Yeah.
They went fast all the way through.
What mark did he get again for that?
RPR 178. And he
It
didn't
looked a 180 performance.
Yeah, I'm surprised it went that low. Actually, I'd have gone higher because I think they kept him low to keep him below Shishkin and Ergin this year and Shackle Poursois. But he's a brilliant horse, possibly the best in training. I think Janadil is getting really underrated from an each way perspective. He's run. He was a bit of an unknown until he won the Old Powers Gold Cup at Fairyhouse last April, and since then he's been second to Energumen in the Punchestown Festival over 2 miles.
Yeah.
Run second to ALLAHO. Gave ALLAHO a bit of a fright in the John Durk, and yes, ALLAHO was rusty, but so was Janadil. He was 22-1. It was his first run of the season, and he's run twice since in the Irish Gold Cup in the Savills. He's not stayed 3 miles either time. Still really unexposed at 2.5 miles. I think he's basically Fakir Duderie, but he might even be better than him. Janadil for me is an absolutely smashing each way bet. I can't just back in place only because what if ALLAHO, does what Gallopin Deschamps did or something. So I've had to have the win part too, but it's mostly a place bet because I think this horse, in terms of the pecking order behind Allaho,
What about
has
without?
been massively. Oh, back him without would be another way I'd maybe do it. Yeah.
Barry, in the without market for Janadil?
Janadil in the without market at the moment. There is no without market on the. Sorry, I'm just still looking at the other one here at the moment. Just give me 2 seconds. That Stuart's Inquiry's just finished there. That's what I was looking at. And he's kept the race. Yeah. In the without market, without Allaho, Janadil is currently trading at 5.1, which is 4-1. Your favourite Conflated at 3-1. Same price for Sean Blue at 6 Eldorado Al and 6 Melon.
I bet you a lot of people, after you and Keith are speaking, and Seamus as well, I bet a lot of people are now having a little look at that as well.
That's a really exciting 5-runner race there, 3-1 the field, isn't it? That's a terrific
Bigger
race,
than you
that.
expect. Yeah, Conflated's bigger than you might expect. How are we playing this? I just think Allaho wins. Are you with me?
I'm with you. I'm going to be very brave. Having a forecast.
Well, listen, it's your week.
And it's Allaho, followed home by Chamblou. People at home will be probably writing right now saying, who is this girl? She's absolutely full of tripe. She's rubbish. Boot her off, kick her off, whatever. But Allaho, for me, is outstanding. His jumping excites me. He's electric. I believe you have to let him dictate. Don't try and mess with him. He'll tell you what he wants to do. Not too slow, not too fast. He's a proper racehorse. He'll dictate. Love him. He's one horse I just love to take home. Oh, he's a thing of beauty, Allaho. Chamblou, there's a reason. Dan Skelton knows the time of day, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Look, he is going to be champion trainer. He is.
I don't think
He's an ex-champion.
He is going to be champion trainer. He made the decision from early December, I'm going to keep my horses fresh. Chamblou, it was dictated to him, of course, by his crash-out fall. He had a very sore neck in the Charlie Hall. It's obviously taken a bit longer than we thought to recover. His facilities at home are insane. Google the yard. They've got every flipping X-ray, ultrasound, ultraviolet, flipping. It's like a 5-star spa. But they really like this horse. And every time I see Dan on a race course, he's still got so much faith. People go, oh, Weatherby and this and flat and this and fair and this. How would it go? Look, my father's an Olympic show jumper. They know what a good jumper is. Chamblou's an exceptional jumper, and I've got to go for it.
Yeah. They could have had him back for the Ascot chase, I believe, but they chose just to skip it.
They chose to skip it.
They should have gone for the old Racing Post chase with him off 148, man. It could be the biggest cock up of the season.
But the thing is, you were right. Skelton, yes, he's going to be champion trainer. He's going to be champion trainer because he does exactly what Nichols does. He maximises returns from his horses, and this is a richer race than any of these handicaps he could run in.
Yeah.
So he's going for the valuable races.
He's an extremely bullish man, Dan, isn't he? Everything you hear about him and you speak to him or you have him on shows and you chat to him, the fact he didn't go for a handicap of 148, I mean, but they would have not have wanted that rain yesterday for him, right?
Potentially not. I mean,
And he hasn't shone at Cheltenham before.
a lot. Well, the reason he didn't shine last
You're going to
year-
suggest the ride, yeah?
It was a ridiculous ride.
But what's he going to do on it? What else can you do on Chamblou? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. What you cannot do is go, right, lads, we're about to hit the uphill start. Go on. What are you doing? So
It was a
I
mad-
did because I've got
madness.
absolutely, I'm living the life. I timed the last year's Marsh and this race.
You've got far too much time on your hands.
Yeah, I timed it from the second in the Ryanair, the first because that's the same point. And Chamblou out in the country made up 30 lengths on Allaho, who recorded a brilliant time. And he made up 30 lengths on it. Like,
How many Keith would do that?
Yeah,
Staggering, isn't it?
yeah, they've got like PlayStations and stuff like
Do you
that.
need a lot of sleep?
Goes to the football man!
look, I've got 2 kids I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah, are you good with not a lot of sleep? Like, are you?
Oh
quite-
no, I've got to sleep.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you're
but
not like Keels, who
the
has
thing
like
is-
4 hours, then there he is,
Keels is the
chuffing his
word.
tea
That's his
away.
record ever sleep, that,
Yeah,
4 hours.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Doesn't sleep, does he?
The
5
reason I did
a.m.
it,
shows him at the best.
I did the spotlights for the Ryanair, you see. So when I wrote the analysis, I couldn't just write horse to horse again. So I had to do
Ooh,
something
your
different.
name is on the spotlights.
Yeah, it is. So I had to find another angle for writing the analysis. I'll tell you
They've
what I'm going to
stretched
do.
you out a bit
They're
this week.
keeping my tip as Chamblou.
Always.
I'm a forecast. Allaho chased home by Chamblou.
They can't put that on the graphics.
Why
Yeah,
not?
well,
Is that
actually,
a budget thing?
Well,
Well, it's because Betfair
Can you not afford to put that on the graphics?
nah, probably not.
That costs a lot of extra money.
Yeah.
we couldn't have you on, unfortunately. We couldn't afford you if we had to put those graphics on
joking?
that.
I'm just intrigued. Now, when you put your hand on your head when you're talking like you did when you were making the case, does that sort of show that you really fancy?
Did I do that?
Yeah, you did. You were like, when you were talking about Allaho, you had your hand on your head. And
Did
I was
I?
like, wow, I wonder what that means.
I don't know, I'm
going
weird.
to Google some body language.
Oh, I'm weird. I wouldn't Google my body language.
The thing with Nat's forecast, I love those 2 horses, right? But Just from a complete
rubbish, Nat.
No, just from a pace scenario, I just can't see one where both those horses run the race.
I'm looking for the excellent
You know what I
Kevin
mean?
Morley's
I
tipping
do know
column.
what you mean.
Oh yeah, what's he gone for?
Well, it's got to be ALLAHO, surely. Hang on, just bear with me, because I
Got it here.
applied to this
I mean,
race.
Melon likes to come second.
Kevin's...
Melon likes
Trend.
to
Yeah,
come
he
second.
loves it,
yeah. He likes
Melon
it
loves
soft
to
ground.
come second.
Hang on a sec.
Don't talk to me about Mellon coming second. I backed him at
do you remember?
12s for the Supreme when LeBake came and beat him. I'm barely over it.
Yes, now, I've, thanks to Kevin, I forecasted what he might do. ALLAHO, followed home by
Back into the race.
Chamblou.
All right, so.
Who's done that?
On the trends, basically.
10-year
Kevin
trends,
Morley, the
Kevin
excellent
Morley.
Kevin Morley, who always knocks them out of the park. And
Of
if you
course
go-
it's not.
You can go to that in your paper, of course, on your members section, and he basically looks at all the historical needs to win your races. You know, and 10 out of the last 10, all that sort of stuff. And there are only 2 qualifiers that I found on this, one being ALLAHO, the other being Chamblou, and Kev has suggested the forecast as well. That's why I'm weighing in there with you. It's not just a little bit of...
Go big. If we're
greenness
wrong, we're
going
wrong. You know, there's bigger things in the world.
We
We'll all get
finally
over
got
it.
down the line to the commander. Bruce, how are we playing this race?
Do you know what? I barely looked at the Ryanair all winter because I just assumed ALLAHO was going to win. And then when I looked at it a couple of days ago, I thought, blimey, actually, that's a lot more competitive than I thought. Quite a lot of them have chosen the shorter option. So I actually think it's quite a big test for ALLAHO. He's only won one of 3 Cheltenham Festival races. But for all that, I think you basically have to show a fairly scant disregard for the form book if you think he can get beat. Barry's done it on price, and I get that, and that's fine. I said I'd be boring, and I'm going to go for ALLAHO, but I wouldn't back him.
Well, look, this is exactly what we're all
That was the
doing.
most pathetic
We're putting up the
tip
most...
ever. That wasn't it? Rubbish.
Well, a bit of a woolly case, but...
They're beatable.
Iron
These
by
horses
Adam
are
Ramsey.
beatable.
Bruce's meh. It should have been up
Yeah,
there.
Bruce
is
actually,
meh.
that was
Yes!
just
And then
Bruce's
with that-
dismissive.
An
sort of-
emoji. They can
yeah.
afford
Would
that.
this be one that used to be at the bar then?
No, I mean, I love the run. I think it's a great race. You think back to all those great runs like Exotic against Alberta's and all that. I think it's a fabulous
He's
race.
bidding to become Alberta's run, isn't he? The only
Yeah.
back-to-back winner since,
He
of course.
is.
The only one to
Is
do it.
I
Great
think it's a
Alberta's
really
run.
exciting race without, and I think you can make a case for all of them. Well, we haven't probably said enough about Conflated, who suddenly came
Well,
from nowhere over Christmas to
Yeah.
really show that he's a proper tool.
Seagull
And there are related form lines that
think if
give
there's-
him a great
I
chance.
think if there's a lot of pace on, you'll be better. If there's a lot of pace on there, do you think that would just put him out of his comfort zone?
Conflated.
No, I don't think that.
Do you not think
no,
that?
I think he won the Irish Gold Cup with a turn of foot. I want to come to Barry on
Okay.
this. I have to say, Barry, when I saw your lay of ALLAHO this morning, when we were all, getting in our housekeeping for the producing there, I thought Conflated might be the one that you were putting up. I think is he a bigger price than we're expecting here, Conflated? Having won the Irish Gold Cup.
Yeah, he certainly is. I suppose there was just that niggling. Obviously, I think Gordon Elliott was very keen on him to run in the Gold Cup. Gordon Elliott was very keen to run in the Irish Gold Cup, and I think Eddie and Michael O'Leary weren't as keen. They didn't think he'd stay the trip. Now, the way the race was ran, it was ran to suit him. And like you say, that turn of foot. But the time he won before the Irish Gold Cup, he won a Grade 2 in Navan over 2.5 miles. He has form at this trip, and it's interesting. I don't know. O'Leary isn't sentimental, as we saw yesterday with Delta Work and Tiger Roll. So he's not running it here just because it's the Ryanair and he wants to have a runner in it. He's running it here because he thinks this is his best chance of winning a race at the festival. He thinks it's a better chance of winning this than he does of a Gold Cup.
He's a horse that needs to improve £10 or more, you've said on the spotlights, but he is coming into it on an absolute high, isn't he?
Horse that needs to improve £10 on form, but has more scope than most to do so. I think might be the Verpeerton thing I've wrote.
Okay, that's exactly what you...
Yeah, because I wrote it, so I should know. It came out of my fingers.
That's your Diomed comment.
Came out of my fingers.
So I should know.
Yeah. Bruce once had a go at me about a Diomed comment, but indirectly you got Richard Austin to rollick me. Would you?
I don't remember that.
You must have done it 100 times.
I don't remember that.
And I've got to be very careful here, but I wrote, and it was a typo, and I felt, and Richard Austin was like, Bruce is steaming.
I'm not having that. That wouldn't have.
It was a typo at Warwick. Okay, it was a Martin horse, an Andrew Martin horse, and I went, cannot be discounted. And do you remember this?
Well, if it concerns the word discounted,
and I somehow I deleted the O. And it went into the paper as cannot be discounted without an O.
Rather like the famous episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm when he writes the
Dear beloved aunt.
Yeah, and
So
there's a typo
and
on
Richard
aunt.
Austin, who runs the Spotlight team, Get Dave Orton on the phone now.
No,
And
Best show in the world.
dramatising it. That's
I am not. The analysis department, if they're watching this, I went very red one day when the bat phone rang.
No, it's not your fault. It's your
Exactly, I was like,
human.
I
to
can't
quote
have done
Basil Forty, whose fault was it? Dennis Compton's. He's the one who typed it.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was
God,
actually
you're
the
on
one.
my favourite shows.
There
Fuck,
are
that was
sub-editors
Curb
out there,
Enthusiasm's
but
best show in
never
the
mind,
world.
you know.
Ever. Larry David.
Hugh
I'd like that for dinner.
Masson joins the show. Hugh, great to have you with us all week. Hugh's been with us and he says, I think ALLAHO will break anything that tries to go with him. Great question. Now, this is something that I'm going to talk about. Can't have Chamblou for that reason. Now, if you like Chamblou, when we did the big jump off, I was asked to look at the Ryanair. And if you would like to consult your big jump offs, I put him up at 7-2. And I felt a bit cheap doing it.
Ryanair?
Yeah, he was 7-2 at the
Is
start
he
of the
as short
season.
as that?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Oh, you say as short as that, Keith? He's about to go off at 8-13 on.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about Chamblou.
No. I put up
I
ALLAHO,
was-
but
yeah, okay.
I wrote whatever is able to go with him in the race will probably be the horse that puts it up to him or finishes second. Do you remember last year's race? Nothing could go with him.
Yes,
Look
but-
what he did to poor Mr. Fisher.
Hugh Mason's making a relatively good point. If you look at, because I think where he might be coming from is Charlie Hall when Harry said go, obviously. Wait, total wipeout.
I think
yeah, I mean,
Chamblou
that's
can
probably
go
why.
with ALLAHO.
What you should do, potentially, I mean, tell him how to ride a race, but you just try and follow him and maybe till
Yes.
you're going downhill,
Yes.
and then you go right to you.
Don't try and challenge him because Chamblou, remember, still.
I'd love to hear from
Experience.
people out there that have got the 7-2 about ALLAHO because it's a bit like honeysuckle ALLAHO. At the start of the season, he was a right price in hindsight.
But that- people
But
that-
who wants to back 7-2 shots in October, right, for Cheltenham? I mean, maybe in Accas and stuff like that. But you
People
can't.
do Accas because the Accas you're multiplying the uncertainty that gets factored into those prices is probably quite generous. So you multiply that out and you end up with actually.
I had
a better
ALLAHO in a
value.
fairly early season.
Did you?
With Honeysuckle, Sir Gerhard for the Supreme.
Can you
Yeah.
remember what sort of
Bob.
price he was then?
Shishkin.
I can have a look.
Yeah, if you could have a look. But like I say, it was a bit like, oh, people are going to throw pelters at me because I'm putting up a 7-2 shot in the Ryanair. But the problem with the race was, Chantry House, does he go Gold Cup? Does he go Ryanair? As it turns out, he
I've
goes
said
Gold
something
Cup.
absolutely brutal about him in the Gold Cup analysis tomorrow.
Have you?
He's never won a good race that wasn't presented to him.
Oh, dear Lord. Well, we'll get to that. And you're with us tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's hope
yeah.
Nicky's not listening because we got great words from Nicky last week in this studio and they've been borne out pretty much so far. He's pulled out pretty much all of his battalion today, hasn't he? But, including Mr. Fisher in this race, but how well did Mill Green run? So, I don't know. We'll let's get some times for you as well as they go. Perhaps Keith could look at that for us if you've done
The time we've had so far?
Yes.
Dave Edwards has come out and said it's not as bad as I've been saying. But
It's our
basing-
time guru, right?
He's been basing that on the Marsh, or the Turners, which, as we can probably imagine, it's not the sort of experiment you would choose if you were a times guru trying to establish the state of the going. But on that basis, he said it's nowhere near as bad as it has been cracked up to be. Third wind winning the Pertemps final on a very qualitative level tells me that it is definitely on the testing side. I would still say it's very much, I would say maybe soft, maybe heading towards the good to soft side at worst, but that's the impression I'm getting.
Okay,
so far.
interesting.
Dave, looking in pictures.
What price?
I found the bet.
Go on.
3rd of January. Fernie Hollow, that blew out. Honeysuckle won at 8-11. Galopin des Champs for the Brown Advisory at 6-4. Shishkin at evens. Bob at 6-5 for the Turners, which he was this morning. And ALLAHO at 9-4.
So look, he won for a long time this season, despite the fact that credible opponents were thin on the ground. He was odds against for a long
Listen to
time.
that. You hear, Galopin des Champs was 6-4 by that time. Honeysuckle was 8-11 by that point. What was keeping ALLAHO at 9-4?
Exactly. And then I would
argument?
put it out there that until the Irish Gold Cup, it was utterly his race. So conflated is the potential fly in the ointment. For
And
me.
that was after all the Christmas action as well.
Yeah.
So that is strange, isn't it? I think sometimes with certain markets, do you think they're sometimes just a little slow to kind of chop as much as they need to?
They are. I just don't.
Isn't it?
I mean, I assume it was the champion chase horses were still in that market. Is all I can think.
Who knows?
Coulthard would have been in it as well.
Meanwhile, he's shortening Barry, isn't he, old ALLAHO?
Yeah, but look, have you seen him in the paddock? I'm sorry, but
He's 162 now.
Die
Yeah.
voice, absolutely
He's a
incredible.
lovely
Just a
athlete.
bit of housekeeping, if you don't mind. I mean, the quotes coming from the Turners are, it's war and peace. There's a lot to decipher here, and we're going to have to cut them down a little bit if they're going to make the analysis box and things like that. But they knew that they would beat, obviously. I'll give you a quote from Paul Townend in a second on exactly what he thought happened. It would be hard for me to say that Bob is a Gold Cup or a Ryanair horse on what we saw today. But but it's only his third start over fences.
the
There's a lot
Bromhead?
That
Who
is
said
the
that?
Bromhead.
Henry said that.
Unlike us, yeah.
That is the Bromhead. We don't like to win a race in those, so they're being, the
I mean,
fraternity.
he's
of being the
generally quite a
fraternity.
downcast sort of guy, to be fair.
Yeah, he'd be quite cautious, but
He never thinks David Jennings told me his horses are never going to win.
He said, fair play to Gallopin, that was some performance. You don't like to root, but look, so we'll see where he
quite
might go.
gentlemanly, like there was in. You don't like to win under those circumstances.
He says
in
it
a way.
sounds terrible when we run, but there you go. Let's get a social up on the screen. Natalie says, will Shamblu even stay in heavy ground up the hill? That's the producers trying to say keep on with the with the RYANAIR guys. Will he? Well, if it's heavy, he won't be able to stay up the hill. No, is the question. That and I go back.
Shamblu, depends on
I've
track.
placed Lade Shamblu.
You have.
I tell you what, he's the sort of horse that you
Head
do
to
that.
head.
You do that fancy bet where you win back and place lay them.
Well, no, I don't like backing horses that everyone says he's a brilliant jumper because he can only either jump as well as he always does, in which case he'll run to form, or he'll make a mistake and he won't run to
He
form.
ran well on heavy last term, though.
I think it's really competitive.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
competitive.
And he's obviously had a very interrupted season. Now, the freshness might help him, and he may well finish in the 3. But I think in a competitive heat like this, and I'm massive respectful of Dan Skelton and what you said about, his father, and they'll have his jumping absolutely perfect. But I think in a race like this, where all 6 have got a chance of hitting the 3, I just think Shamblu's a little bit short in the 3. That's all.
Fair enough. Okay, Barry, the liquidity, as we
He's just
expect on the
destroying the
exchange,
video.
has been absolutely fantastic this week. I can see some big cues for ALLAHO mounting up.
Yeah, there's 2.2 million has been matched in this race so far on the Betfair Exchange, Dave, and obviously the bulk of it has been on the favourite. But for every backer, there has to be a layer, and there's plenty of people looking to take him on as well. He's currently trading on the Betfair Exchange at 1.60. So we laid him at 164. He's come in 4 ticks from that, but obviously he's a very popular selection. And on the sportsbook, he's the anchor leg in all the doubles and trebles. So a lot of running up money onto him from, there would have been on Gallopin Deschamps, but even on Bob Bollinger, because there was so little between the two of them. So out of the 2.3 million matched in this race, 1.8 of it has been on the favourite ALLAHO on the Betfair Exchange.
I've got a mate who's at the track who's waiting for a big treble, let's put it that way. It's going on to ALLAHO.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just seeing a couple of messages
Do you know what? It
coming
must be so cool. We're saying like with Dan and Nick and Harry and the team, like you can't underestimate the team. Mullins, with the jockeys and the riders he has at home, it's just dynamite. Like it is just uncomparable to anyone else. And when like you watch his previews and he talks about this horse, you're like, how many graded incredible horses can you have? But with the best, like some of the best jockeys on as well. Like it is.
We've talked about Sod's Law a lot
Incredible.
this week. It was one of the first things that I got told about betting. So watch out for Sod's Law along the way. Respect it. Just believe in it. And as much as we've said that Gallopin might have been Willie's nat, this has been their banker, hasn't it, all along?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, one's gone down. And just to, again, tidy up the comments from the Turners, Paul Townend has gone on record as saying he slipped after the fence.
He did.
Well, of course, we saw that.
So that was...
That's what happened.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah,
so
it
it
was
was wet.
I dare say that
slippery
Twitter will
ground.
find various ways of blaming him and
John
wishing
Pullen.
all sorts of ill on him because that's what Twitter does. But I mean, these things happen sometimes.
I
don't
mean,
they?
I had the finger out to point at him until I saw the replay, and then the replay, you go, that's right.
You said it's a caution!
Well, no, it wasn't because there's no error at the jump. In the jump, the error came after the horse had landed more or less safely.
Still
Townend
recovering
ripped
from
his
it.
shoe off.
It was Townend.
Didn't he?
When Townend rode him into the fence, I thought, why do you need to do that? You're 20 lengths clear. But, as I say,
He was on a stride.
horse jumped fine.
It's just a lovely jump, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Perfect
Yeah.
jump.
So
So
but
just
you're
to-
right. There's a lot hinging on ALLAHO here. You think you sense some multiples.
I'm
but
getting
Barry's
from
taking them on.
advice from the guys on the track, where this is going to be a delay to the Ryanair. Born Patriot is still being treated on the track.
Oh, okay.
after the
That's
Pertemps.
sorry
So
to
we're going to have a
hear.
delay to the Ryanair.
Peter Forrest's not... Yeah, he's not... Yeah, he's
No.
not Sad week, isn't
We've
he,
got a
Peter
couple of
Forrest?
bits to tie up from yesterday. We still didn't talk about the booing, did we? With
Oh, yeah, let's
I'm
Right.
amazed. Honestly, when we came off air, I thought everyone would have been just, feeling sorry for Tiger Roll, but what a great race. Really sporting of the Gigginstown horses to run on their merit.
Yeah.
So much so that the Delta work actually came and ruined the script. But booing, I mean, why would you do that?
Were you there, Nat, for the booing? Yeah.
It was proper booing, wasn't it, Nat?
Yeah,
In
it
your
was.
hospitality.
Where were you?
I was out of hospital. I can't say on this show.
Well, it was a bookmaker.
I was with a
Don't-
bookmaker.
It will make you livid. It will make Paul Keeley even more livid.
He
but,
is. I told Paul Keeley just to wind him up. I've never been invited. Anyway, no, I actually left hospitality at that point because I just wanted to have a little break, and I'm a bit weird when I
much
watch
jam.
racing, so I'd like to be on my own. just like to. I just honestly like to go and be on my own. And Tiger Roll was just, it was.
She got invited into a box by a bookmaker who she's never done any work for before. I've done loads of work for them. Paul Keat, we've all done loads of work for them. Don't worry, Barry, it's not you.
What are they sponsoring yesterday?
And Ingo's Nat, and they even asked her if she wanted to bring a +1, and she said no.
You like to be on your own.
Everyone wants a bit of
No,
Nat.
because you know what it is? Because sometimes some people just, they don't, not everyone loves the cross-country race. I love the cross-country race. I love it. It's a spectacle. It's great. And I was just so excited to see Tiger Roll. I think
So
the
what was
booing
the
is
booing
not,
like then?
yeah, it's loud and Larry.
It was, yeah?
Just Larry.
Yeah.
And you didn't need, I mean, look, if I was a jockey,
That's the report
I'd been
I
banned
got.
for life because there's no way I could have gone past Tiger Roll yesterday.
Well, Bruce,
I'd have been banned for
in the
life.
heat of it all,
No,
Bruce,
I can't go
Thank
past.
goodness you weren't,
No,
because
my
I needed that to complete a
Well, you did, but
Trixie,
even-
so thank God you weren't.
I'd been
Right?
banned
if you
for
watch
life.
back that clip,
done
actually,
it.
you said he didn't read the script, and I said Bambi's mum has just been shot.
Yes.
And
Totally.
which is kind of what it was. But and I remember looking down at the monitor we've got in here, and I saw Davey's face, and he looked shocked. I wonder if that was because the booing was happening. You see now, when I think
Very poor.
I couldn't. I mean,
Yeah, I
Jack was
agree.
punching
I
the air.
agree.
Fair play, Jack. For the integrity of the game, thank God that Jack Kennedy won. I think sort of going forward, because if Tiger
also agree,
yeah, we'd have flipped it then,
integrity-wise.
wouldn't we? Anyone that backed Delta Work would have been screaming at the telly, going, "He should have won that race."
I mean,
Nothing to do with my Trixie. It was all about the integrity of the game.
Integrity.
That was easily the number one priority.
No, I agree with you on that.
It's true though. It is
Yeah.
true that, because
Yeah,
if
it
he
is.
hadn't, there would have been booing from Delta Workbackers. And don't forget, that was favourite in the end. So now it's a complete con. He could easily have gone past him and he deliberately didn't. That would have stunk the place out.
That would have stunk, and that is not good for racing. I was only joking about that, but also, is it really that bad? Tiger Roll retires coming second.
Exactly, it's fantastic. It's another
Is it
great
really
challenge.
Carried out on
bad?
the shield
story.
as Brendan Duke said
I
yesterday.
bought on mentions a shield yesterday, so that's my. I'm
Did you buy the mention? Yeah, yeah.
Bought on
Well, I
mentions
think
a
there was
shield,
only
yeah.
one actually, and it was
No,
just
not only
Brendan.
this show, but you should have listened to the racing channel. It was on. Oh
I
God,
can
no.
imagine. Yeah.
So yeah, so that was that. But what wasn't Death Duty the horse? Not Death Duty. Delta Work the horse that won yesterday. Wasn't he the best horse by lengths?
Well,
Like lengths and lengths.
well, there were only 2 horses on paper that could have won that race anyway, and they fought it out by a short head.
Like,
Didn't
he
they?
was better. He was so much better than Tiger Roll now.
You know,
Barry,
it's good. The right, best horse won.
What
That's
did you
it.
make of the booze, Barry?
When I watched the race live, to be perfectly honest, I was saying, Jack, for sake, please don't, because everyone wants to see Tiger Roll go out in a high.
Yeah.
5 festivals, he's won 2 Grand Nationals. Like, we're not going to remember Tiger Roll in years to come for getting beat on his last run in Cheltenham.
100%.
You're going to remember him for being the 5 Cheltenham victories and the 2 Gold Cups. I think it's just a little bit tainted with the way Michael O'Leary went on with the British handicapper about the Grand National. If anyone else owned the horse, you just swallow it and run him in the Grand National, and retire him after that.
Yeah.
If he was sound. But yeah, so that's left a bit of a bitter taste in everyone's mouth. Michael O'Leary's handling of that whole incident, but I won't remember him for finishing second to Delta Work in the cross country.
No.
That's for sure.
Hilarious
What will
of
we
the
remember
Learys.
him for? Let's get the social up on screen and I'll go down, because we've all got a Tiger memory, and I've definitely got mine. Let's see what the social is. Darren Murray says Mellon to break the run a second eye to see what they do to try and bring us back to the race. Mellon came back last time at Gowran. That's a local track, isn't it? Was it
Yeah.
Gowran? And they
Gowran,
let him bowl on. Okay, Barrington, let's come to you. Tactics-wise, are you hoping that Mellon, despite being a stablemate, has a little pop at him and gets him at it early? Can he do that?
Yeah, I don't think ALLAHO needs to actually lead, but nor does Mellon, or Conflated really, but I think they'd be happy enough to let Mellon stride on. Now, I got that way wrong in the first race as well with Barra, but yeah, I don't think either of them have to lead, to be perfectly honest with you, but I could see maybe Mellon going out and setting steady enough fractions, but if nothing's gone fast enough, ALLAHO and Paul Townend could just go on.
Where'd you stand on the other 2 English horses? We talked about Shamblu. We've got Eldorado Allen and Fanion D'Estraval. I mean, Fanion's jumping. Surely that'll...
Fanion D'Estraval jumps better when he gets ridden prominently. I'm convinced, but he's not going to be able to lay up in this race, is he?
He can't put a foot
I think
wrong.
he could be a 165,
Well, it's
170
Venetia and
horse.
Charlie, so I mean, anything can happen this week.
Eldorado's a good old stick, isn't
I
he?
love
He'll
him.
do his running,
Yeah.
won't he?
I was very happy for him last time, but I think he beat a horse that didn't want the ground. And Nichols told me after Candace Obo ran in that race that he basically wasn't putting it all in. They're going to put blinkers on him next time.
Oh, are they?
I can break that basically if you've not heard it. It's going to be some natter with Nichols on Monday, Barry, by the way, isn't it? Let's face it. It's 2 years in a row for Paul, isn't it? Where he's wanted to, you wouldn't want to be the stable cut, as they say. And I'd love to see Harry Cobden get a winner this week. But I like him. He's another potential pace angler because, of course, he just gets on with it. But he has got the Shishkin form, the Shishkin Festival form.
He was ridden to get second behind Shishkin and he got it, basically.
Is there an argument to say that Shishkin doesn't really like the festival? Oh, that's a massive question.
You ridiculous man.
Well, look, he only just won the Supreme. He was workmanlike in the Arkle, and he basically didn't turn up
Won the
yesterday.
Supreme on 3 legs, if you believe the market
Yeah,
times.
I know, but he wasn't impressive in it, was he?
I think he likes the
the
rain.
way he overcame trouble. But what I'm saying is, he's not been himself at the. He's not
was-
been woo.
He
at
was
the festival.
plainly half a stone better than
Just
Abacadabra
putting
in
it
the
out there.
Supreme.
Jerry had said
Yeah,
on
but
our
come on.
Good Morning show that, I'm not going to get him into trouble, this is just, he was like, oh yeah, he's not been as sparky after the Clarence run. I was going to take Shishkin I'm talking about, could have taken out a little bit. And then he said, oh no, but the last few days he has sparked up a bit.
Yeah, he was
so
with
it's
us on
just
Saturday and said
interesting
that.
to see whether it was just took a bit more out of him than we thought, or whether he's just not
I heard they
feeling
were
quite on his
extremely
A
happy
game.
with him, so I don't know. We said did he leave it behind a little bit in the Clarence house, but then Energumene goes and wins on the Bridle of the Doors that was also involved in that battle. But I don't know. It's something I might be a little bit Rob Way mischievous. Like.
Henderson did come out after the race yesterday and said, oh, it's ground. I just hope that line holds. I just hope he keep...
Exactly what we said. Bruce led that yesterday. Let's hope that Hendo doesn't revert to what some racing Twitter know Hendo as or think Hendo is, and not one.
Well, he's
of basically
definitely
these
less
battles
adventurous.
again.
He wouldn't have run Bob's Worth in a Ladbrokes Trophy these days. Let's be honest.
So what will he do next year then? He won't run again this year, and he'll run in the Halden or the Tingle, or will he step him up?
I'll keep him at 2 out of thought.
I think he'll be going. I reckon that they'll be now talking about the King George. Jerry
Do you think so?
was with me on Saturday and he went.
That's not really how Hendo operates.
Well, Jerry McGrath was in the office with me before we came on the show and he went, you're basically just going to be asking me and being mischievous, Dave, aren't you, about the King George next year? And that's probably because they think that will... I mean, it's the next route for a horse like that, isn't it? Anyway, look, a lot of people on the chat asking why we've been delayed. It's because Born Patriot, the faller in the Pertemps, was still being seen to at the track. Hopefully that's going to end well, but they are going down now. I can tell you, it's not just because of the stewards.
Pulling his head away, isn't he? ALLAHO down to the start.
I'd be more worried if it was just going down at the start like
He's
he
being
was.
assessed
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
track
nice.
really.
He's like, yeah.
If this is a
Bring
flat
it.
race, I know, and again, I know it's not, like if he was trained by, which came up on the show yesterday, by the way. But when they walk round at the start for a long time, a lot of people start going, I wish if I could take my bet back. Because they get sweaty, don't they? They get lathered up. We need to keep an eye on them down at the start because this is a longer than they were thinking they were going to have for this race. And they're right in
I
the
wouldn't be
cauldron.
worried about this race, Dave. I'd be worried about the rock concert, which is the stayers, the flipping
Oh yeah, what
head
full of the
cases.
lunatics.
Yeah, these are
God.
season
Be worried about
pros,
these,
guys,
or we
aren't
And
I'd
the
be
other
worried
thing to
about
say is, yesterday there was hardly anyone in the pre-parade, was there? It was just a load of the odd umbrella. Now they're all piling back in. So Florian Porter's got that to answer. Classical Dreams got that to answer. We'll be looking at
That
them
is
all
a rock
going
concert.
down. Is anything sweaty and looking like a giraffe,
No.
as you like to call it? No. Okay. All right.
Bit warm down the neck, Fanion, or is that something else?
All right. Okay.
Wouldn't be worrying me either.
Let's give that limited offer look another push as well, shall we? $9.99 for your first month, which Queeth quite rightly says if you do now, does
Queeth.
include the Gold Cup as well. Did I say that? Hang on.
With Melrose.
Oh, no, I've not had that many pelters so far, and Bruce is only here for another day, so you may as well get him in now.
I've gone easy on you so far today, Dave, haven't I?
You have. And
You
on
haven't put
that.
a foot wrong. You haven't given me any excuse to.
Well, I
dig
mean,
you
I
out
got the
yet.
opening gambit wrong. I called our Spencers and Botfair, didn't I? Well, I mean,
Botfair is.
it's been a long week, trust me.
I've not checked if that made the social clip yet, did it?
I don't
Can you
know.
Let me know, please, producers.
It's
let
Ben
it be
Blackmore
so.
that's on it today.
Please do,
Let it be
Miss
Botfair.
Old Blenny's been doing a great job of the clips, and everyone's been loving
The
the clips.
Betfair
Did you see you were
Exchange.
pinned yesterday on our Twitter?
Yeah.
Did you see, if you're pinned, it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it was
Guys.
lovely though, wasn't it? It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I was getting messages from people who wouldn't normally message actually about that, saying you're
Really?
having such a good time.
I loved how
random people.
you were so pleased with yourself for not swearing.
I know, that was my first thought, because after the Goshen thing 2 years ago, I thought,
and there was
no,
someone that
please
quote
don't get yourself
tweeted,
into trouble.
thank God I didn't
So
swear.
I
but-
kept it clean, that was the main thing.
Okay, so
Staying out of
we're
trouble.
gonna hand to Bruce for the call in a minute. But Adam Hilton, happy days. I'm in Vegas. The only way of staying tuned in.
good
Correct.
It's the only way to do Cheltenham, isn't it?
Correct.
RP Live in Vegas.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
and of
that'd
course
be
you can't get a
great,
picture,
That's
so
pretty cool,
Bruce's
isn't
call
it?
is going to be all important. Right, Barry? Finally, we're
They're
off and
off.
running. What price has he gone off, Barry?
162. Betfair SP 162.
Thank
And
you
he
very
may well
much.
jump the first in front as well, ALLAHO. He's vying for the early lead with the lovely grey Eldorado Allen. They both jump it together. Everyone, all 7 are over absolutely fine. They're coming down to the second now. They're doing 30 miles an hour, so the pace is brisk but not crazy. ALLAHO leads over the second. Big old jump by Eldorado Allen on the outside. Mellon is in third. Going nicely in the green and gold is Janadil, and then on the inside we've got Sham Blue, followed by Conflated, and finally Fanion d'Estraval. Nat, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I didn't really like it when Eldorado skewed there. The first has just jumped that much better. So all trying to get into their rhythm in their positions. ALLAHO's doing exactly what I thought. Dictate, like I say, not too fast, not too slow, just getting a really nice time up in front.
You had nothing in the Pertemps and quite a lot there on that line. And he's gone 2s on, and I'm not surprised. I think he got a little bit lucky there because Eldorado Allen was not great at the first there, and that enabled him to just get that length up.
Would you want to take him on? Would you want to take on ALLAHO?
I think Brendan Powell was thinking about it, Bruce.
If you're one of the jockeys in any of those 6 jockeys in behind, maybe not so much on Eldorado Allen, but any of the other 5, are they sitting there thinking, look, we've just got to sit and suffer here 5 lengths off the fav? Or should they be coming forward and trying to serve it up?
I think they're making a mistake. This is what he did last year, and he put everything out of their comfort zone.
This is where he wins his races.
I agree, Barry.
I mean, what are you supposed to do? He's 8 lengths clear of everything bar Eldorado.
Look at Janadil. He doesn't like it. He's been running on winter
Mellon
ground.
had a
He's
bad
getting
jump
outpaced. Yeah, and isn't it beautiful to see them running? I mean, look, it might be tacky, but it's thank goodness we're watching about with some sunshine again. It's absolutely different.
It's sun, and I hope it's not low sun later on. Anyway, they're over what will be the last.
What a
next
jump
time round.
that was.
ALLAHO is absolutely
This is
impeccable
over.
so far.
This Fanion d'Estraval held up and making mistakes again. That horse needs to be ridden more positively.
I'm quite pleased with Sham Blue at the moment, honestly.
Barry, this should be 10s on.
Oh, look at that.
5 to 2 on now.
This is no contest.
It can't be 10s on, Dave. You've still got another 8 to
sword,
jump.
isn't it?
This is absolutely
Tell you,
done.
if I won the lottery, honestly, ALLAHO he's magnificent.
This is all over. This is best mate in his
those two
second Gold
jump.
Cup. This is honeysuckle. This is
It's not
all
all
over.
It's not all over at
telling
all.
you,
That's
this
a
is
bit
over.
much, isn't it?
3
is
words,
over.
Galopin des Champs. But ALLAHO leads as they go down into the far side towards the top of the hill. It's ALLAHO by 2 from Eldorado Allen, where Brendan Powell has decided to get a little bit closer. Shamblu 6 lengths further back on the inner. Then we've got Mellon on the outside. Janadil, Fanion d'Estraval, and finally Conflated, who is being ridden very, very patiently by Davy Russell.
Wasn't he quite a bit more prominent early on? He's really dropped back to the field, Conflated.
Barry, the producers have said that Dave Orson's just put a -0 on the price. You know what might happen now?
Don't you? Listen, do you know what's extraordinary about ALLAHO? You've got to watch closely. Look at his knees. He is the neatest. Look, they are so neat.
I went to the track.
Untidy out the back.
You don't want to be doing that.
You can put another 0 on him. I don't want to say it, but you can.
Chambly's running nicely.
Janadil's warming up a bit, guys, actually.
They're all getting fairly strong out now. Here's the order as they get to the top of the hill. It is ALLAHO by 2 from Eldorado, Allen by 2 from Shamblu,
be
by
happy
4
with Shamblu,
from
I think.
You would, I
Janadil,
think, yeah.
by 2 from Mellon, by 1 from Fanion d'Estraval, and by 1
Bypassing
from
the next
Conflated.
fence.
So they're bypassing the next fence, and they're getting to the highest part of the course. I say the race is hotting up, but really ALLAHO is actually cooling it down because he's in total control. He's popped over that one. He's absolutely fine. Eldorado Allen is still in second. Shamblu's still in third. What's the market doing now, Barry?
He's 3s on. Eldorado Allen closes in the betting at 12. 11 Sean Blue now. So Sean Blue making a bit of a move, but they're all going to have to go, aren't they?
Harry Skelton has definitely had a word with himself after last year,
Yeah.
hasn't he? Yeah, for sure. Conflated now starting to pick up a little bit, but look, this is where the comfort zone happens. He's in second gear, this horse.
Yeah, ALLAHO's still doing everything right under Paul Town, and he's absolutely cruising along. Eldorado Allen
Doesn't make mistakes either, sure he doesn't.
Coming up to the
Harry,
tricky
he's
third last.
unbelievable.
Over we go.
He's unbelievable.
Beautiful jump there.
It's like the jump isn't even there. It's
Fanion
like
dropped their whip.
Conflated getting into it, lads.
Harry Skelton's dropped his whip.
there now.
Skelton,
that's not good.
Here comes
Shamblu
Conflated.
very
Conflated's
busy.
got one run in
Janadil's
him.
coming there, but they're turning in 2 to jump, and he's
Everything
4
else
lengths
is out of
clear.
it.
ALLAHO and Paul Townend is going well. The others are all scrubbing along.
This is it.
Speed,
What
He's
ALLAHO.
basically got 2 to jump, and then he will win another Ryanair. We come
Harry's
down
on
to the
his whip.
second last.
Okay, but
shambling.
okay, he's over that fine because Barry would have arm and hard otherwise. Conflated.
Oh,
conflated.
he's
down at the second
What a
last.
shame.
Conflate's got
Shambaloo's
the
found
second
absolutely
last.
nothing, has he?
No,
It
I've
is
got it on.
ALLAHO who's
Come
just
on
got
then.
to jump the last. He's 7 lengths
No
clear. It's a
knuckling,
good
please.
battle.
Oh, Lord!
Fiddled it, don't worry. Eldorado Island's still hanging on for second from Janadil, but Janadil's
gonna
going
be
to come and
second,
do him now
yeah.
for second. But this is all over. ALLAHO gets it done in fine style. He's 10 lengths clear. He's just being kept up to his work, but there is no doubt. Still a good battle because I tell you what, Eldorado Allen has got a huge heart and he's trying to wrest back second place.
he
But
does try,
he does
Janadil
try.
will take second by half a length from Eldorado Allen, and it is all over. Dave, you did say with a lap to go, this is all over, and you were right, my friend.
I could
sort
watching
of-
a lot of racing, and that reminded me of Best Mate in his second Gold Cup, where you just knew Azertia, I've seen go out there in the Arkle, you just know that they are going to win. Barracuda, the year he won his Stayers Hurdle, you just know after
It is
a
not.
hurdle.
It is not impossible to know like that far
No,
out
it-
what's
you-
happening.
you-
It's
of
not
course-
impossible.
no.
It's not. I
course.
knew exactly what you meant. Like I wouldn't
Galopin
have said
Deschamps
Ted's
is
on,
right,
but dearie
but-
me, he was so in control, wasn't he?
Exactly. That was absolute poetry in motion. And well done, all of you that have been
I
with
think-
him all season. Barry, let's come to you then. You said he was threes on a long way out.
Amazing.
It was all over from a long way out. I suppose when they start rolling down the hill, a couple tried to make their moves, Conflated and Janadil. Conflated probably would have been a valiant second.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd have got within an ass's roar of the winner. The winner's done it well. He's 7-2. He was 7-2 for next year's Ryanair. He's 2-1 now.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. I mean, we're just watching him go past. Barry, how do you feel? Because you put up, it's him as a lay. But we did say you and Keith got it right. I hope you read the
did.
spotlights as well, everyone out there, because that was the forecast you kind of put up. He's run well, hasn't he?
Yeah, our multi's still going. We've got 2 places so far in the each-way Crixie, so hopefully our last leg can get a place there as well. But yeah, Janadale's ran a solid race, but he's a fortunate second. Eldorado Allen, you've called it right in the running. He's just such a generous horse. He gave so much there. He's the only one that tried to live with the winner early doors, and he's probably paid the price for that, for finishing third.
The good thing has gone in.
Why is ALLAHO never talked about as a Gold Cup horse?
He wouldn't stay
How do you know?
because he's failed to stay 3 miles twice at Cheltenham.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, they ran him as an
Yeah.
Albert Bartlett, didn't
Yeah.
they? And do you remember, it was actually before. I mean, he's
Yeah,
a
not far.
perfect
The
rider.
RSA didn't stay, did he?
Yeah, the RSA as well. He's the perfect. We were talking to Patrick at the start of the season. Will you stretch him out? Because we were saying, is the 7-2 the worst bet you've ever seen? Well, let's hope that Connections are aiming for it. He's become Alberta's run. He's the only other horse to do the back-to-backs. 2-1.
When you got a horse like this, you don't want to start getting him beat though either, do you? Because he's just in this.
And well done,
category,
Paul
he's just the
Townend,
best.
after Gallopin Deschamps out there. That was you could see really. I mean,
Well,
coming
he's
to the
not.
last.
He didn't go for. He went for one again. Look at him. The horse put down on him.
The reaction showed everything. Look, he's a 9-year-old next year that's absolutely fine in the Ryanair, and just great to see, isn't it?
I mean, he could win. He's
is
got
a
2 more
juggernaut.
goals, hasn't he? He's got 2 more goals really. Once 9 and then 10, and then
Yeah.
they start to fall off.
He could win that at 11, couldn't he?
But they,
Yeah,
older
like,
horses
but-
do go well in this race.
It's probably fair. Your odds on to be regressive by the time you're 11, but regressive might
what
be
it's about,
fine.
doesn't it,
Yeah, it
Keith?
does. Yeah.
The Ryanair 2022, unsurprisingly, goes to ALLAHO. Let us know then who was on the Bob and ALLAHO double. I was on the Gallopin and ALLAHO double.
Can you imagine how Paul Townend would have felt there with that when he'd scraped
You've seen it
straight
before.
through the
Jockeys
last.
do.
Imagine 2 races where you throw
Jockeys
it
do
away.
this week
I
have
think his stomach would
weeks
just
like
be-
that, don't they?
Oh,
Well, your
Yeah.
adrenaline would be so high, but I think your stomach would just fall
I'm
out
trying to
of
think
your
of jockeys who've
backside.
had
You'd be,
weeks like that. I
"Whoa."
mean,
Ruby Walsh.
Ruby
Yeah,
Walsh and
Ruby.
Daryl Jacob one year had just
Oh, yes,
everything
he
went
did.
wrong,
Yeah.
didn't
What
it?
about the Latalomni guy? Do you remember?
That was 2 years in a row, wasn't it?
2 years in a row. Vinnie Keane.
Oh,
Wait.
oh, God,
We
we
got
didn't
there
like
in the
that.
end.
Yeah,
Vinny,
someone chuck a
Vinny
scarf.
Keane.
Someone chucked a scarf. You can't chuck a scarf at a thoroughbred, guys.
As they say.
Come on.
Well, that's the sort of thing that really annoys
I'm
me.
always saying.
Yeah, my nan always says that. You
It
can't chuck a
annoys
scarf.
me. It annoys me because they're flight animals. And what did you spook it? Paul Townend falls off. ALLAHO
All
runs
right, fair
free.
enough. I mean, to be fair, someone
don't
logged
know,
one at
don't
Honeysuckle and they caught it beautifully, didn't they? That was very.
Yeah,
She's
all
a
right, okay.
female.
That is
Oh, no.
that is that done then. And
Yeah.
the highs and lows of Cheltenham guys. Gallop into shot. Willie
See
Mullins.
Willie
like,
going like that as if he was like, woo.
absolutely. The relief is there, and the firm are back. And as we expect, it goes on. We've got the Stayers Hurdle coming up for you. Then we'll be going to the Plate, one of my favourite races of the week.
Look at all those print journalists in shot. Get out the shot. Wait until he's finished.
that annoy
speaking.
you?
It annoys me like mad. I used to
don't.
go nuts if our reporters were spotted loitering around a winning connection. I used to say, our readers don't want to know what they've seen the trainer tell Channel 4 or whoever it was live on TV. Wait till he's finished. Get your face out of shot. We don't care if you've got your mug on telly, and then ask some separate questions afterwards and get some fresh, unique quotes.
I am
What
so
have you got to say about that, Nat?
happy. Bruce, you've just made my
can't
year.
She wasn't very happy at Kelso
I was
for
so
ITV.
angry and slightly aggressive at Kelso because I mucked up one of my interviews with Nicky Richards, which really did my head in. And then it was so bad, I
believe
sent
you've gone
Dave a what do you call it, a GIF or a meme, whatever they called, a video of Mr. Bean trying to overtake someone on the stairs, rushing to get past. It actually ruined my day.
Get out of their
Ruined my
shot.
day.
It's ridiculous. They
She
shouldn't
was
be in there.
livid.
Yeah, I don't blame
Furious.
you.
We won't name names, but
Well, I mean, there's
Furious.
obviously the patron saint of that caper, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, there is
I was livid,
quite
I was.
right.
I really was in a
I mean,
mood.
how good was that
Barry,
Paddy
I was in
Power
a proper
video?
mood. You see me when I'm in a mood.
You know what?
It rhymes with broadband, though.
Can we just go back to Allo, how brilliant he was?
No, that is
everyone
that's
knows.
101. That
Everyone
is.
knows. Yeah.
Lads, just to wrap up
Yeah,
there,
but-
ALLAHO, 10 from 20 for the King George, 16, introduced at 16 to 1 for the Gold Cup next year. Whatever Willie said.
I said yesterday I feel sorry for a horse race, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
It was the King George. He said you're supposed to feel sorry for the horses. I always feel sorry for
Yeah,
the King
it's-
George at this stage because
it'd be
it's never going to
brilliant.
happen. It's like the Ark, isn't it, on the flat? Oh, what an Ark we're going to get, and that can sort of happen. It just never happens to the King George.
You're right, and you know what I was just about to say about this horse, as well as what the horse he reminds me of more than any other is Voiture.
Who basically came within a Nats, you know what?
Yeah, of winning the
winning
King
it.
George, but didn't quite get on. He got a lot. He was all speed, that horse.
Do you think like Hendo gets scarred? Willie got a bit scarred with that. I know that he won it obviously with Tornado Flower, and he didn't bring over his absolute 18.
I think the trouble with this is that this is kind of Quavega territory now, isn't it? Where this is his race and this is all that counts, and he'll have a couple of spins, but they're not going to be experimenting with him. As you say, Keith, this is at his mercy for the next at least 2 years.
Yeah,
so they'll
possibly
gear it
more.
around that, and then he'll win it with other horses.
It could depend what happens tomorrow. If a Plutard, for instance, looks like a fading force, say, maybe that's when ALLAHO Gold Cup starts to look a little bit more attractive. But it's betting without something like an Plutard's young, same age or younger.
I think he's
One of
8.
the two.
8, I think.
Yeah, the same age then. And so it's just, it's less. Envoy Allen was a Cheveley Park horse in the champion chase, ALLAHO Ryanair, A Plutard Gold Cup, and they're happy having a horse in each of those races.
I'm getting some quotes in about the Pertemps. We're going to go to the Stayers soon. Theoretical 2 mile 6 chase of all Willie's best. Who wins?
ALLAHO.
ALLAHO.
Well, Voiture when I made it a race.
Oh, of all time?
What, of all time? Blimey, that's a shout, isn't it?
That one's his best horse ever.
Yeah.
Oh, Voiture was right up there.
Duvan.
That was a proper horse.
They think it was
That I
Duvan,
got.
I reckon, don't they?
That I got over 2.6.
Still can't.
He'd have won a Gold Cup, Duvan.
I'm still getting over Shaq and Passoir.
Duvan is Willie Mullins' best ever horse, I think.
Ah, come on.
Why?
I think they might think that.
He was a bit of a show pony, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. No, he was not. He was absolutely different.
He was a really good horse, but
It's such a shame he had those injuries.
Yeah.
I think he would have absolutely been Arkle.
It's interesting that the debate is out there, though, isn't there? Okay, so look,
I just
the
can't
poor
believe
old
the
King
horses they've had.
George.
It's just
Oh, well, yeah.
insane.
It'll probably be
Both sort of
Clanders, Oban,
Duvan,
Frodon fighting it out
Faugheen.
again, wouldn't it? But
It's just insane. It's unbelievable.
Hurricane Fly.
To have those horses in your lifetime, though.
has
Like,
JP
it's
had a
just-
winner yet? Someone's asking. Will Champ change that? Great link out there. What's for dinner? I can see you on the chat. I'm with you. He hasn't had a winner yet, JP, has he?
Don't think he has.
It's usually in the Pertemps, isn't it? It's usually in the Plate. It's usually in the handicap or something like that. Did he win
No, he had
Did he win all the handicap
No, he
levels
won
last year or something?
Brazil's his, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Brazil.
Brazil,
Thank
yeah.
you. God's
Yeah.
for dinner. Come on. I
Do
know
you know what? By
the
the time you
Tuesday
get to
seems a long time
Thursday,
ago.
what happens on Tuesdays?
No, you
like
can't
a
remember.
world away, isn't
Can't
it?
remember.
So much
Absolutely. Shall we get the market up there? There's the Betfair SB then. Always a more generous one you're getting there. But the exchange is coming up for a rather scratching I'm looking for the column that you can see. I've got Dan in my ear saying it's on the screen already. Well, we're waiting for the big one.
It's very confusing, isn't it, Dave?
It is a tad confusing. But we are now going to go for the stayers hurdle. I think because of Brendan Duke the previous 2 days. He obviously talks a lot of sense, but he has convinced me that Royal Kahala is the one to be with here. And you agree, don't you?
I thought we could just have a nice point on this for perhaps readers of the Racing Post or viewers that are obviously really into their racing, but just to clear a few things up. Peter Fahey, trainer of Royal Kahala, which I also love, as long as the ground is safe, should definitely run. Now, I don't think he's meaning safe as in good. She doesn't like the grain. I've lost it. The rain, I think, is a nice point to just safe, soft, jumping ground. It's just something I thought when I first read it. I thought, people might be confused by that comment because she does like the soft ground and she does go in the mud.
If there's one race that people want to watch RP Live for this week, it's probably this, because it's one of the championship races, as we call it, and it is an absolute where are we going with this. So let's try and pick the bones out of it for you out there and try, and if you're not sure yet, or maybe you want to green up on a few others, as they say, we might be able to convince you. Perhaps you're looking for a lay in the race. Barry Orr.
Yeah, Classic Dream is 4.559. Last year's winner, Florian Porter. Another previous winner with Tom O'Brien, who we've already seen on the board today. Time Hill, 6.2. 6-6 Champ has been popular. Royal Kahala, probably the best back horse of the race, is 7. 10 Paisley Park. 40 Song for Someone. 48 Lisnagar, home by the lead, 55. It's such a competitive race. I really haven't got a strong opinion in it. But Song for Someone is a horse I felt for a long time. He's either fallen out of love with the game or he's crying out for a step up and trip. And I think it could be a dangerous mix of both. I just remember in the International, Dave, I was on the show with you. And when they turned out of the past the winning post out onto their last circuit, I think he looked like he wanted to go back into the stands. He seems like he's a real thinker about the game. But I'm just thinking he might just hunt around. And I think he will stay the 3 miles. And it's such a race for the headbangers that anything could happen here. You have 2 or 3 horses plant themselves at the start. That Classical Dream trying to anticipate the start. Paisley Park's turned into a bit of a monkey. Champ has his own ideas sometime as well. So just very simply, we're going to have 25 quid on Song for Someone at Betfair SP, Bruce, because I think it's going to be big. There was a few quid from in the each way market on the sportsbook, but if you just
click on the SP there, don't I?
Just click on the SP, yeah.
And we're having 25
backer
quid
at the SP and populated with 25 quid. And whatever the Betfair SP is, we'll have that 25 quid if the horse manages to win.
Barry, why would you do the SP there rather than take the current price of 42?
Because he was 36 a minute ago and he's drifting all the time. Okay. And the XP will almost track that as well. And it's such a competitive race for the shorter horses that are in single figures. I think he'll drift out to a very decent Betfair SP. I would be disappointed if it wasn't 50 plus.
It is an absolute flyer, that. And he's keeping good company, because we've got a debutant on the show next week. The anti-postman is making his debut on this show next week, Robbie Wilders. And he is agreeing with Barry. Whoever would have thought that? Because Robbie he's got his own way of looking at things, and he has put this up quite some way out, the anti-postman, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did. And he put it up weeks ago now, and I emailed him and said, I'm glad you put that horse up, because he caught my eye a little bit in the entries, but I didn't back him.
He is a hound of a horse, I think, if you've watched him the last couple of times. But he absolutely is, Barry. You're right about what you said. How he got within half a length in that race, you're just like, it must be, Aidan Coleman must be infuriated with him. But the talent is there, and I can see it. I think if you don't like the market leaders in this race, you've got to try and look for something that could improve for the trip. Nico de Boinville gets the leg up. Who rides with Thomas? It was lots. We know he's got the course form. He's got the buzz form. He
wants to go up and trip as well, this horse.
Well, he either wants to go home or he wants to go up and trip.
That, yeah. And
we're about to find out. It's not the wackiest thing you've ever heard, but those people that have backed him the last twice when he's been short against Goshen and that are like, I didn't want to hear that name today. Seamus Moore comes back and he says, I'm going to give a shout out for Paisley Park in the next. Anyone with Paisley?
Well, you can't ignore Paisley. I think what Emma's saying is, don't think he's a naughty. He's naughty, he's quirky. But I think what Aidan did is Aidan got out of his saddle and but before Paisley had actually jumped off. So you could see he just slapped the reins a bit and Paisley thought, I'll have you here. He's clever, he's quirky, he's a bit...
That was a put on another zero for me.
Yeah, but Aidan
he win
that's
that?
Exactly.
unbelievable. So I think
went too
Aidan
hard.
today, I'm telling you, he'll have his bottom in the saddle until he's jumped off. Then he'll bring his bottom off the saddle and keep hold of him. He will keep hold. But this is, Dave. This is a
Bruce
rock.
enjoyed that one.
This is a rock concert. I'm telling you, this is crazy. Look, let's look.
What, this is Iron Maiden?
This is Iron Maiden. This
Is
is
it headbangers?
mental.
Is this what you're getting here?
Yes,
Is that what you're
because
getting at?
I'm
Yeah, oh,
getting
yeah.
it
Well, it
because
is song for someone.
Well,
Barry's just tipped song for someone.
Porter.
I was trying to figure out where the analogy was coming from.
No, because it's madness. Flooring Porter last year, fine,
Madness, they
no
were more of a
crowds.
ska
I told you. Here's the curveballs.
I like it. It's just sharper brain than me. Flooring Porter, though, yeah, last year it was nice and quiet. This year, that could really set him alight. And yeah, Royal Kahala, let's put a line through the mare's hurdle, the mare's race, because she pulled up lame.
Yeah.
That time. So
yeah, she had an excuse, didn't she?
She
Yeah,
did
that's
have an
right.
excuse. But you can't say Paisley Park hasn't got a chance.
No, of course you can't.
But
That's arguably the run of his career, that
yeah.
one.
I think in a race, Nat, where we are talking about some characters, shall we say, she is coming in on an absolute high. I will, and now you do have it in the back of your mind that she didn't perform at the festival. I know she was lame, but the jumping is the issue. Brendan Duke, who said he was going to have his max on
point.
Bob, didn't he? I wonder how Brendan was feeling during the Turners.
Yeah.
My Lord, he said that would.
He never backs short prices, does he? And
that was his.
him, won't
Okay, well, absolutely kills when he says the two biggest bets he had at the festival rods on, and they both lost. She comes into it on a high. Barry, let's come to you with this, because she can make the odd Horlicks of offence, and of course on the new course there's a lot of running when you get over that third last.
Royal Kahala, yeah, but she's an improving mare. I thought it was a brave thing to do to run here ahead of the mare's hurl. I think it's a ballsy move, and I hope that it runs well for them. I'm a little bit concerned home by the lead. That form doesn't really stack up to much, the horse that she beat in Garin. But she is an improving mare. She gets a £7 allowance as well, which is a big help. And she'll be banged there. The ground's come for her too.
Yeah, girl power then for me and Nat. Happy days. And I like the fact she just keeps finding. I don't think we know how good she is yet. So the jumping on the old course, that might make it a bit tricky. But it's better for the dodgier jumpers, this basically, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a bit less jumping to do in the racing hard. So yeah,
as we saw in the Pertemps. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's a bit something to be said for that.
All right, okay, so we're going for something that's bang in form, basically. The Paisley Park.
hoping.
No 10-year-olds ever won this race, ever. I mean, Crimson Embers has won it as an 11-year-old, so that's probably a bit silly. But Champ, of course, now 10. And also Paisley Park. When I spoke to Nicky last week, he said if the Champ turns up that ran there last time, he's got no chance. If the Champ of the Long Walk at Ascot turns up, we might be onto something.
And that's the better guide than the long walk.
Yeah, the long walk, he went too hard, didn't he? He was involved in a pace burn-up in the long walk.
Yeah.
The Long was at Ascot, wasn't it? What was he?
No, the Cleve, sorry.
The Cleve,
That's the
yeah. I
better
always
guide for
forget
the
the Cleve's
stayers.
name. I always call it the Relkill or something like that. But the one that Paisley Park somehow has won 3 years in a row. Lisnagar Oscar, of course. Lisnagar colours carries the Ukraine colours, of course. So a very fitting thing there.
Yes.
And it'd be nice to see Rebecca Curtis have a 6th Cheltenham Festival winner.
I
That's
know.
fancy running. 6? Yeah, I know, I couldn't believe that. Someone pulled me up on that. I can't remember who it was.
Once we've got the last 3 years winners all in action here, haven't we?
Yeah,
It's incredible.
I wrote that she was a 2-time Cheltenham Festival winner, and then all of a sudden some sub-editor, thank God, pulled me up and went, it's 5, don't you? And I was like, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's...
Do your work, Dave. It's 5,
T
yeah.
for 3, a Phelan's Boy, Irish Cavalier,
At
Lisnagar
Fisher's
Oscar,
Cross.
At Fisher's Cross.
Yeah,
There you go.
Good work.
And Lisnagar is in it. It wouldn't be the craziest thing. The one slight thing I'm worried about, Royal Carlo, is the drawing ground. What about Time Hill? Any love out there for Time Hill?
I think
Paisley's
that has
also
to be, doesn't it? Obviously, he scratched late last year, but he's been fine ever since.
ran close to Monkfish, didn't he? In the Albert Bartlett, the Richard Johnson, that was his worst race. You can never talk to Dickie about that because he.
I think the
livid
fresh
about it.
angle with
Oh
Time
yes,
Hill's
sorry.
a real
There is a
positive,
social on the
Dave,
screen from Chris
isn't it?
Timms. Sorry, Chris, you're there. Great to have you all week. One of our regulars. Cool. Royal Kahala for me. Also had a small each way on Lisnagar. 33s because my cat is called Oscar. There you go. Right, well, let's hope Ozzy is screeching after this then. Flooring Porter and Classical Dream, the two horses we're going to need to look at in the paddock, but you like one of them, Bruce.
Well, I say I like one of them. I mean, I was very sort of lukewarm on ALLAHO and he won. I've nearly gone through the cards so far in the most unlikely circumstances. Alaphilippe just got done. I've gone for Classical Dream because I think that the Galmoy form's relevant. He didn't actually run brilliantly in that, but I sometimes, when I get to a race like that, I sometimes just go, if in doubt, follow Steve Mason RPRs.
Brilliant.
And anything can happen here. I said on Twitter, this should be called the Stayers Wordle, never mind the Stayers Hurdle. It's such a puzzle.
You were absolutely gutted at the reaction that got.
I was. No, it was good. It was good in the office. Everyone in the office.
Oh, yeah,
tweet
lapped up.
that, tweet that, and it absolutely blew out.
You're not
Did it
their
bomb?
boss.
I think
Twitter.
it went over my
It
followers.
bombed like Classical Dream in the Galmoy.
Yes, but he's better than that, isn't he?
Well, if they hadn't, look, this again, I'm going to contradict myself because, as you know, I don't like that if it was trained by, and of course, well, it's not trained by someone else, it's trained by who it's trained by. If it was ridden by someone else,
It's your
well, it's not,
second
it's ridden
if
by someone
today.
else. Right, I'm saying a lot of ifs, but if Classical Dream hadn't run in the Galmoy, I think we can all agree he'd be clear fav. wouldn't
Oh, yeah,
we?
definitely.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say if he wasn't trained by Willie Mullins, he'd
Yeah.
get a bigger price.
Well, because that is extremely
I've
relevant.
not gone quite that low yet.
But it is relevant, isn't it? Look, I wouldn't. This would be my weakest fancy of the entire week outside of those big handicaps.
People
This
will be
is
doubling
this is
up now.
impossible. This race. Anyone who says I've got a really strong view, I really fancy this, I'm intrigued to hear it because I cannot make head nor tail of it.
We'll know a bit more at the start.
Which is not often the thing you say for a Stayers, is it? Because you have very short price favourites usually go and take it out.
I
or
was
try.
saying that, yeah, it's the first Stayers I can ever remember seeing where anything could win, and maybe making a slight exception for Kashari. I'd be surprised if he was to win. But anything else, Lisna Garosco's the biggest price to them and has literally won it before.
So is this Lisna Garosco is the standout SP at 50s, isn't he? But Cole Harden when he won it. If Flooring Porter needs to get through, obviously he's going for back-to-back wins, which lots of big bucks did so successfully. He's got to get through the prelims. Does he have to lead?
Possibly.
Well, Classical Dreams nicked it, didn't he, off him when he came
Oh
back?
yeah, that was a funny old race. That.
No horse has to lead.
You don't think
There
so?
is very rarely a horse race where a horse has to lead.
Let's bring that in here. Do horses sulk when they don't get their...
No, it's when you
way up
can
front.
keep hold of them.
I don't know. I think some horses do sulk.
There are a
when they
few.
don't.
I
think
mean,
they
they're not
can,
as common as people would like to think.
I think they
but
can, Barry.
some horses will just go, what's he in front of me for? What's he bloody doing?
I
there?"
You
think
can
so.
quickly, quickly sicken them, do the head, and they can be.
No horse has to
I
lead.
like
Well,
everything. It doesn't happen as much as its acolytes would like to think.
Exactly.
But it does happen.
Okay, fine, but it's an overplayed factor.
Like
Yeah.
loads of things, but yes.
Who's the top rated in this race? It's
To the classical dream.
It's Classical Dream, isn't it? Yeah, of course. When, again, Patrick Munners referenced him again, yet again, the brilliant talker that is Patrick. When we spoke to him on the big jump off, he surprised me because I said, well, Classical Dream, do you remember at the start of the season they had him maybe going Arkley route and all that sort of
Okay, I
stuff?
didn't remember.
He was emptying fences. He was like, there were a couple of horses that weren't sure, appreciate it, whether they were going to go or stay. And he told us he thought the Classical Dream might be flattered by that Punchestown run when he thrashed them on his belated return. He said they went hammer and tongs and I picked up the pieces. And I was really surprised because I thought, and again, he came back with a win and I'm like, right, we've just seen the Stayers winner. But of course, why on earth did they run him in the Galmoy?
That was a
Patrick
very strange
Mullins,
one.
Sorry, Keith. Patrick Mullins is he's kind of sickening, isn't he? Because he's a very, very good jockey. And then when he's not riding, he's better than any of us lot at writing.
Yeah,
he's
he's
an
fantastic
unbelievable writer.
Yeah.
He's honestly, I mean, like he could win the Racing Writer of the Year. This guy, he's still an active jockey. He's a phenomenon.
When he was in his early days as a jockey, he was at the Irish Field a bit, wasn't he, as well? So he's actually got himself a bit of an apprenticeship.
I remember when I first became editor, there used to be something called the Martin Wills Writing Awards in memory of Martin Wills,
Yeah,
and it
remember
was
that.
for youngsters who wanted to break in. And he won it for his account of it was the last fatality at Aintree for a great many years. I can't remember the name of the horse. It began with D, I think. And his account of that was absolutely phenomenal. And he won that award there. And look, good writers have won that down the years. And I met him at the award ceremony and I thought, wow, this guy's just so impressive as a human being. He's absolutely brilliant. And the stuff he writes in the Racing Post is just so insightful. So for him to say that, we were lucky on Classical Dream, that's made me even less confident.
He does poo-poo these things a little bit when you think you've seen it. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. But Classical Dream, I just think he's a bit short for me. I think I think it's a win or a bomb really. So I wouldn't back him each way, that's for sure. All right, how far are we away from the Stayers Hurdle? Obviously there has been a delay, hasn't there, to the Ryanair? So it'll take a bit of time to catch up. And I'm desperately keen to keep my eye on the preliminaries in this race. Barry, we've been talking. What's the market saying?
Yes, that hasn't changed much. 4.3 Classical Dream just coming in a little bit. 5.7 Flooring Porter, 7.6 Time Hill. Champ is 6.6 Royal Kahala. So looks like Royal Kahala and Flooring Porter are kind of vying for second favouritism, but no doubt what's going to go off favourite in the race, Classical Dream.
Okay, in Mullins we trust, say the punters. Let's have a look at some social interaction. Richard Casey comes on. Let's go, Champ! All right, well, Champ. Some horse, isn't he, Champ? Some talking horse. He's apparently one of the best workers they've got and all that sort of stuff.
Well, he wouldn't have been called Champ if he wasn't a brilliant worker.
Well, we know who he's aimed off.
Well, exactly, because they weren't saving that for something that showed
It
nothing
took him
at
a
all.
little while, didn't it?
100%. They were going to call it after
They must
AP
have-
with
yeah,
a,
exactly,
a
they must-
useless thing. But it's interesting. I wonder what Nicky's obviously trying to play a bit of trickery on Champ to keep him, interested.
He's had a fascinating career, Champ. I'm just
very
looking at his career.
fascinating. So I wonder what Nicky he said. Oh, we've been changed a few things. We've
He
talked
won
a
on
few
his
things. I
date.
wonder
So
what they've been doing.
your JP, your Nicky, your Frank Berry, AP. We'll save the name, right?
Yeah.
For AP McCoy. We found him. AP, we're going to go and win our bumper. Oh yeah, where are you going? Where do you think they want to win the?
I've just checked this, so I'm not going to tell you.
Where do you think they won the bumper?
I've got no internet, so I won't be able to tell you.
Southwell.
Oh, really?
Right, and he won there. He then got beaten the next twice, albeit by vindication at Ascot. And then they took him to Perth in May. And I sort of say that a bit disparagingly, but it's not the early career of a champ, is it?
Did you just try an Irish accent there?
Might have
He
done.
did. He
Yeah.
tried a McCoy accent. It was,
Did, didn't
Was I a bit high?
A bit Welsh, maybe.
A bit African?
Well, Rob Brydon instead of AP McCoy.
Used to be able to
Excellent
do
look,
Rob-
did an excellent lookalike.
I used to actually
isn't
do
it?
impressions. I bet I'll do them now. But I used
Did
to,
you?
Yeah, I did,
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa, here we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Oh, we've upset him now.
Did you? So as well as being an international rock percussionist, you were also an impressionist.
I used to do a lot of acting before
Theatre,
I came under your wing.
theatre.
You're a thesp, were you?
I was a
It's
bit of a
best.
thesp.
What was
yeah.
the most famous thing you were in?
Oh, gosh.
Puss in Boots at the Amersham Pavilion.
No, I played the lion in The Wizard of Oz at the Wickham Swan in front of 1,000 people.
No way.
Yep.
You make a good lion.
I mean, this show's gone well for me
God,
today that we're having this
real
chat.
up.
Yeah, I did.
Big
What else
coward
did
of
I
a
do?
tank
I'm
like
just
your
imagining
puppet
you as a
day.
lion in the
Thank you, Barry. Yeah, exactly. No, I thought I was going to be a loving. I fell out of love with the lovies.
And what was the biggest crowd you played in front of when you were the tambourinist for Basement Jacks?
Ooh, good 10,000, I think.
Is that
Did
made
you?
up?
No, that's
it's
true.
not.
What?
He
No,
was the
genuinely.
percussionist for Basement Jacks.
The percussionists?
Yeah. He used to play the tambourine and the cymbals.
Not just
and the
them, either.
triangle.
And the triangle.
Yeah.
Is it like, were you the Basement Jack's Bez? Is that what it was?
Yes,
The fifth Beatle.
Yeah, or the Paul Rutherford of Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Yeah,
Yeah, the guy that just does that. Trust
And
me.
then ding.
Yeah, you can find it out there. The lads in the studio went onto my Facebook and they found a video of me doing it. They desperately tried to get it on, but thankfully.
So what era of Basement Jacks was this?
This was early 2000s.
So when we're having
Red
hits?
Alert and all that sort of stuff.
so
Yeah.
you've played-
It's a long story
Is
as
it in
to
the
why I'm
studio
not
or
with
is it
them
just
anymore.
live?
I made the wrong decision. There's a sliding door of a Dave Orton that doesn't go to a gig elsewhere. On
Oh, look
the
at classical
Look
dream.
at, we just got the
Well,
pictures
here we
in front
go.
of
We
people
bring
at
it
home
back.
listening. Classical Dreams backed
Classical
into the rail,
Dream.
got his head down. Looks like he wants to bronk
He's
any
having a
minute
shocker.
now.
Barry, what's that
Almost
done
off.
to
They've
the
made up
market?
time.
Nothing.
They're off.
They're off and
Oh,
running.
Classical Dream
Okay,
wasn't-
Yeah,
right.
he was into.
Go on, Barry.
3.8. He was into 3.8. He's out to 4.3 now and drifting all the time. So
He
he
looks
was
like a
11 to 4.
lawnmower.
He's out to 130.
Is he?
Goodness me.
All right. I thought it might have been a bigger sprite. The one thing to say, Bruce Scarhill, is that Flooring Porter has got his own way up
He's
front.
pick his,
He has, as they go over the first. Flooring Porter is stretching on. He's already 4 lengths in front. This is very, very bold by Danny Mullins.
Well, he's
4 lengths in
got a lead,
front
hasn't he?
of Home by the Lee, who takes that in second. Slightly scrappy is Royal Kahala, and then on the outside, in those Ukraine colours, is Liz Nagar Oscar. The green and gold of Champ is in fifth. On the inside of that one, we have Paisley Park, who is not giving them 20 lengths or 30 lengths this time. Also going well on the outer is Tyne Hill. Then we've got Kashari. Then we've got Classical Dream, who's latched back onto them. And the other one is Song for Someone, who is being ridden patiently. Actually, sorry, it's Paisley Park who's out the back with Classical Dream, Song for Someone in mid-division. But a bold move by Flooring Porter. Do the punters like it, Barry?
Yeah, well, it's the way he won it last year. He's 3.5, so he's 5-2. Classical Dream 4.1. 8th Champ 9. Royal Kahala. She's just on a little slide out in running, considering she's 11 now. She had a Betfair SP of 6.4. But yeah, Flooring Porter getting that soft lead up front. I'm favourite in running.
Barry, isn't it weird? You've got Flooring Porter who's getting an easy lead up front is shortened. Classical Dream who's giving them a start is also shortened. There's more than one way to skin a cat, according to punters.
4.2 now, Classical Dream. Yeah, I don't think Classical Dream necessarily needs to lead. He just got a soft lead in Leopardstown that day when he anticipated the start.
Totally
Dave,
agree.
is this how you expected it to pan out?
Well,
early
I'll tell you
doors?
the other thing that's very interesting here. Look at Song for Someone. He's loving life. This could be very. I'll tell you what. Not just Barry, but Robbie Wilders will be insufferable if this comes
Robbie
off.
Wilders' stomach is
Flooring Porter jumping beautifully now, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Barry.
Sorry, Nat. You have the floor, Nat.
No, but because I was just going to reiterate, jumping beautifully and actually where I expected him to be, and I think that's the right place.
Are you getting excited then, Barry, that you might have a say in this race?
No, I was just going to say the Betfair SP is bang on 50. So yeah, we did all right there.
You
for
called
song
it.
for someone.
He often does.
Paisley looks happy. I'm just pleased that Classical Dream picked his head off the floor because it wasn't funny actually going into the first. I didn't think he was going to take
When
off.
he won the Supreme, he
Did the same, didn't he?
exactly the same
it's
thing. You've never
terrifying,
seen
but it's
anything
fine,
like it in a
fine
winner,
now.
but he can do it if you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, it's all terrible. The interesting thing to say is as well that Royal Kahala is not all of a sudden giving him much peace, and she's jumping well.
Yeah.
Champ's got a lovely
Listener
position,
Oscar's
Bruce.
been jumping well.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Listen,
really like
Oscar's
how
been doing
Flooring
really well,
Porter's
yeah.
going about his business. So he's jumping these like a lion. He's hungry
He is,
for
yeah.
success. They're heading out onto the final circuit. He's not quite as far ahead now. Danny Mullins just taking a little bit of a blow. He's a length and a half in front of Royal Kamala, who is on the inside of Liz Nagar-Oscar. And then we've got Home by the Lee, who's very nicely cruising along on the rails in fourth, Champs in fifth. On the inside, after that one, we've got Song for Someone, and we've got Tyne Hill. And then we've got Classical Dream and Paisley Park. And finally, the outside, it is Kashari. So presumably still Fav flooring, Barry?
Yeah, and just a little over 2-1 now. 3.154 for Classical Dream. 6-6 Champ. Royal Kahala 9-2. 10-5 Paisley Park, who's you know he's going to finish well.
Yeah.
That's for sure. If he's with them coming down that hill.
He caught my eye.
I think he looks really happy, Paisley Park.
He just is showing that. Obviously, they've tried blinkers in him this year and all that sort of stuff, haven't they? He just gets niggled, doesn't he? But yeah,
He does this, though.
We are in for a seriously exciting finish, I think.
Keith, if I give you 3-5 now, who are you going to put it on?
Flooring Porter.
Okay, fair enough.
What about Champ?
1 in front. 2-1 Flooring Porter.
2-1. 2-1.
Paisley's trying to be hustled up on the inside
Yeah.
to try and make a move, and he's gone around the shortest route. So let's take you to the orders. I think they've got 3 or 4 to jump.
They have.
It is Flooring Porter by 2.5 lengths from Royal Kahala, who's sticking to second. On the outside is Liz Nagar-Oscar. On the inside is Home by the Lee. Champ's going really nicely in fifth. Let's not forget him. And Classical Dream has crept onto the heels of the front 5 now as well.
Here comes
Paisley
Paisley's.
coming under
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, Song for Someone a little
is still
bit.
going okay on the outer. Tyne Hill's going okay. Nothing can't win at
Look
this
at
stage.
Tyne Hill's
Champ's
going really
pulling
well.
along.
Nothing can't win at
Yeah.
this stage.
Well,
I'll
Danny's
tell you.
Mullins is taking a pull.
Time
there,
Hill
Danny
out to
Mullins, isn't he?
16.
Is
I don't know why.
That's a big
Yeah,
prize.
exactly. No,
I
you
don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm
Song for
Song
Someone
on
circling
the
them. I tell you,
outside,
I'll tell
aye,
you
aye.
what.
everything's
Nico's
still
loving
there.
this. I tell you, if he stays, he's a massive factor.
He's got
in
the
this
talent.
race. He really
He's got
is.
the talent.
Well, lads.
I
Champ.
think Home by the Lee is
Champ
probably
is
the first one to
cruising.
come
Champ's
under
cruising.
serious problems. But the Flooring Porter, the defending champion, is
Come on,
still
the mare.
going nicely. Still going well in second, Royal
Go
Kahala.
on, the
Song
mare.
for Someone on the outside's flying. Classical Dream's getting into it. Champ's getting into it.
Paisley
The others
getting
have got a bit
reminders.
to do.
Oh, she's good jump
Even
there, Carla.
Really
Front.
jump now. Flooring
Look at
Porter.
Classical.
Flooring Porter has controlled
Song
this.
for Someone's
from the start,
gone.
and as
Champ.
they
It's a
turn
big.
in-
It's a big 3.
They
Yeah.
turn in with 1 to go.
It is the big 3.
It is Flooring Porter, Royal Kahala, Tyne
Kashari's
Hill,
finishing.
Champ,
Come on, girl.
and Classical Dream.
Look
They're
at
the
Classical
ones you
Dream.
think will fight it out. Flooring Porter still
Come on,
holds
the
sway
mare.
as it
She's
comes
tough,
down to
the
the
mare.
mare. Danny Mullins still hasn't really moved, but Nor coming there really
Oh,
nicely.
have a
It's Classical
look.
Dream and Paul Townsend.
I think the winner's in
really,
front.
really going well
So do
here.
I.
Still Flooring Porter. This is a textbook ride. He's
Champ's
just got
gone.
to see it out. He's got a length as they come, that long run to the last. The
big 2 now.
Flooring
There's the big
Porter
2.
by a length from Classical
Paisley Park
Dream.
finishes.
Champ has backed out of it. Tyne Hill.
Oh, he's gonna jump, he's gonna jump.
But he's
Brilliant
still
jump.
Flooring Porter.
Superb
He's
jump.
just jinked as he jumps the last. Has that
Yes.
let Tyne Hill and Flooring and
Back to
Oh, he
back.
won. No,
Paisley running
no.
on late, but no, it's the defending champ. Flooring
Yeah.
Porter is going to back it up.
Great to
He's
see.
going to win again.
Paisley
It's gonna be
second.
so close for
Oh.
second. I think it's just about Paisley Park. What a warrior he is. Tyne Hill's in third. I mean, wow, well, that was a good
Wow.
race, but what a brilliant ride by Danny Mullins. Took it up at the start and said, I will have what I hold, and he kept it all the way to the line. There are people in Flooring Porter colours absolutely going mad. I think some of these might be on the floor later on by the look of it. Good race.
And well done, Tom Segal, who a long way out put this up as his
Well done.
anti-post pick. And people were coming up to me yesterday and saying, you know, I backed Long Press at 14s because of Tom. What price did you get if you were on Tom's pick here? We've had 2 races now with back-to-back winners. You'd love to see it, Bruce.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I think I might have miscalled that. Sorry, folks. I think Tyne Hill might
Might
just
have
have
been-
held on for
yeah,
second, but it was
very
very,
close.
very
Tight.
close
Very close.
between
It was tight.
those two old rivals who have both run really well, haven't they?
That was, but Florian Porter, it was just perfect.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Jumped well, was on the bridle, took up a,
He couldn't
gave him
have
a
jumped any
breather,
better,
went
could he?
again.
Jumped superbly.
Perfect.
Jumped superbly.
Perfect.
Danny Mullins has managed.
You
He's
forget he was on the
right.
deck first time out this year as well. Let's go to Barry then, because Barry, the challenge has mounted. Did the exchange ever, sort of expect something to
Yeah.
go?
No, they mounted for sure, Dave, but he was always favoured in running. Great ride by Danny Mullins. Traded a low of evens for 598 quid. Champ also traded. Tramp only traded a low of 3.5, would you believe? 5-2. That was the shortest he got. Royal Kahala hit a low of 5.9 in running. Tyne Hill hit a low of 5.4. And the other one that came with a bit of a rattle, Paisley Park, 5.2. So the only other real short one was Classical Dream, trade at evens in running. But the winner's got a masterful ride of Danny Mullins there, I think it has to be said. Betfair SP of 5.40, so just 9-2. But was returned second favourite on the Betfair Exchange. Classical Dream went off favourite.
There you go, because of course you interviewed Gav, didn't you?
Yeah, he's shrewd, isn't he? He's a shrewd, very unassuming guy, and he's done a great job there. And he was very confident about Florian Porter when we spoke to him 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'd have that as ride of the week so far.
Yeah.
That's how I like my horses to be ridden. Get out the front, no messing. I'll boss it. I'll dictate the pace. As they went out on the second circuit, he just held it up. He got the breather. The horse was in a lovely rhythm.
You've got to
He
jump
jumped
when you're doing that. I mean, he
beautifully.
did that
Great.
beautifully. Looked like a lion at one point.
It was just executed brilliantly, yet allowed the horse to breathe at the right time, then kept him interested. Then it was just,
and
that was
that can
perfect.
lull in the closers, can't it? It makes you think that you're there, and then on they
They've
go
got to
again.
worry about him, haven't they?
Yes.
You know?
This is why I love watching horses like Yala Enki and Frodon, and when they're in their pomp,
Yeah, I agree.
they come and you just know that they're going to look at that hill and go.
I think a lot of this, though, I think Danny Mullins has mugged them off. I genuinely do.
What, you think this is a heaven help us?
They've let him do what he wanted.
Yeah, but not in such a way that you would say it was a false result. I mean, you wouldn't say the best horse hasn't run, but it's certainly
No.
the best rider's one, hasn't it?
If that race gets run again, I'm not necessarily going to be piling into Florian Porter again because he possibly has the best horse. He got easily the best ride.
Well, he did this last
Miles
year.
the
The
best
reason why I
ride.
remember this is because it was G-Rod's only winner of the week, I think. And he didn't have the best festival. This was the one where he went mental. And we talked about his jumping through there. If you remember that he was on the deck on his first run.
Yeah.
This is, it's just a horse that comes alive at Cheltenham, which we see every year. don't we?
We talked about, look at the guy getting interviewed.
They're interviewing a member of the Florian Porter
Do you think
winning
they support
syndicate.
Newcastle?
And I tell you what, no, he looks like he's. I wouldn't like to be his hangover in the morning. He looks like he's on a mission. I mean. But it's great, isn't it? Because these are people who've tasted success last year and they've come back and done it again. They're not used to the limelight, but what a horse
And
they've
just
got.
how hard is that to do
It was a
there,
great race,
guys?
though, wasn't
Like
it? We said
80
we were in
gets
for an
Cheltenham.
exciting finish, and Paisley Park's on a blinder. Time Hill, about as good as he is, probably. He's performed
Probably.
more.
I mean,
Carla
the-
was there until she didn't stay.
Because Mullins got to dictate to an extent, Time Hill got the sort of race he needed, and he's run as well as he probably can.
He went big in running, and I was surprised about that. I'm glad that he's run well.
We talked earlier at the top of the show, didn't we, about how I would find a better ride than Derek Fox's. On
And
Friday.
I knew you were going to be insufferable with
I
that
have.
when Bruce said that.
And I have.
Yeah,
That
you
was
have
brilliant.
done.
That was my fault, I said that.
Oh, Deza, I'm still with you a little bit, I think. Listen, if you're liking the show, and thanks for watching this week, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you. The numbers have gone absolutely off the charts. We're 57 subscribers away from 41,000, apparently, on our YouTube. It'd be great to hit that milestone during this show with you. Thanks for watching. Keep your interaction coming in. Of course, we've got one more race left today. We are back with you tomorrow for Gold Cup action. And we've got a social. Says Mullins got to be in the best front-running rider in racing. What, Danny Mullins? Well, I suppose if you're watching Florian Porter every year, you probably think...
He has in the last 20 minutes. There's no question.
He's on Tornado Flyer, isn't he, tomorrow?
I think he's
Probably kept the ride, isn't he? King George.
It just depends. It's different jockeys, different horses. Like David Bass is a great, enthusiastic up front rider.
He wouldn't have done that, though, would he, Bass?
No, he wouldn't.
He would not have done that at all.
That was just perfect.
Yeah.
A brilliant ride.
You can't compare. So Keith, looking at the replay now, so at what point? So who else do you think then
Well,
should
this-
have?
Well, in terms of what to do and pressure him, I mean,
Yeah,
the die's cast at this point.
We're
though.
watching 3 out there, aren't we?
The die's cast here because he's already got to. Your only option to take him on here is to kick for home now, takes loads of balls.
Yeah.
Whereas the time to make the move on him is a lot earlier than this.
Did you
So
think he was going to get
Townend
caught by
probably
Classical Dream? I thought that.
I thought at one point, yeah, but Townend never really had the choice after the start he got.
Cruising. Did he do too much early?
Yeah, but the Classical Dream didn't get the start, though.
Exactly.
It didn't work out from the
So
start.
it's not Paul Townend's fault that he couldn't challenge Mullins earlier.
Couldn't get there.
Paul Townend's die was cast from the moment the tapes went up.
100%.
There's others.
Before he even got to the tape.
Tell you what, Kashari's run really well. He's running on when the others are crying.
But that's
out,
because
isn't
they've gone so slowly all the way through. Mullins dictated to the point where the rags are still there.
Yeah.
That's what's happened.
Yeah.
It was a great jump at the last.
You'd have to give props to Paisley, wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah.
He's done well, and
he's come from way off.
at this
Look at the first beating, didn't he?
I mean, Coleman must be absolutely knackered because he's been scrubbing away for absolutely ages. But the winning margin's 3 lengths. There's no. I'm not. That race would have to be run very, very weirdly for Florian Porter not to come out on top.
Will he come back and win it for a third year? He's a freak of a horse, isn't he? Because he was winning handicaps of 99, wasn't he?
He was.
He's not like your sexy sort of grade one.
It all depends on what they do with the hoist and yaw.
You're spent on that, aren't you?
Well, he can't jump fences, but he's got a massive engine.
He can jump fences.
I agree with you, Nat. Yeah.
He's a work in progress, Keith. They're not all born
And again,
slick.
it's one of those sort of things, isn't it? It's like you want horses to go back, but you probably know they won't.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, last year he won the race, and he was a perfectly up to scratch winner of this last year. He's probably an above average winner of it this year. The way things have panned out, you've maybe put a little asterisk beside this rating because he got, it's the sort of conditions in which this horse will run the best figure he possibly can.
Yeah.
And he has done. Maybe not because you've got to think of who's close enough to him. Paisley Park, he can only be £3 ahead of Time Hill and Paisley Park because of the way things have panned out. But he's just the best right there, and he's probably just about the best horse. And the thing is, last at Leopardstown, you had a bit of a Horlicks at the start that Classical Dream got the better of, and he beat Floating Porter. At Cheltenham, you've had a bit of a Horlicks at the start from Classical Dream's perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's benefited Floating Porter, and he's beat Classical Dream. So that's what we're looking at, really. We've got two well-matched horses here, and it basically comes down to
the start.
Who's less of a monkey at the
start.
Yeah.
It comes down to the start.
Yeah, he's got a bit in the tank left, doesn't he? Says Sam Kane here. I'm watching out there. One of Sam's one of our regulars as well. Good to have you on, Sam. Just like to thank the bookies for giving me their money there, says Sam. Happy days. Probably with Tom Segala on the way. Right, we've got one more to go. It's great. This is great. Let's watch him come in because we get to see, obviously, our monitors.
We talk about the domination and how much the horses are, how much the best talents in the fewest hands these days. It's all McManus, it's all Ritchie, it's all Gigginstown. Whereas here we go, we've got these lads here who I wouldn't know from Adam, quite frankly, and they're coming out and having the time of their lives.
It's a bit surprised he's not got a bigger string, isn't it? I suppose.
Cromwell, new weight.
So competitive.
Well, I think
he will. I think he will.
Well, that's what I've been waiting since his champion hurdle win.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the giants in Ireland. It's so difficult.
He's a former blacksmith, Barry, isn't he? Okay, Cromwell. Is that right?
Yeah, he certainly is. Yeah, but he's obviously in where he trains. There's a lot of competition within a couple of miles of him. You've Gordon Elliott down the road. You've Noel Meade up the road as well. So, I think he's not lacking horses. It's just he went a little bit quiet before Cheltenham there, but the horses are back on song now.
At least he'll have good feet.
He's a blacksmith.
At least he'll have good
trade,
feet.
yeah, he used to do Gordon Elliott's.
And they were like, this guy's, you've got to start training, Gav. That's basically, I think, how it happened.
Why do you look at him as if he had 5 heads?
Well, you said feet or something.
He's a blacksmith.
Yeah, that's
At least he'll have good feet.
I don't want to be pedantic here, but do you mean a farrier?
Yeah, farrier.
There's a difference between a blacksmith and a farrier.
Is there?
Yeah, a blacksmith makes
The
raw
iron.
iron railings
Oh, right,
and things like that.
But
It's a farrier that
an
does that.
equine blacksmith is what I mean. Yeah, okay.
So at least horses have
farrier.
good feet.
I tell you what, I got it doubly then. I was been waiting for it all show. I got the 5 heads and I got the, come on, Orton.
He's not being pedantic, but he is.
Well, it's not pedantic, it's just correct.
I wouldn't be pedantic. I'll tell you what, I can be pedantic as I like tomorrow because unfortunately Bruce isn't with us
Oh,
anymore.
I'm going to get it tomorrow.
You're back with us though, aren't you, Nat? And you're with us, Keith, as well.
I'm just glad to be
It's
here.
Gold Cup
tomorrow.
Day.
Oh,
I
it's the
know that we
greatest
tease
race.
you about the Ida Chase every year. We get in because you love that race. But is this the best year's race?
We have our
Best
fun.
days?
We have our fun with the Ida, and when I'm feeling a bit hipster, I sometimes say it's the Ladbrokes Trophy. But the greatest race that there is, bar none, and by clear water, is the Gold Cup.
Okay, don't tell us who win it because we want to know tomorrow. Let's get a social on as well. And Barry Morning comes on and goes, Graham Paradis is going to win and good odds. Shall we move on to the plate? Of course, this is hang on to your hats time. This is always a hugely exciting race to watch. Who's going to come out on top, Barry Orr?
Yeah, there's 6 non-runners here. It's worth flagging. But you've 2 vying for favouritism at the top of the market there. You Celeb Dalan, who's 5.6, the Glancing Queen. Imperial Alcazar has been well supported into 6. 8 Grand Paradis for Davy Russell. and Gordon Elliott, Admiral 8.6, and it's 19 bar. I'm just going to do a very simple bet here, please. Bruce. I thought Chinwag could run well. Tom Skew in the plate for it's the last leg of our multiple as well for Neil Mulholland. He's a horse that I've just been keeping an eye on. He's done nothing wrong over fences. He's never had the first 3 and 4 chases. Low grade races, it has to be said. He's only 7. He goes on the ground and he squeezes in here on 10 stone 3. So I think he'll either win or he'll be nowhere. His jumping mightn't hold up. And if it doesn't, that's why I'm just backing him in the win-only market, please, Bruce. We're just going to have 25 quid win on him. And he should be a big old price. The last time I looked, he was trading around the 50 mark.
55,
he might even be
Barry.
bigger. 55. Yeah, we'll just have 25 quid on him at 55. Hope to go out with a bang.
Lovely stuff.
All right, then.
Shall we skim through the non-runners, David?
Yes, please do, Bruce.
Simply the Bets, Pistol Whipped, Fusel Raffles, Cavalry Master, Present and Counting, and there won't be a penny for the Guy because Guy is a non-runner. I did that joke, didn't I, this morning? And
How did that go down?
You were just about old enough to get it, but all the young kids were like...
What, penny? Everyone knows
I
penny
had
for
to-
the
no,
Guy, don't
I had
they?
to explain. Do you know what penny for the Guy is?
No.
How old are you?
I don't really know a lot of things.
That's older than me.
actually. 36, but honestly, my general knowledge
You're
is
too young for penny for the Guy.
so bad. I just don't know a lot of stuff.
I was
about-
telling you, Bruce, it never really happened in my childhood either, but it was,
Penny for the
it was
Guy.
recent enough to be still a thing.
That's
you
what I used to
reckon?
say. Like, give me a, I'm poor,
Fireworks
basically.
night. You'd make a guy out of your mum's
Yeah.
tights and draw a face on it and stuff it with newspaper.
Well, I used to make the
Put
guy.
clothes on, and then you stand outside and say penny for the Guy, and passers-by would give you money and you'd buy fireworks with it.
There you go. That's the history of. But he's not running
Do
it.
you know what I think the problem is? I live in rural Cheshire. There's no dairy
Do you not have
farms.
fireworks?
No passing trade.
Possibly, I suppose, yeah.
No passing trade, I'm
No
afraid.
footfall.
No football, yeah.
Trick or treat was a nightmare.
Get in the car.
Yeah.
Can we go round in the car? Trick or treat.
Most of the non-runners we knew about early, didn't we? But it's a shame that Simply Bets didn't run because he won this race, of course, and he was trained by formerly. But it's been that sort of week for Paul thus far. He's got Bob and Co to come though, of course, isn't he? In the Fox Hunter, strongly fancied, and Hendo's couple came out as well. So I'm going to go to Keith first on this, if you don't mind, because you're on a right old gamble here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm the cat that got the cream on this race.
You really are.
I backed Adramel on Tuesday when the decks came out and took a punt on the ground then because I'm not a very ground-based punter. And this horse's form's all in the muds, but I'll always take a chance on a horse not needing these conditions. Now, this horse has run 3 times more fences. He won in Leamington last year, Grade 2 at Warwick, decent race. And in that race, he thought, even if you'd said then, this horse ends up in a handicap of 140, you'd say, oh, what does he win by? Because he's a really talented animal. He's taken so well at fence. He's a really slick jumper. And in his last 2 runs at Haydock, he's won in quite deep ground there. But both times it's been really good times. The first time in December, there was another 2-mile handicap chase on the same card. And he was 5 seconds faster overall and still only a second slower from 3 out. So he's battered some good handicappers on the clock in that meeting. And then next time against Shaman de Burley, look, 3 run in a race and he looks to have fallen in. But Shaman de Burley has been improved every start for Kerry Lee. And the horse that got beat miles out of sight in 3rd came out and won at the weekend at Hereford there. So the form's actually not that bad at all. He's only gone up £1 for it. Tom Lacey's having a good week. He's only had 2 runners. He's had Fortune and Glory and Fortune, finished 5th in the champion hurdle.
Everything he's running at the
And
moment
T
is
Clipper.
going well on.
Yeah, and his handicap record's brilliant. He's a really good place.
Called
on his
us all
horses.
confused snowflakes, of course, didn't he? In the middle of the season, all his horses full.
You've got to judge the man, not the art. I think a lot of these.
And yeah, well, quite. And we've had Tom in the studio before, actually. He's a good talker and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, he did call us journalists confused snowflakes. And the horses dropped off the cliff, but they have come back rattling. Stan Shepherd on board as well, who's also having probably the season of his life.
Yeah, so everything's sort of right for this horse. And when I was at the market on Tuesday, all the novices, your Celebrities Island's not a novice, but he's 6 runs over fences, so he's unexposed. Glancing Queen's a novice, Imperial Alcazar's a novice, Grand Parade's a novice, Stone Silver's a novice, and all these horses that were just, they were all at the top of the betting as they should have been, really. But there was a couple that had just been totally disregarded. One of them was Chinwag. Barry's put in Trixie, hasn't he? And I thought he would be given a little bit more of a chance in his price later on. But Adramel stood out a mile to me.
I'm on a gamble as well, the Glancing Queen, who has that dipper form, of course, with long press. And I thought, again, we covered that on the show. I said to you yesterday, didn't I, Bruce? The dipper stands up every single season. And I thought she was going to go off clear fav. Tom Segal, I chatted to him on our preview that we did here a couple of weeks ago. We agreed. The money has come for her and Adramel as well. Do we any love for the Glancing Queen apart from me?
She won well, won't she?
She can win, yeah. I mean, she's up there. I was looking back, the last 4 winners, none has been bigger than 5-1. And that snapped a sequence of some quite big shocks. So, yeah, I mean, of the ones up the front, she's kind of solid option territory, isn't she?
I thought she'd maybe give Long Press a race in the Dipper.
Yes, so did I.
And obviously she didn't, but that's because Long Press is an absolute machine.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct. And she's been to the festival a couple of times. She won 2 champion bumpers, didn't she? She's a classy animal. The last 3 winners of this race have all had 1 next to their name coming in. So you're right. That's why they are well found in the market recently. Apart from that, it used to be a really tough race. It was when the Storyteller gambled a huge gamble.
Did a bit of a gamble.
He broke the back of
was it Darner, the Kim Bailey horse that had a wind
Darner
up?
at 33, Tom Segal again.
That was the first time I remember published wind ups becoming a thing. Because it turned out that horse had a wind up.
Everyone knew.
Kim Bailey said in the thing afterwards, and then Twitter went mental. It was like, what are you talking about? A wind up?
But some very good horses have won at big prices, like Road to Respect, Empire of Dirt.
One of them was a novice one that won it as well.
Was it Road to Respect?
Possibly was, yeah.
I think it was. For Noel Mead, of course, going back. Bruce, what do you like in this?
We're going back to shocks here. Mickey Hammond.
My lord, yes.
We're gonna go with Schahalian Munro. Yes. We
Sod's
are.
Law
I
comes
was
into
fairly
this.
certain my thunder wasn't going to get stolen with that one.
Well, funnily enough,
Getting 3 blank looks.
there's an egg.
No, I know the horse very well.
Yes, so do I. He just loves Weatherby, doesn't he?
Loves Weatherby, which, and has never been south of the Watford Gap, which you make of that what you will. I'm not too fussed. Hopefully he's not travel sick. He's just a good old stick who handles soft very well, generally jumps very well, very hungry game winner of his last 2 at Weatherby.
Likeable horse.
Really likeable horse, not too far off the ratings. I think at the price, I think because he's Mickey Hammond and, not a better known trainer.
What are you trying to say there, Bruce?
I'm saying he's one of if he was trained by...
Oh!
That's what I'm saying. And so this is a race where I'm quite happy to stick a small bet on at a big price. Schahalian Munro. Back him now, thank me in half an hour.
There is some egg on face for me with this potentially. And when I saw your email with selections on this morning, I had to phone someone. It's a landlord at my local pub. He phoned me up last week and he goes, I've got a tip. For the plate, is it? And I went, all right. And you know what I'm going to say. And I went, who is it? And he went, Schahalian Munro. I went, is that running? And he goes, I know the owner. He's been in. He's had a meal. And he said, please back my horse. We're going there in top form.
Really?
And so I had to phone him this morning and go, you know what I said?
Yeah.
Someone's tipping on my show, you better back it. So there was a bit of love grown for Schahalian.
It's formed all in sort of small fields around Weatherby, but it's actually still progressive, this horse. And of all, a sort of 40-1 to run into the frame type thing, I wouldn't be amazed.
Stack of extra places.
Yeah, exactly. Get first 6, first 7.
That sort of race for me, Keith. I'd much rather just have a small bet at a big price, and if he gets beat, I haven't done any.
The screen I'm looking at, it's the same price as Slate House, and yes, Slate House got loads of ability, but I've been watching that. It doesn't like racing anymore.
No.
So
Nat,
scale
you've got
of
your
you'd
internet
far back that.
What wins the plate?
I'm very much in Bruce's camp. I'd be having a few each ways. I mean, with the non-runners, it's got a few big ones for me. Like I looked at Cool Cody and then I took myself out of it with age and weight and Evan Williams' form. But then I thought it was the RP winner, Cool Cody. Cheltenham's got plenty of Cheltenham form, dipped the last 2 runs. You can see him bouncing back to hit the frame. Cool Cody's not an impossibility. I was looking at Stolen Silver. Sam Thomas is in relatively good form.
Yes,
I wouldn't put anyone off this. Solid second here in November. Okay, not as good as 2 mile 4 last time, but wouldn't put anyone off Stolen Silver. And really boringly, I'm probably going on a negative with the stats if you're saying about the prices for previous winners, but Imperial Alcazar, I really like Imperial Alcazar. It would be
Literally
terrific.
good that day, didn't
Fergus got a second, of course. It'd be great to get a win, but God, he was good course and distance last time. Surely comes into this with real strong credentials.
Oh yeah, he's got a massive.
Lovely
great
horse
claims.
as well. I really like this horse. So Imperial Alcazar have to, but I'd be more inclined to play some big each ways, Dave.
Yeah, definitely hovered over him for the first, for the headline tip, and he's finally coming good, isn't he?
Got a trends thing here for this race. Our new data journalist, Ian Burbeck, he's got his own database and he's mapped all these Cheltenham races to all the pattern races in Britain and Ireland. This race, the November Gold Cup, the Cheltenham, the Racing Post Gold Cup, all those 2.5 mile, 2 mile 5 races, they're actually a really good trial for this race if you want a horse to place.
I bet you and him get on really well, don't you? You were sitting next to each other in the
Cool
office.
Cody
Of
then
course you
would
were.
fit into
Cool
that.
Cody has got, he's definitely going in your play spot.
Yeah, okay.
If you've done a play spot this morning. Win purposes, it's actually not a great trial because the novices tend to improve. One comes in, it's a novice that's too good for them and too far ahead. Those races, those handicaps, though, are brilliant Ryanair trials.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course
phenomenal
they used to be, didn't they? Absolutely. Horses that won at a Paddy Power in November would go on and run.
I remember Imperial
in this
Commander
race.
doing it.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. I still can't believe that's Paddy Brennan's last winner. Gosh,
That is incredible, isn't it?
Well, this would be big because, of course, he was fab for the Pertemps last year, wasn't he? I think. And
He's up there, he's certainly up in the market, wasn't he? Yes, DJ loved him for that.
But he did look good last time. It was just the time in between that. I'm not sure what happened there. But
Because they thought he was a 3 miler, didn't they? At that point, he probably isn't a 3 miler. He's probably just a galloping 2.5 miler.
We've given him a top Racing Post rating for that win of 160, and here he is on 152. You've got to be very good to win a handicap off 152.
You do, and that's why Matt Gardner, your friend of mine, is rated. He knows, because when he's rated this race, it's a novice handicap chase. He's rated it knowing that race has got a really strong history, and he's gone, right, I want to rate this race high enough that when this horse gets reassessed, because he's going to get smacked about £8 for this.
Yeah.
I want, once he's reassessed, to still have a chance on the figures.
It's the Spotlight Nap as well.
Is it really?
Out there today.
Very solid favourite, Barry, haven't we? And a sort of slightly unlikely profile, and he's this progressive 10-year-old.
4.9 at the moment. Glancing Queen 5.8, Imperial Alcazar 5.7, 8.6 Grand Paradisa 9.4 Admiral, and it's almost to the exclusion of everything else. Just to update our charity bet, our Trixie that we did, our £10 each way Trixie. We want Chinwag to finish in the first 6 here for £1,080. So
nice.
Cool.
we could do with that for the best part of 1,100 quid if Chinwag finishes placed here for us.
If there was ever a topical winner, it's going to be that, isn't it, with this panel in mind?
What do you make of the Fav, Keith?
It's Dallin.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I mean, the way he finished at Warwick, he had no right to win from there. The speed that went through that race, and yet he did. However, can you do that in sort of soft side ground at Cheltenham over that new course? I'm not so sure. It's going to be hard.
Lots of our writers have been banging his drum since then, and I watched it back a couple of times and it's hard not to buy into the hype. 10-year-olds have got an absolutely abysmal record in this race.
Well, how many 10-year-olds in this race had run 6 times?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what I was going to counter it with. I bet you never have they run like this. I'm looking down.
When he won at Haydock, when he won at Warwick, I was against him, partly because he was really short and he'd been winning over hurdles, but partly because when he won at Haydock the time before, it had just been in the utter slop, and he'd handled it better than the rest. Whereas yesterday it looked like we were going to get ground like that again.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't. We're not going to get that sort of ground. It's relatively holding ground. It's not that slow. So maybe that's not as much in his favour as we thought.
41 10-year-olds have tried to win this race in the last 10 years. 6 only have placed, 0 winners. And Bruce, if Shahanan Munro wins, will the commander be going under the table?
Probably will, yeah.
Why not?
That is a brilliant
Why not?
social.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
think
How are we
I
all
will.
feeling? All still got a bit of energy about us?
Yeah, good. We've got a non-runner, another non-runner. Fancy Foundations doesn't run, and that has ramifications for the play spot.
Yes.
Because believe it or not, we've only got 15 runners now. So if
Unbelievable.
you've done your play spot, you only have 3 in
You'd be
it.
cursing Paul Nicholls for taking his ball home, wouldn't you? But just keep them in.
That's
dear.
I want
annoying.
16 runners.
Yeah, well, we have seen that quite a bit this week, haven't we? And look, the heavens opened. It is what it is, and that tacky ground is not for everyone. Now we've seen it, sunshine baking. What are we expecting the ground to be tomorrow for the Gold Cup?
Soft side of good, isn't it?
It's hard to do. I would imagine
There's no rain in the forecast.
tacky
Absolutely
again,
none
isn't it? We just,
whatsoever.
you want. It's that horrible moment where punters can't stand this when you hear a trainer say, "We want a shower." We want a shower to make it easier for them to go through. You know?
Well, I bet if he starts putting a shower on with the hose pipes, they soon say they don't want it.
Yeah,
Well, hell will
I
break
didn't want to
loose.
say watering, but maybe
Is
a
it
bit would help
really
them go
that
through
sunny
it.
still though? Is it
No,
just
it's
quite
not.
cloudy?
It's
Yeah.
nice. It's a nice day. It's
Not
not
just good to soft jumping ground
baking down,
tomorrow.
is it?
I think it'll be good to soft.
Just good to soft jumping ground tomorrow.
Soft side
I'd
good.
Oh,
say.
look at this.
Good
This is
stuff.
great, isn't it? And this is the subscribers coming up. Lomza Unfiltered, whatever that is, you've just gone up in our estimation. This is by far the best live show to watch. Telly is awful.
We love that.
Happy days. Well,
We love
look,
that.
we've got a loyal fan base, and then Cheltenham Week, Aintree, Ascot, it all goes crazy. We absolutely love it. It's why we do it. We're here putting our, mouth where our money is, money where your mouth is, all that sort of thing. Why was that
Do you
funny?
say mouth where our money is?
No, it's been that sort of day.
I
Look, I'm
do
on day
love
3,
you.
Nat.
You know I think you're a legend. I
Got
couldn't
the gold
keep-
cup to come, mate. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. A legend that used to play the spoons for Basement Jacks.
Ding.
What tracks
I
has
can-
Spoons done?
The triangle.
No, I played every sort of percussion, mainly congas and bongos, but
I've had a look at the personnel on Rooty, and you don't turn up.
no, I don't. I am there, though. Trust me, I am there. I'll show you later.
So you're actually in
I'll
the
show you
studio
later.
stuff, are you?
There's a video of me with them.
Are you in so you're not just a live performer, you were in the studio
I
with
was
them?
mainly a live performer. I did do studio work for them and a band called 07. I had to reach for that.
07, yeah.
We've had this conversation.
No, you didn't tell me you were in 07.
Yeah, I used to go down to Somerset with them. They're
I didn't,
Minehead, they
didn't
are.
see her do a track with them.
Yes, she was the singer when I was with them.
No way.
Yeah, she
Did
didn't
you ever
have
see her
a- she
face?
didn't-
She didn't have
What's
the
actually-
bonnet
what's
over.
actually-
Didn't have
look
a-
then.
she didn't actually have the mask on. She was.
You've seen her?
Yeah, I used to be in studio sessions with
Dave,
her. Yeah.
percussion aside, I just want to see you as a lion. Is there any
Oh,
video
yeah.
evidence
That'd be
of you
even
as
better,
a
yeah.
lion?
Played Fagan. The one I didn't do was Topple in Fiddler on the Roof. I'd love to play
I can
him.
see you as Fagin, yeah. I
Yeah.
can see
Maybe
that.
I'll go back to the West
To be
End
fair,
one day.
Softball and figure
I'd
on
like
Fiddler
to
of the
be
Day.
in what's the?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
I could potentially do that, couldn't I? Child
Child
catcher.
catcher.
All free today.
It's been a long day, and the innuendos are potentially
Blimey.
there. So yeah, look, we love it. The panel love it. Great love for everyone on the panel as well. A couple of legends. We've got Brendan Duke. We've got a big week. Rob Way's coming back for the Saturday to tell us. I mean, he's down there at the moment at the track. Old G-Rod, he's with his dad and he'll be having a great time down there. Again, we know that you take us to the track, you take your phones and you listen to us and all that sort of stuff because there's a bit of sense being talked occasionally in this panel, isn't it? And
Dave, when we got after we go off air after this race, 2 more races to go. Have you got anything? Like these last 3 races on Thursday, okay? You know when you talk about the Masters and you talk about Amen Corner or you talk about the Bear Pit or the Snake Pit, these 3 races are the Amen Corner of Cheltenham. They're so difficult, aren't
yeah,
they?
you've
these
often
3?
said that and you're absolutely
really
right.
tough. And
Get through this.
I wouldn't blame anyone for sitting these 3 out or just having very small bets.
Should we try and
I
help
wish
them then?
Cheltenham had a 13th at Augusta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try and help them because Barry, let's bring you in it. There have been some right old gambles in the last 2 races. Obviously, a Brandy Love out of the mare's Novice coming up, but Dino Blue, for you know who, looks like she's a right old warm order.
Yeah, Dino Blue to get another win for JP McManus. 2-1 favourite now. She was very impressive when she won her maiden in Clonmel on heavy ground, so the ground won't inconvenience her. And particularly strong vibes coming from the stable about her. And then in the Kim Muir, right place, right time for the connections of a horse that we backed earlier. Your man Burns, what's his first name? I forget his first name. And Emmett Mullins.
Oh, yes. Paul Byrne.
Paul Burns, sorry, excuse me. And
yeah.
Emmett Mullins, a few quid knocking around for that as well.
That's a
But
massive betting
Schoolboy
race,
Hour
that,
is
Barry, isn't it?
another
It's a
very
real
competitive
fierce
race,
betting race, yeah. I can see
Cat
gambles
Tiger
all over the place.
would have a chance there at
It would be
30.
lovely to see Maxi win, wouldn't it, on the biggest of stages?
Barry just said exactly, yeah, spot on. Cat Tiger, surely got to throw Cat Tiger
He'll
in.
be
And
dead
this
nervous
Dino
tonight,
Blue,
Dave
though,
Maxwell,
David.
because it's a career ambition to win
It is.
the
'Cause his
Hunter.
daughter's
Well,
always
he might
take
have
the
a
mick
better
out of
chance
him.
tomorrow in the Fox Hunters.
Yeah.
His
Nichols is
children
sweet
are-
on it, Barry, isn't he?
His children
Yeah, he
always
seems
take the
quite
mick out of
sweet.
him.
And
They do. Daddy, why'd you fall off? Daddy, why'd you... They take the mick out of him and being made... He's such a legend, Dave
Yeah.
Maxwell. He's great for the game as
We
well.
tried to get
Great
him
for
on
the
a show
sport.
and he politely declined. He said, I'm no good at talking. But every time I see him
He's
interviewed, I'm like,
fantastic.
brilliant.
Yeah,
He
You need
thought that he got a
sweet
bit
talk.
Dave,
nervous.
let's try again. Because
Yeah.
he'd
So I'll tell you the 2 people that are on my
he'd
hit
be
list who've
amazing.
told me that they're too nervous to do it. David Maxwell. Can you think of the other one? She is a Cheltenham Festival winning rider. Bridget Andrews.
Okay.
Hates talking to the camera.
Does she?
Yeah, she is great.
Cannot stand it. And she's such a good girl. I really want to get her on. And I want to get in, inside her brain. Mr. Coffee, I fancy in the Kim Muir. Barry, any money for that?
Mr. Coffey, he is generally disappointing, isn't he? He's 9.8 at the moment for Sam Whaley-Cohn. I haven't said that, it's 8 to field, and there has been plenty of money for it. He was a high. He's matched at a high of 19, but don't forget there's several reduction factors there. Quite literally 7 reduction factors in that race.
It'd be a hell of a ride for Sam Whaley-Cohen to...
One of the most amazing things I've ever seen in the betting ring at Cheltenham was when the Bushkeeper won the Kim Muir, going back 2002.
You told the story recently, didn't you?
Well, I have because I got on Hendo's good side with this.
Ah,
you have
see.
to get on his good. I thought I had to get on, and he loved it when I mentioned that because I saw people putting money where they shouldn't. They took it out of the ring, that much of it. They had wheelbarrows they put in their socks.
Didn't you say Nicky was quite keen on his chances? on his
Hugely
Coffey?
keen on him. I mean, he's pulled everything else out, hasn't he? I mean, Mill Green ran really, really well. This is well fancied. Let's put it that way.
Does he like?
Always is, though, isn't he?
Yeah, does he like
yes.
chasing though? Does he like chasing?
Well, if you listen to the interview we did with him on What a Shout last week, which of course you can do, go back. It's got a lot of love that because on the first day he had 4 runners, 2 win and 2 places. He was pretty darn sweet on it. So, and he tells you why.
2 minutes to the off, by the way, pretty close here.
Great stuff. So in the final races, Dino Blue looks a bit short for me. I'll be going against her. Anyone with Dino Blue?
Well, they're raving about her in the Mullins camp.
Yeah, I just thought she'd win.
All
She
right.
looked really quite good.
Raving about her and
right.
Cat Tiger. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of help, and thanks, Bruce, for bringing that up because you're right. We do that every day, don't we? So we're here up until what is the final race tomorrow? Is it the Hunter Chase?
Hunter Chase, obviously.
Hunter Chase
Yeah.
tomorrow. So yeah, and it's always a bit of a lull that, but it's exciting race this time around. Okay, it's the plate. Let's jiggy
Changing
up.
jockey here, is there?
Is there?
Is there? I'm just looking there. I thought I saw Jack Kennedy riding number 10. Did he replace Davy?
Well,
Did
he
Davy
would
get a
have
fall?
Good.
He did, and Barry David did get a fall, but he was walking away okay. Unless
Yeah,
the doctors
Dennis
have said
O'Regan was
no.
supposed to be on Fancy Foundations, wasn't he? Who was Davey going to be on then? Well,
David
yeah,
was jocked up on Grand Parody.
you're right. It's his name on the race card now, Barry. So whether that's a late shift change, I
It
don't
must be
know.
a late. Jack Kennedy's riding it, is he?
Yeah, he is. Well, according to our cards, he is. Yeah. Going to be plenty of pace on here, guys. Good old cool Cody, who Nat
Getting down
likes.
completely.
He'll be up there. Won't he? Chinwag will be smuggling in towards it. Spirit of the Games. I've seen a lot of love for Spirit of the Games as well out there. The old character.
Isn't Wishing and Hoping going to get bounced out as well?
You would imagine so under Alex Edwards. Yeah.
Glancing
run a race
Queen
of
is
his-
favourite now, by the
Oh,
way,
she?
guys. Glancing
That's
Queen.
been all over the gap.
5.2.
Imperial Alcazar was
Come
favourite
on, the
too,
Queen.
Money for Dave's fancy.
Come on, the Queen. If she comes there swinging, Tom Cannon to have a double during the week after Edwardstone, of course. How things can change. Seems like a long time
He was
ago,
very
that,
good.
didn't it? He was blind.
He was
wasn't
very
Yeah.
good.
And he fully deserved it as well. Right, okay. Let's have a look. What have we got going on then? They are jostling down. Looks like Schahalian Munro's going to have a bit of the say for Bruce.
70. Dismissive price. Ridiculous. Massive price. Good money for Adramel for
Yeah, I mean,
you, Keithy.
Yeah, he's been solid. I mean, the money came this morning once we thought the ground was going to be tested.
And a late move for Grand Paradise into 6.2 now. Virtually second favourite. So
Nice
lively old
play.
market, this, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been out. Imperial
They're
Alcazar
off.
looked to 70.
Off we go for the last of the day.
2.5 miles is the trip, and Schahalian Munro is
Come
the
on.
first one out. They've got on the Schahalian from Stolen Silver, and up on the inside we've got Wishing and Hoping.
They're
As they
trapping.
jump the first, Wishing and Hoping have a little peck, but nothing too bad. Their Cool Cody has now taken it up. That would be, he would have probably been favourite to be leading over the second fence, and he's going to. He's up on the inside. Nice zesty jump there. From Wishing and Hoping, anything out the back?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the hacky
Chinwag.
pecky's going on with Chinwag.
Well,
Look.
Chinwag's out the back.
They always
Looked
drop him out.
terribly
It's a
left.
very non-Scudamore
It's
sort
not
of
that,
ride,
it's the
this you would
jumping,
imagine. But
Dave.
as he showed on Sky Park last year, he can do it. Celebra Delen right out the back
Celebrity
as well.
Len's right out the back as well.
They
yeah.
are
You need-
trapping.
You need your luck from there.
They are
This
trapping.
is a sedate pace, this, isn't it?
Well, they went 34.
They went quick.
So now they've steadied it.
Well, honestly, happens loads over this course and distance. They sprint over those first three and then
And
they
then they
steady it
calm
up.
down.
And do you know who's the best at that? Cool Cody, and that's where he is.
So yeah, Cool Cody, as you would expect, is at the front, and also Spirit of the Games, as you would expect, is towards the back. The very back marker is Chinwag, though. So as they turn in and face up to the packed grandstands with just over a circuit to go, making a move on the outside now is Grand.
House.
Is that Grand Paradise?
Slate House.
Slate House.
Oh, pardon me, Slate
Very
House.
similar.
yeah.
Stolen Silver going well. Getting into nice rhythm.
Absolutely hard line. The top weight is going all right on the outside as well.
Adjamel's there.
No real dramas early on. Glancing Queen
reach for that
settled in a beautiful position in the midfield. The grey there didn't jump that particularly well. That was Grand Paradise actually, just slewed a little bit. So they're coming up to what will be the last on the next circuit.
They have slowed it down now. without
Barry,
question.
what's happening on the market?
The Glancing Queen 4.959 Imperial Alcazar 7 now 6.8 Grand Paradise. There's not a real whole pile. They all seem to be travelling well in themselves, and there's not a lot between first and last, is there?
Not really.
15 lengths, 10 lengths.
Not-
Dave, got anything to add?
Well, I think if you're on Celebra Delen, you're not tearing it up because they went a little bit hard early on, but he's going to need a lot of luck for this. He's going to need to be Derek Fox.
Well, he's going to have £20 in hand.
We could have another ride of the week, couldn't we?
Going really well, by the way.
Nobody's going to beat Danny Mullins. Nobody's beating Danny Mullins now.
Imperial Alcazar's made a move on the outside under Paddy Brennan to go third, and he's going really, really well. I mean, you would expect everything to be going really well at this stage because there's a long, long way to go. But Cool Cody as he loves to do, is dominating from the front. And Slate House, who's looking perfectly enthusiastic, Keith, he's going all right in second.
Yeah, he is. It's when they actually ask him to race properly, that's when he tends to throw his head up in the air.
Are you happy with Adramel?
Happy enough. He's been slick. You know, the jumping is quite high tariff. He might belt one at some point.
It's the novice in the back, isn't it? We can sort of tell
He's
that.
been, but he was a slick jumper at Haydock in all his races.
wasn't great.
Helen poor at the water there, wasn't he? Yeah, not great at all.
The Queen is creeping closer. Not Natalie Green, it's the glancing one.
And hard line as well on the outside, going really nicely.
Chinwag taking a bit of a guess. I'll tell you the Fav. What's he gone?
No, he's
Celebrity
niggled.
He's gone way up, hasn't he?
As he should have done. That's a camera angle. Why are you zooming on the first 6 runners? There's 15 of the things.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
We
But
can see
the
them all
three
now.
at the front are Cool Cody, Slate House and Imperial Alcazar. They're followed by Stolen Silver and Shahalian Monroe and Glancing Queen and Andromel. And on the outside, Hard Line. And then it's the grey horse who put in a poor run, jump early on, Grand Paradise. He's going okay. Up on the inside is Spirit of the Games. He's probably closer than he normally would be, actually.
And I'll tell you who else is warming up finally.
Here.
The Wag of the Chins. He's fine.
No,
I just
They've
whacked
got a
one.
lot to do. They've got a lot to do back there. Anything behind Adramel is probably struggling from here, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
Spirit of
except
the
for
Games
Spirit
is-
of the Games, because he can run on, can't
We
he?
can.
Well, plod on.
In between the fences,
Cool Cody's
Chinwag
going
catches
lovely.
my
You're
eye.
getting excited
I'm
now?
getting really excited. I'm really pleased actually with my pick.
Oh, glad the Queen hit that.
Yeah, she did.
Imperial Alcazar's going well, and they're just picking up the pace a wee bit now, aren't they? They're starting to run down.
She's a bit of a bridle horse, the Glancing Queen. So here they come to this third last. She's back on it.
And it's still Cool Cody. But Slate House is going brilliant. He's rolling back to his great novice form. Imperial Alcazar going well on the outside. Adramel is stalking them. Shahalian Monroe's not done with. Glancing Queen's not done with. Stolen Silver's
comes
not
Paddy.
done with. But it
Oh,
looks
he's
like it might be them.
tanking.
Having said that, the favourite and Spirit of the Games are trying to latch on, and we know that
Come on,
Spirit
the
of the Games has
Glancing.
got a kick.
She got a bit chop for him
Going
there.
really well still is Slate House. Slate House and
come on,
Imperial Alcazar.
Imperial.
Cool Cody has given way. Glancing Queen getting
on,
into
the
it. Stolen
Queen.
Silver going well. Shahalian Monroe in 6, but he's going to get
Something
swallowed by the
finishes.
closers. Imperial Alcazar now.
Come
Cool
on.
Cody's coming back for more.
Come on,
Paddy's
Imperial,
got this.
go big.
Queen is in.
Oh, she reached for it.
Cool
Paddy's got it, I think.
Cool
Look at
Cody's
Cool
taking
Cody.
it back up
Coming
again.
again.
On that green.
Oh.
This is
That's
remarkable.
unbelievable.
What a horse he's been.
It's Cool Cody jumping the last ahead of Imperial Alcazar.
Wow. Wow.
And he
Natalie
doesn't
Gray.
stop. And he doesn't
Absolutely
stop.
brilliant. He's 3 lengths clear.
Unbelievable
Imperial
scenes.
Alcazar coming from way back is Spirit of the Game. Stolen Silver's staying on. The favourite is staying on. But good old Cool
Come on,
Cody.
Wedgie.
This is the sort of horse that deserves to win a race at the Cheltenham Festival. What a legend he is.
Imperial Alcazar.
Cool Cody.
Oh, I think he's got it.
Imperial Alcazar, second of the day for the connections of that one. What can you say? I mean, hats off to you, Nat. That was a brilliant
It was
tip.
good.
But what a run. It's
Talk about
imagine
keeping
owning
faith
him.
in a
You'd
horse.
get
This-
tears down your
You would
cheeks.
be
wouldn't you?
absolutely. And
Let's-
Adam Wedge.
We'll let Nat just compose herself when we go to Barry, because he must have spiked up. We have seen him do this before, but do you remember at the start of the season, Barry, when he fell, when he looked like he had the race at his mercy? He's won, of course, the December Gold Cup. What a horse for Evan Williams this has been.
He's unbelievable. And Adam Wedge, who gets on so well with him. He was matched 440 quid. Or sorry, 444 quid. That was his peak. Bigger amounts done at smaller prices. Over $2,000 done on the runner-up Imperial Alcazar at 204. A low of just a little over even money's 2,280. So nearly over 2,200 quid on the runner-up at 204.
Whoa, there we are. Thank you, Barry Orr. Final race of the day here on RP Live. Wasn't that an absolute belter? And it's, again, how old is he now?
He's 11.
He's 11-year-old, of course. 'Cause
But look, that makes me want to cry. They are actually crying. It's just so nice to see. This
and of course
is
for the Cliffords as well, who are, I know it's, you say big supporters, but they are huge West Country supporters, the tyre
I
magnets.
mean, I thought he'd run really well, hence why I tipped him up. But to actually win.
We all had a bit of a shout there, didn't we?
That's a
during
great
that?
shout.
Oh,
Nat.
it's
Well
just
played,
so
you.
nice to see. Like,
I love that because I think, you know, whenever you have a bet at Cheltenham, you want to win, but you'd have to have a heart made of stone not to be pleased with the connections at
exactly. This is what it's all about for me anyway. Jump racing is all about this. This is going to be like one of probably the best days ever for them, and it's awesome.
Absolutely, and the drinks now are on Natalie Green. Happy days after the show. Barry, it's great to have you back on the show today. Barry, you'll be with us tomorrow.
Yeah, back tomorrow, lads. Looking forward to it. Bruce, thanks. Natalie, I'll chat to you tomorrow, and the same with Keith Melrose.
Cheers, Barry.
Well done, Barry.
We came extremely close to the Trixie, and we will see what Barry conjures up tomorrow. Bruce, great to have you in for 2 days. Didn't fall off your chair today, but it's been a belter.
I absolutely loved that. Pleasure doing the show with you guys. Thanks very much. Good luck for the rest of the week. I should be tuning in.
You're going tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. Yes, I won't be tuning in.
Good for you.
Well, you can take us to the track, babe. But as Barry says, so listen, great to have Bruce. We're back, the three of us tomorrow with Barry. Gold Cup.
And it's just you and I on Saturday, Dave, isn't it?
Well, I think G-Rod is luckily coming to bolster us up, so all good. Well done to the guys in the gallery. Well done to you for watching. 2 more races. Good luck whatever you're backing. Join us back tomorrow, 1 p.m. for Gold Cup Day.